They connect on the brambles though.
Barely able to escape there. This classic farming in towards that meteor hammer you often see on Tidehunters try and push these towers down a little bit faster. Something we haven't seen a lot of today.
It's going in again.
Mati dah.
Maxwell is going to hit. Collapse. Still barely surviving. He is living on such little HP. Kiritich, actually with Gush coming back up, has to dodge away. Slowed down, but not enough for the kill. Man, that ring of hell is getting value, but another hit, Mira. Not quite in range. Now throw out the dagger. Another one. The Inkswell moves forward. Hit, but still charge. Everybody's on such low HP. But the roll through the twin gate. No.
That's his last tango too. Pass it over to Kiritich.
That was Roche through the twin gate. Sorry.
Udah pasti nggak bakalan dibunuhan orang kalau keras banget pak.
Wait.
Yeah.
They went double R.
I mean,
Itu dari lagi anjing.
sometimes it happens.
I thought they weren't going to be going. I mean, they're both faster than average. It's great, right?
Yeah.
Tapi dia naik 13
Teamwork makes
kan.
the dream
Gede.
work here.
Well, we'll see. I mean, it feels like most of the time
Well,
Spectre should be the one getting the charges with the Shadow step in, but if they can both get some charges going, I guess it could be worse.
Honestly, with the fact that you get two and you get one if you died, that's not quite as bad as it used to be.
We're just coping here.
Cope.
6 minute mark coming around as the first power runes will spawn, and in position, Laurel's there to pick up the invis.
Still just the one kill. Oh, nope, maybe.
On the Yatoro, damage from Squadix, trying to kill him with the Illuminate Blast. Will find the follow-up stun under tower, step forward, and it's going to be enough. Laurel made that move, and now Sage also going to be found and brought down.
I just noticed it.
Yeah, he's just out of there.
It's going back in. I don't know, trying to throw a random stun at or something, but he will be the one who survives and makes his way back to the Lotus Pool. So they rotate the kill Yatoro, but they lose two. So not the best trade in the world here. And immediately, Yatoro TP's mid. He says, hey, you just stay up there, Laurel. You're a little bit busy. Ganking for the Wisdom Rune. I'll go take your farm. But is he going to get it? Kaseusz is also for the stack at the same time.
On top of him, yeah, steps into no man's land. The dead shot, but a couple more hits. Will he survive long enough? Tornado lift a ban. Stolen Wisdom Rune. Now, can they get out? Aposhka, he's going to get stunned and killed.
Waduh, beneran anjing.
Neutral. Nothing going. Virtus Pros. Wait, it's a 2K gold lead at 7 minutes, and the Wisdom Rune is still there for them to take.
Yeah, FNG rotated as well. Squadix too. They don't get the kill. as well.
Collapse just comes in, smile on his face, happy to see it. All going the way of Team Spirit here early.
And there were definitely some concerns of a bit of a snowball runaway here for Virtus Pros, right? If the lanes go a bit well, they get some combos. I wasn't sure where they put the Brimstone. We've seen some 5 Muertas, we've seen some 4 Grims, so there was a chance for like lots of like Inkswell stun combos or something with the Grim, but I think it's been a little bit more passive with the Muerta. And so that hasn't snowballed too crazily. And now going the other way, Collapse with this Meteor Hammer, like he's going to be looking to constantly bully down this tower, and Kier just can't do anything.
He's so farmed already. It's really going to be a problem for the
Siapa yang bisa
Cyber
membunuh
as
anjing
well.
menit segini?
We'll see how it goes. And also with these stacks being built up that you're seeing.
Yeah.
WK
That is going to be real
doang.
nice for
Sunyi
Team
tetep
Spirit.
doang.
As a smoke from 2, Sage just going to TP out now. That could set up for something down bottom.
Ada skill 2 kan, bisa pecah lagi
Connect onto
nanti.
him. No, there's no Ravage. Can they bring
Nah,
down the
kan,
Tidehunter? They brought 4. Dodge.
Anjing,
Collapse. Sidesteps.
F1,
Gets it.
F1
TPs in their
anjing.
face. Will it be enough to get out? No.
Ngedot
That was
2
a bold play by him.
This is what he's complaining about in all the vlogs.
Yeah.
They're always after
tempurnya lewat, bray.
me. 4 heroes rotate down bottom to the Ravageless Tidehunter.
I mean, that's what happens when you're 1,000 gold of everybody
Yeah,
else.
lu yang harus ngedot.
Yeah, that's a fair point.
Yeah.
Absolutely huge right now.
Tadi
Fifth
juga
row gets
puji,
picked up
Bang.
here from Squadix. These mid keepers of the light, they like to run their early game. You know, they either want to be farming a bunch of stacks in the jungle, or they want to be making multiple kills on the side lanes, utilizing that solar bind. And so 0, 1, and 2, not really what you're looking for at 9 minutes.
No.
See if Squadix can find some way to turn that around, but for now, it looks like it's just jungling time.
I mean, that definitely is going to help them out, obviously, but there's a lot of stacks in the jungle as well for Team Spirit to try and build into. and get their first couple of items.
Lainnya kalah semua anjing.
Interesting thing to see here is 3 heroes mid for Team Spirit.
Lawan menang langsung bisa trading ya. Dana udah
Maybe
siap.
trying to make a play, or I guess just get set up for the next round of power.
Seperti yang
They
gue
know that
bilang
it's going to be a
kemarin,
good one
ini
that's coming up.
antara
They already
kantong
went past the
dompet lo yang
Ingress.
kosong atau kantong
That's
mata lo
second
yang
round of
kosong aja. Jadi pasti kok kantong mata yang kosong aja. Karena
Notice is definitely getting space to farm, but I also feel like
ngentot
if they're
sekali
going
aja
to make a
berat
shadow
gua
step
goblok.
play, it comes off the
Sekali
back of
PM
Notice just stunning someone. So I feel like if no
Mahal
one's
sih,
playing
PM
near Notice, they're
25.000
not actually going to be
anjing.
snowballing their Spectre.
Belum gue.
No.
Di sini
It's true.
jabas anjing yang
And
murah.
if the trade-off is that Yadro is going to leave the entire jungle of crazy stacks, it might not matter all too much.
Pushka getting any extra time here just to sort of try and counter push out against the tower. They already had to deny the one down bottom.
I mean, this is what Rezo brought up on the panel too, though. A lot of carries, they get pushed out by this. Wraith King, he just throws the skellies out, and able to secure some advantage versus Train Protector that a lot of people aren't able to get. Then again, he's also losing spots.
Alright, well,
No living armor.
double Urn was not a problem, but double Radiance would definitely be a problem. As both Spectre and Wraith King have it queued up.
What we have here
Is a failure to communicate. There is a couple of issues going on with Virtus Pro in terms of their itemization. We'll see if it ends up coming back to haunt them or not.
Enggak dari tahun.
But for now, Team Spirit still happy as clams, playing on a Tidehunter that is juiced up.
we just need like medallions from both supports now, and we'd be set.
Ready.
Tapi WK palingnya cepet.
Well, it's still going to take a while as there will be a blade mail coming out first for the spec.
Well, Collapse has mission accomplished down bottom, and now that he's ready to come up here, again, they want to play around this idea of Notice initiating, not onto a Tidehunter, not who you're looking for the big Shadow Step plays.
Immediately on the Yadro with the Shadow Step there, they're finding him. Silence, connection,
Nice match.
blinding light pushback. That is exactly what they needed.
Now retreat.
Get out, run! Dude, they get out and they forced a bunch of
Bubar
TPs
barisan
to
nego.
Virtus Pro.
Kalau kita mah satu jalan.
Not feel much better.
Jalur gimana?
Meanwhile,
Kalau
Notice
berjumpa
returns
gimana?
to the lane after
Ya gimana Garata di
back a
spike
little bit there.
Iya,
Season tied
Pak.
up there. Yeah, I'm just here for the farm, not the kills. But yeah, huge stuff there. Like there's one plan from Yadro. Looks like he did clean up a lot of those stacks, but hey, at least he gets the kill after. Maybe try and get some vision down here too would be nice. They didn't have anything to drop, unfortunately. Currently, they have no vision across the river.
Well, that is
Alah,
potentially an issue as Collapse right onto him. And do they have enough to kill? Yes, indeed. Can just keep running forward for more. I mean, they really don't have an answer for this on the side of Virtus Pro. It's basically just Auto Blasts. And Mapochka, he steps up. If he's not careful, good blinding light pushback. Well played.
Nice save, but in the end, the tower's still going to fall here. It's 3 points in the Kraken shot. Collapse has no concerns at all about being battered by this tower.
The tempo that they're playing at on Team Spirit is presenting a lot of issues for Virtus Pro. Yeah, Arcane Rune for Laurel. TP coming in. Immediately onto him. That's a good catch. The silence was there, right on point, but then the pushback, will it be enough to Yes, it will. Oh, and Iris too. Virtus Pro needed. They find him. Mira now in trouble. Noticed right onto him, tries to get that kill, and they are going to get it. Collapse has to back out as Virtus Pro brings the
Tapi emang top 2 network.
And showing why they value
belum
this
lagi
Spectre
pen
so
anjing
highly.
farming
Yeah.
gimana?
To pick it that early, I mean, they won game 1, but they're getting value out of this Shadow Step that I would not have expected with the state that they're in. Picking up humongous kills, like picking up the Smith and picking up the Invoker. It's the only thing keeping them in this game. And now it gets them up to that Blade Mail as well,
Uang kayak turun.
as they go right back to farming, try and progress to that next
Bukan
item here.
parah bro,
Hoping
dia
for the boots
lagi
to travel
nanam investasi.
onto Squadix, so that'll obviously help a lot when it comes to actually playing off of Noticed, who has committed to the realm.
Yes, I'm keeping my eyes on this, and Spectre still have Radiance queued up. I mean,
It's not a great Manta Diffusal game.
no.
It's really not.
I mean, this is an issue. If he actually commits to the full Radiance, I mean, obviously gold lead being built up already by Team Spirit, it'd be even more of a detriment doubling up on that item.
It's fine. Everyone's just on fire.
Yeah,
It's
that's
okay.
That's not how it works.
They're playing opposite sides of the map.
Well, smoke up now with 3 and having Shadow Step at the ready.
Bentar lagi juga
Can they
pindah ke
find
atas.
anybody? Down bottom, Virtus Pro, Dark Willow and Sven, they spot
Ya,
Willow and
iya.
managed to get away. Nicely played by Team Spirit, escaping just in time.
Good coverage there from Mira. Had one good Bedlam. That unfortunately wasn't able to quite save him. Collapse, though, in a bit of a precarious position.
The stun is there. Collapse starts to fall. Bring in Squadix, connection, but it's too hard to bring down the
I
big
think the
watermelon.
dead shot there. If Sayush hits that dead shot, he's dead.
Yeah.
That's, I mean, one of the concerns with the support Muerta. You know, gotta hit that skill shot. If you miss it, a lot of people are gonna survive. And sometimes you're doing it in a saving mechanism as well.
Right. Notice gives the tip to Laurel. The Misty MP notice is like, well, it's not the best time for them so far. It's still a Spirit in a good position.
And any viewers who are unaware, he's currently holding a point. You'll see this a lot with Wraith Kings. So basically, you might notice he has no ultimate. He can skill it whenever he feels like it's the right time to make sure he's going to reincarnate. He doesn't necessarily want to take the point if it's going to be a bad opportunity for his teammates to actually follow up. So he's not in too much trouble just being, you know, as, again, like some of the panelists mentioned there, Sheepstick was saying, trying to play up as much as possible. You want to be like super greedy with Wraith King. That's the entire point. Look at that damage.
Pump fake the Ravage too. Wanted to get something out of him. And Team Spirit, they might be turning up the fight pretty soon too. We've got Blink Dagger just completed on Yadro for this Sven. They already have a Spirit Vessel done on Laurel.
And keep in mind that Dark Willow can throw the Bedlam on top of the Sven if he wants.
Jump, find FNG, in trouble, gone. Just like that, Team Spirit start the movement. Now down bottom, they're all kind of approaching. He found himself a tasty treat. This would be huge if they could get him. Connection, root, overgrowth, sunstrike, everything. Drop it alone. Look, the turret Kiritich almost gets away. No.
Dude, what a great use of the 15-minute shard there from Aposhka too. Just recognizing how they're going to be super spread on this map. They're going to have Wraith King over here, Spectre down here. I am just going to hunt Spectre this entire time. You know where she's going to play the whole time. And this is a strategy that I think it was Virtus Pro that were using it, where they kept going for this this tree for FNG, and he would always set up for the Spectre. But instead, they're using it on Team Spirit to just hunt and scout the Spectre instead.
It's really nice. And now coming in with such little HP on Maposhka, not feeling like it's going to matter. Does sidestep the Brambles, and that keeps him alive. On the side of the Coddle, as there was more help nearby. Fear tries to TP out. No way to force everybody down to the very bottom corner of the map, and then they all just TP out. Team Spirit playing this map beautifully.
Just continues to plant himself wherever he wants, has the pipe delivered to him from the courier, and now eyeing up that Blink Dagger. So they can actually go for aggressive plays when they want. Something
Jump there, stun, 3 swipes and he's dead. Can they find more though? The turnaround on this would be big. They managed to bring him down. Yadro falls. Signs of life for VP.
I mean, that's the thing. They have overwhelming magic damage right now, right? With this Solar Bind, combined up with the Illuminate, and some Spirit Vesseling. You might feel tanky on the Sven with some Warcry, but it's not going to help you all too much in those situations. So, good scouting from the Invoker to help set them up. But maybe Yadro regretting it.
Still has that queued up. See if the switch ends up happening. But right now, sitting pretty. And these side lanes not feeling safe because of that tree. Like
they're scanning.
Yeah, they know. Like they know that they can just die so quickly, and they're just outside of the scan.
They have to get some off-center combos. Yeah, that's the only option right now.
Or do this, bring numbers down for Laurel. Gets him there with the silence, looks in for the stun. The Ixwell takes forever to come in, and now with the follow-up hit, they have enough. Laurel very, very low, ends up dying.
Oh, they got him.
Connection for more. Good dead shot. Just like that.
Trying to free up this space right now is so important for Kiritich, as he is struggling on the net worth. As you can see, the lowest of all the cores in the game. Not what you want for your Spectre. And probably just still trying to figure out exactly what to do to fully commit for the Radiant. I do feel like it's the only choice.
I mean, you think he knows at this point?
Oh, he knows.
The Wraith King has it.
I mean, he's got a blink too. I'd hope he knows.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm saying.
I think it's just the reality of the game.
Wow. Coming up on 19 minutes.
Nice
Push back the
shot there.
Tries to TP out. Oh, just in time. Able to get out of there.
That's pretty cool. Obviously, one of the benefits there, being able to help yourself versus Shadow Realm. Notice makes his way through this jungle. There is a dire ward, so they're aware of where this Wraith King's moving through, but what's the plan here for Team Spirit? Looks like they want to push this bottom lane a little bit.
That's what it feels like, at least for now. They're still very much stuck together.
Mana
Can
ada
go
warna
for
kalau
another
kita
Shadow
balikan.
Step play.
Belum gak pernah lu ya.
Virtus Pro.
Malah nih Toki.
Getting tier 2 items.
Dia aja lu pada
Now,
malang lagi.
heading in towards... I mean, again, you're just running
Ngapain
right into
sih, Bang?
collapse.
He just does not care. He is just
Yeah.
playing the wall right now.
Anywhere that they try and make
Oh,
a move,
WK-nya mulai
collapse is
memanjat.
there to stop their progress.
10.000 aja deh.
And at least for the moment, they've only been able to take one
Spectre
tier 1
sementara
tower
masih di bawah.
on the side of VP.
And now if you want to approach a tower, there's a Blink Dagger on a Tidehunter. And that is one thing where, this lineup, sure, there's cooldown issues, no doubt about that, but they
Skill
need
banyak
perfect setups there. And
kalah.
Look at how close that was.
Bisa
Yeah.
ini ya.
Super close.
Terpenafir.
But yeah, it's super important that Sven starts the fight off the right way. I mean, that's obviously very important. With the hero, you want to do as much damage as you can in that initial stun, and Ravage just extends that. You know, you can do a Ravage setup, get a few hits off, follow up with a stun.
Sama aja
It
kayak
also
Ravage,
simplifies the
dia
game for
item
Rover
farming.
and Dark Willow a lot. It can play off of this already aggressive Treant Protector with the shard.
Ya sih.
Ya enggak. Ya masih enak masih. Dari terpana buat Fanny.
Closer and closer. And another smoke play by
Ini kalau
VP.
kita kalau menderita.
Hoping to find one. At the same time that is happening, Miposhka is hunting, finds Sage, connects with the overgrowth, and well, they are just going to bring down the Muerta.
FNG just got a big upgrade though. Level 10 has the -5-second Ink Swell cooldown and already has the shard too.
Okay.
So super helpful for them in these fights. They want to keep Notice swinging as much as possible, as well as just like moving through these fights.
They just haven't been able to find like a good fight for themselves. The movement from Team Spirit away and dodging the bad fights, it's been pretty clutch.
I think
Yeah,
with the Shadow Step up, they could approach this mid tower and just count on Reincarnation.
Iya, ngarang lu ya kata.
Looks like they're gonna do it very casually.
I mean, yeah, just skeletons, that's it. And I mean, this again is something that Yadro is comfortable stepping up himself to stop the push. The rest of his team smoking over towards him. Team Spirit are in complete control of this game. Smoked up. They're gonna have Kiritich bought the relic. And now they're running right into him.
Dia dah
He's
dia juga.
1,000
Ya
gold
mati
away
pula ketemu
from
dia.
the Radiance. They move in, they find him. Kiritich in trouble, goes for the haunt away down south though. Connects on the
Aduh,
Varl, now the
sama aja
jump,
bohong
they
dong.
chase him down, and now jumps away. Back
aja
out of there,
kan.
Miposhka collapsed, they're both onto him, wanting to find that kill to silence. He gave him the old do-si-do. We're in America now, baby. As they chase for more.
They actually get
Fire,
Mira.
one kill. Mira ends up going down. Can they get any more? Notice,
Oh, udah dua.
slightly
Nah, ada mana?
dying and wants to deny himself.
udah,
Maybe
udah.
gets denied by the neutral creeps. Now, Sage back into it. That's 2 dead for 2, but one of them was a deny.
Oh, the pings.
What a wild fight.
Spectre
Notice
nggak
quickly
mati.
realizing that
Langsung
the Wisdom Rune is up, but not taken here from Team Spirit. Just pinging it frantically right now.
Udah dipanggang.
And what a hold by Collapse in that instance to not pop the Ravage. Because now you still don't feel safe going for these fights, and particularly when lose the Muerta. So Team Spirit keeps the ball rolling. It still hasn't ballooned out into a big gold lead. As you can see, even these little fights here before they ended up losing one more, gold favoring VP.
Squadix gets his first item in a long time as well, picking up that E-Blade, so gonna have some defense here. Up against Yadro, just immediately jumping on top of him, as well as, of course, some aggressive potential.
Just like that. It's still waiting. The Radiance.
It's been a long wait.
It has been rough. Kiritich not having the game that he did in #1. As they do have an E-Blade done on the Coddle, which will help in trying to get towards that Hex. But a lot of net worth right now that's just not able to get the most out of it for him.
Kok radianya
23 minutes. He had this, I think, 4 or 5 minutes earlier in game 1. Squadix gets caught though. Tornado lift up, and now the stun. Kiritich shows up. They're trying to kill him. The Coddle, will they be able to?
Anjing,
Soaking
nggak
up the
mati.
damage. Notice
Wah.
shows up, and they take down
Rugi
2.
lagi kena.
Looking, thinking about it, hunting Kiritich. Does he want to? It's a little bit too scary. He just wants to farm. Leave this man alone.
Yeah, notice that blink up in a few seconds, so maybe hoping that someone would get aggressive and he can go in for the big saving play. Has his ulti back up in 10 seconds. So chance they want to go for a aggressive play on the next Shadow Step, which is also in 15 seconds. So things certainly lining up here for Virtus Pro.
So So they've hit their timings, but it should be noted if a fight happens 5-on-5, VP are basically down an extra, what, like 4,000 gold or something, because they have double ratings, right?
Yeah, if they're like stacked on top of each other, yeah.
Okay.
True. I mean, that is sort of, I mean, there's other, you know, you get 55 damage.
That's fair.
Right? You get some evasion.
Fair enough, fair enough. Do you think that Virtus Pro would want to try and go into a battle now, like in terms of their timings and when they're hitting it?
Oh, collapse.
Here it's
Ya, mati.
Oh my god.
Goblok
Not
menedangkan.
great when your Harry gets it, but now the injection of gold, it helps him out a little bit. Collapse. I mean, he came in for one kill, wanted the Ravage, finally gets it
Anjing,
now.
keras banget.
Trying to escape, but the burn.
Deadshot. Does he get the snipe?
He needs another hit
Ya,
now.
mati.
It takes off. The Phantom's embrace. Managed to find that stun. Yadro walks forward onto Notice, trying to bring him down. Gets swiped to death. Miposhka still hunting. Sunstrike getting vision. Sayich is nearby, and now Miposhka, he's gone out too far. Mira shows up, throws down the Bramble Maze. One last hit. Sidesteps it, the pushback. And then the DOT is enough to kill off Miposhka.
FNG's got to get some arcanes. I feel like he's struggling a little bit here. Oh, he has to go for the gem. Someone called him out. He was running to the secret shop.
Yeah.
Desperately out of mana here. Trying to help out, of course, versus this frustrating
Kagak
opponent.
dia di atasnya lari.
But yeah, need that gem. Try and secure things. And yeah, like you said, getting the
Lah, itu di
strat
atasnya.
on Kiritich.
Weh,
A
kayaknya.
plan coming together, perhaps.
Yes.
Maybe this was their plan all along.
That's right. Just sack the net worth so he gets a free shot.
Iyalah.
Genius stuff coming out here. That's going to put him right over top of the Wraith King here. Shadow Step defensively almost at this point.
Heritage ends up killing himself on Mira. I mean, that's a nice way to save your buddy. Pop Blade Mill and run into it. Dude, have they turned a corner? Virtus Pro starting to look good.
You know, what did Rezo say? Just don't go aggressive. You know, Collapse just wants to burn an ulti on a Wraith King here under a tier 2 tower.
Yeah. Ends up getting punished, and you can see Dota Plus, they're believers. They're believers.
Oh, Inspector. Don't even put it away. All right. Dota Plus Inspector. There's something going on there.
You're not wrong. A Shadow Blade into a Silver Edge going to be completed for Yadro. That will definitely look to try and swipe her down to size. Already the rest of VP is back and hiding out. Now, Roche is up.
Yeah, it's definitely what both teams are thinking about at the moment.
Still have a while before that's going to switch sides. Kiritich Yoshidon, after getting that Radiance, net worth has definitely started to bloom up. But they're going to go on into the pit.
Not feeling like they have the opportunities here. They're going to scan just to make sure. The Radiant scan, they say, hey, they're doing Roche right now, but I mean, this is one of those situations too where obviously the old version of Haunt, or now the Agnum's version of the ultimate is kind of cool. Right. If you don't have vision, you can't do anything, but there's no way they're going into this fight anyway. It's only the first Aegis. And it goes on Yadro, who, I mean, Sen kind of notoriously not the best Aegis hero anyway.
Yeah.
Since you're not going to have a second transformation.
It does sort of feel, too, as if Virtus Pro are pretty content with just farming up on all their heroes. I mean, we talked about it a ton in the draft. Very greedy across the board. Yadro comes on in, cleans up those illusions, and now they manage to find him. Look at this. They're ripping him to shreds. Doesn't have God Strength, doesn't have anything. Can they kill him again?
They don't even bother.
Like it. Yeah, they're just happy with that. Aegis gone.
Yeah. Just get rid of it. You know? He's got BKB after. You don't have to mess with that. You don't know what kind of follow-up is coming from Collapse because he does have that Ravage locked and loaded. Excellent use of the Shadow Step here and that vision. Looks like Sage also wants to kind of play around that vision a little bit here too. I don't think they want to necessarily give it up. I mean, Shadow Step's back in 10 seconds. It just feels endless at this point in the game, right?
Yeah.
You never feel safe in these situations.
It's such a scary hero, and getting closer and closer to the Manta being done, that's going to mean that, you know, your Treant or your Dark Willow, as you try and run away, you've still got these illusions following you that are going to take you down, and then into Haunt.
Yeah.
Minggu depan ya?
Having a way out of that overgrowth too.
Only 1,000 gold separating the two teams. Team Spirit after having lost the Aegis, you can't feel too comfortable. It feels like they're wanting to make a big move here. It's going to be a tough game for them from this point forward, even though they have this very farmed Sven. If he can hit away, though, that could be the recipe for success.
This gem as well that they've had inside of Virtus Pro. FNG is helping to clear up a lot of this vision, so they don't see all too much. They have one good ward that they've just placed up ahead of them.
Единственный, кто может меня победить.
More chat.
That sentry is spotting the invisible Sven running around there tier 2.
Okay. Yeah, they know. Probably need to take that one out of there. But dodging, Virtus Pro heads up to the top side of the map. And Laurel on the hunt. Not really any global heroes that he can rely upon in the similar fashion of the Spectre. He kind of has to be the one there with the Sunstrike hill.
Are they going to run into Notice and Sage Temple?
They're looking.
Creep camp's gone.
Tornado not on the mark. Just a little bit late.
Yeah. Blinking into some camps that Skellies are clearing up. Yadro just making sure that he's not still around, but that means he's come up here. They're going to miss out on some farm, but they're about to respawn anyway.
They haven't been shut out of the map. VP are clean now. They're absolutely on it.
Now the next big upgrade is probably Squawks' Scythe.
Yeah.
Try and break up these fights. Of course, there's some insane targets that you could get. You know, maybe you have vision on Collapse. Right? Maybe you break his initiation coming in. Maposhka as well, if he just gets caught on a sentry ward. That could be a quick scythe just to ensure they don't get a solid setup there from the overgrowth.
Well, and the real problem too that you're going to see, I think, for Spirit is that while Maposhka can find those like pick-off hunting plays, a lot of the heroes that you would be most important to pick off, you're not going to be able to kill with just him. You're going to need that Invoker there potentially.
Look at Kirtish's illusion on the bottom lane right now.
Yeah.
What a hero. Just running it all the way down here behind tier 2, farming up entire waves.
Yeah.
Yep, don't worry about me. Just gonna park this here.
That's so annoying.
Ya.
Yeah. He's burned through it. So they will be able to claim the Tormentor, but Kiritage is really causing issues. The Spectre hurt early, but
It's actually getting another full wave.
yeah,
It's ridiculous.
I mean, that's what happens. You let it sit there, it's just gonna keep doing its thing.
Oh, wait. Oh.
And yeah,
Okay, nothing else happening anyway. Watch the fine.
oh, they're comfy, absolutely. I mean, this is the problem though, is like, eventually, Maposhka just wants to do something. Just move, come in onto him, and comes back in for the finish. Dude, it's devastating. It's just death over and over again for these 4 supports.
It's just weird to expect it to be some like long cooldown or something after, and you look at the hero and you're like, oh, it's back in 20 seconds.
Yeah.
You know, by the time everything cleans up.
When you get to this stage against these types of heroes, it really does not feel like it's that many answers. But they do have Aghanim Scepter now done for Invoker, and Cataclysm, that should be enough to get kills on these other guys. I mean, you know, barring their ability to escape from an overgrowth.
Yeah, the setup's pretty nasty.
Jadi buat radian sih agak
Sven stun. There's a good chance you get caught inside multiple sudden strikes.
Muerta at least has a Force Staff, but
Oh, mid lane squad out. There it is.
they have enough to get him. They don't quite. Can't connect. Yadro, now to back away. Notice is going to be there with the stun. Long duration dodge the tornado, but heals back up immediately. And now Collapse there too. Do they have enough to burn him down one time? They will. Everybody grouped together. 4 of them to the side. Notice still way too far forward. Here connects, and they will punish that hard. Now that is Aghanim Scepter done on Wraith King, so he's going to live a little longer, but Team Spirit, they got what they came for.
Yeah, we're going to keep an eye on that one. If you're new to Dota, welcome. This guy gets an Aghanim Scepter, and then when people die, they don't die. They become ghosts, and then they still cast all their spells.
It's very spooky.
Yeah, I mean, it's October.
That's right.
It's kind of on theme.
I like it. Halloween coming around. I mean, we did also see there the Yadro Satanic start to become an issue, but mid lane.
Oh, smoke. That got spotted by Obs.
Oh, well played, Maposhka. Nicely done. They have Haunt now, too.
Oh, they do indeed. No notice, though, so...
Collapse got stomped by the Centaur.
Maposhka still scouting, sees the rotation, Collapse immediately jumps.
Up in, drops the anchor on him. Laurel immediately caught upon. Yadro, too. Kiritich thinks about chasing.
Oh, he's
from
in
into Laurel, taking a lot of damage, continues
Oh, he's
to
selling.
hold around, tries to jump away, there's nowhere left to go. In trouble, Kiritich, but he's in a man. Force staff keeps him alive. And just like that, they might have gone in too far, but wait a minute, Yadro, the E-Blade, he's still healing back up. FNG is dead, can they look for more? Muerta also in trouble, Notice starts to fall, drops him into the Meteor Hammer. Notice is gonna get burned down to death. Do they have enough to quite kill him off? Still trying to back away, with the Ag Scepter coming in, Wraith King keeping himself alive, but can't do anything. They end up finding 2 for 1. Team Spirit, they're just team fighting better.
What an absolutely sick play from Yadro to come back in there with the Satanic. He must have been at what, 10, 15% HP?
Right.
Jumps right back in. Kind of a light panic moment there for a second because he tries to life steal and someone got E-bladed, but he turns to the next target, immediately back up to full HP.
I mean, definitely could have died rapidly if he did not manage to get off those couple of swipes. You can see he's doling out the majority of this damage.
And it's always scary to get these big, huge carries alongside something like Alacrity too.
Yeah.
Just get really out of control. And now 25 seconds until the Roach. They've kind of secured a lot of their position on the map right now from Team Spirit. Unfortunately, we're not able to drop too many wards again here at run out. Plus, somebody had been dewarded there from the gem they had for a really long time. I'm guessing that got stolen though, and yeah, maybe?
Essentially.
I can't find it.
Double, rather Wisdom.
Oh no, they got it.
Okay, they got it back
It
up.
was saved. Sage has it.
That's 25 for Yadro. So gets the God Strength damage. And of course, Roche, it's going to be a minute and a half away as he finishes off the MKB. So no more evasion issues or mischance.
And they're immediately up here just setting and prepping. It will be a dire Roach. It's 35 minutes now, so there's no doubts about that. Warcry, Yadro moving forward here. They want to see if they can find somebody. Mapochka wants to be scouting up ahead.
They're moving.
He does.
Invis, they just dropped that Sentry Ward down. They see him immediately. Yadro turns. They already got the Hex. And now the dead shot, the silence, the chase, that vision, but turns it. Lotus Orb keeps him alive. Notice gets stunned back on himself. Catches him there with the anchor. Collapse still wants to bring down Notice. The fight off to the side. Can they find any more? He's dropping lower, but they get Notice out of trouble.
They have a Scythe coming on Collapse's Courier as well. It's on its way.
Dark Willow, Mira in far. They have great vision though. Ogre Seal Totem looking forward. Catches only one with the fear. Now Kiritich shows up, finds Mira immediately onto him. Yadro dies, but the damage, it's almost enough, and it is. Squadix assembles the Aeondis, but the stun is going to be there on to 3. One of them save, and now the Hex on to both of them. Connection, the fear starts to fall lower and lower and lower. They're going to throw out all their damage, but it's not enough to take down Yadro. Yadro standing tall, streaming forward, finding another kill. He backs out Squadix, and Kiritich, they got to get out of here. There's only a couple left, and they can... Oh, the anchor down! They connect onto him. Anchor down, leashed up, starting to fall. Kiritich nowhere else to go as the tornado is going to kill him off. Laurel with the triple kill and no buybacks.
They're slowly whittling down to that fight. It was getting a little bit scary, I gotta say. Kirit is just dodging all over. Roots in there, trying to control up Yadro, but he consistently found the damage. And this time, though, as you can see from the damage numbers, it was time for Laurel to finally show up and try and help out there. Mostly with that Cataclysm, getting a good opportunity to start there. Great assembly from Squadix to manage to survive so long in that.
That was super close.
Yeah. Oh, the Martyrs play from Collapse.
Interesting. I mean, they're hitting it. That Dead in the Water, it's really showing up and providing a ton of value. And like we said, with that Hex there too, you're in a scary position as we'll take another look at it.
This whole fight is just so chaotic. Like, here just comes in at first, and the Shadow Step can't finish off Mira. He just goes into the Realm. Cataclysm absolutely nukes down FNG. Barely survives.
That assemble.
Actually, sorry, just Wraith King. Yeah, that was
right before the right click came in.
Yeah, Squadix barely surviving on that one, and then Kiritich just like dances up on the cliff for a little while. Jumps over to Mapochka, almost dies to Yadro right here, but there's a root. Nice Atos top there from Sage. That's what that was. And then Laurel also almost goes down, just so close.
That Dead in the Water, keeping him leashed and nowhere to go. I mean, the dispersion you can see here too with that shard doing a ton of damage back onto the rest of Team Spirit, but they just haven't been able to keep their heroes alive long enough for it to fully work. Man, 12,000 gold lead now as Team Spirit Aegis Cheese in hand. We'll have to see how they want to take the fights better. I mean, again, it's been even. The vision has felt slightly into the favor of Team Spirit in that last fight. Dark Willow able to get the ward up on the high ground.
Yeah.
Mira, clutch play.
Yeah, you give the advantage of the haunt at the very least. So that will be helpful. That's only once every 3 minutes.
Yeah.
So. Those big ideas. These really good fights for the haunt. Make sure it's on the right one. For now, Team Spirit feeling very comfortable, right? Although we've seen some issues going high ground this morning.
Oh yeah.
As well as like throughout the rest of this event.
And really, I think that as long as they can play sort of, you know, their safe version of Dota right now on Team Spirit, don't go too wild. You know, you can be comfortable at this stage in just holding the map, trying to build up more of a gold lead, not necessarily having to take crazy fights, but if they come to you like this, it could work. Miposhka, he's gonna be found. Can they get more? Collapse, notice, right on top of him, starts to fall. Yatoro, Hex, do they have any follow-up? Now the Soulbind onto 2, the root, the fear, the connection, the damage coming in already from Squadix. Kiritich is isolated away from the rest of his team. Now he haunts back in. Lotus still hasn't died. So keeping him fine. Another really solid dead shot. The burn, the cheese pass over Laurel, good it to him. Shows up for a moment. That's gonna be the one life down. Tornado lift up. And in the end, a lot of battle, a lot of damage, only 1 kill.
All right, you'll take that. I mean, it's only 70 seconds on the Wraith King ulti, so not too bad at this point in the game.
Just throwing out the illusions down these lanes. And Team Spirit, they've been here before in these late game scenarios when it gets to a game 3 in a clutch series. Are Virtus Pro going to be able to deal with the pressure and stand up against this as we get later and later?
I mean, it's been a lot of Dark Willows that have had to go for the core build so far in the past like month or so, right? Lots of Midas, Aghanims. This game, it's kind of feeling like Sage might have to try and find a path there, right? You already see the items queued up. Dragonlance, Hurricane Pike, going towards a Gleipnir later on after this Athos. It feels like they need more damage. I mean, this is part of the problem of having that Coddle mid a little bit, right? Like, these late game fights, you're watching this Satanic happen. Oh my goodness, that was a DD spin, that was scary. Look at this alacrity.
It does, I mean, he's hitting what, that's 600 or so? Just base without popping God Strength?
And they still don't have any disc spells, right? I mean,
Spin's a monster. But, flip side, if they can catch and control Yatoro and kite him away, that could be one of the avenues to success. He's a lot of their damage. And that's where you get the value of the dead in the water, but he steps forward and just absolutely chunks him down. Yatoro ready for a second life with the dead shot to push him away and the stun. Virtus Pro, they dodge from the hits. Yeah, you can see Yatoro doesn't care about anything.
Squadix TPing into this tower, dangerous.
Looking, he's in trouble. Aeon Disc wants to back away, dead shot to get him out of there, but Miposhka is right on top. Catapults him, Force Staff, keeping him alive. Can he get out of there? Ravage connects, pushes onto 2, he's gone. They take down that Coddle, now look for more, finding kill after kill, and I mean, Laurel, he's taking some damage from the Wraith King Ghost, but it won't be enough to get the kill. Team Spirit know what it takes to close out the games, and they're doing it right here.
No haunt for 22 seconds. Shadow Sense is about to come back up, though, but they're going to have to use these buybacks.
Well, need them.
Team Spirit is going to do way too much damage to this high ground.
Buyback comes already from Coddle after a misplay on his TP in. Forced into that, and an Aeon Disc now for Grimstroke 2. Kiritich, he steps in. It's just not feeling like he has enough to stop Collapse, any of them.
It's crazy how that Scythe just paid off completely in that single move, you know?
Yatoro waiting, looking, wanting it. Ready for the jump in, finds him, but Squadix keeps him alive. Good Inkswell, gets him out of trouble. And with another buyback, that will be enough to force Team Spirit to retreat.
It takes everything. Yeah. They use with the Force Staff, Inkswell coming in there from FNG alongside his own E-Blade, all just to stop this potential of a Sven just tearing you apart, and he didn't even utilize the God Strike.
No. 19 to 22, and the gold lead accelerating into the favor of Team Spirit. This another item just feels like it's gonna erupt out of Yadro.
And they got their 2 buybacks that they wanted, the Coddle and the Wraith King. So now you want to utilize this Train Protector as much as you can, alongside this Invoker too. 2 heroes that can kind of sneak around the map and try and set up a kill into one of these 2 heroes, and that's just immediately going to send you high ground. And they got time too, right? Roche is back in 2 minutes. Might as well play for that. And it's a nullifier next year for Yadro. So certainly going to be the thing that SquadX was fearing.
And the recipe for success for Virtus Pro, obviously trying to farm, trying to get into those items, hoping Huerta becomes a hero, and maybe finding a pickoff. But if they run at you like this with 5 heroes, Mira jumps in, Collapse, there too, they're under vision, but FNG says, I don't want to be here anymore. TP out, they do force the overgrowth.
Yeah, Kiritich reality to Laurel, and is still chasing him a bit here. That's a bold TP to
Kiritich, that is not what you wanted to do. He's in way too far. The Hex is there. Kiritich brought down. Oh no. The nerves coming and hitting this young team, and for Team Spirit, an opportunity to force another buyback.
Just had no real way out of there, was pressed up against the wall, down to the bottom of the map, tried to find a desperation maneuver out of there with reality, but Invoker just got too many spells.
Oh yeah.
And now he's got more.
The refresher done. All right, we might start to see some crazy stuff as they get the deny on that ward. Open for an opening. Yadro jumps in, stun, Inkswell, Aeon Disc doesn't stand a chance. Immediately brought down. Team Spirit standing tall, keeping this movement going, and well, Collapse is not walking away. They're all up on the high ground. They're all ready for more battle.
He's got 2 Ravages.
And they're gone. Don't have much left in the tank. Spirit here to play. Alacrity spend, beating buildings. They do have buyback on Kiritich, but don't want to use it. Coddle also dead for 90 without anything in the tank. So they will claim another tier 3 tower. I mean, it feels like they're gonna have to give up Megas now if they don't want to buy back. 10 seconds away, stun, delaying for all that they're worth. But of course, 1 step too far forward and the rest of Virtus Pro could also be dead. Roche is up in 8 seconds. Thinking, you get the dead shot, connection. Now, last tier 3 tower alive, stepping forward onto Notice, down to half HP. Kiritich jumps forward, starts to bring him low. Will it be enough? No, the Terrorize is there. They have their answer. Fear pushes back Yadro, but the stun, the Ravage, the Cataclysm ×2. It's too pretty, double Ravage, double Cata. Keep looking for more. Notice is about to fall again. He's gonna come back into green light, but then there's not a whole lot left in the tank. Aposhka still hasn't been hit. That is Mega Creeps. Team Spirit's the favorites coming in. A triple kill as they taunt their way towards the victory. Not a whole lot left for Virtus Pro. They have looked so good this entire time. GG is finally called. Team Spirit. They did not lose a game leading up to today, and Virtus Pro did push them to the limit, but Team Spirit came out on top.
Yeah, they showed they can bleed, but could not finish the job there, despite having a chance in that game too, and that's gotta hurt a little bit there for Virtus Pro. Did a great job coming back in this one as well in that mid game, where they really struggled to get the Radiance online, and despite it being double Radiance, it really helped carry them, try and push that Spectre a little bit more, but Team Spirit just such great decisions throughout this game. Collapse especially, I gotta say on this Tidehunter, it really showed you like why you have to fear this hero sometimes, because he could just plant wherever he wanted on the map, and Virtus Pro had no options every single time he was there.
Absolutely. Well, gonna come on over and give some handshakes. Gotta give it up for Team Spirit on the victory. Former TI champions who at various times have talked about how they love to play in front of a crowd because they didn't get a chance to when they won that TI back when. Now having a good opportunity and showing some love to the other team. They love Yadro. Oh yeah.
Kerja.
For good reason.
Oh yeah.
It's exciting to watch. I gotta give it to him here.
Had a hell of a game.
Yeah, a bit of a classic there too as well, of course.
Kalau tadi awalnya
And looking very happy there.
bisa cok, Vivi menang orang Dota Plus diprediksi yang Vivi yang menang ini di menit 25.
as they get ready for the rest of it. Man,
Cuman
and
ya,
Virtus Pro, again,
Spectre-nya
a team that
susah
at
farming.
this point looked really solid. I feel like there were some really solid performances from them overall. They were able to take games off Team Spirit. Nobody else had done that. Where do you see them going forward now?
I mean, they definitely have some strats that they really like, obviously, especially the Spectre. They're looking very good. So I'm kind of expecting that to stick around. Maybe some adjustments to be made to it, like similar ideas to what we saw from previously, where they have like a little bit better setup for it.
Okay.
Felt like they struggled a little bit getting the haunts online early in this one.
Right.
Then of course the double radiance, which I mean, again, it's just I don't really think they're the choice.
So here's the thing, you know, pub players like to emulate what the pros are doing.
Yeah, yeah.
Hopefully that doesn't happen. We'll
Mungkin
see
bisa
though,
foto sama
that's a
pemain
strat that comes
sekarang.
around as we head on back to the panel to talk about it.
Team Spirit doing the rounds, they're taking photos with their fans. I mean, it feels good. You're a top 8 team. Whilst you did get pushed to the limits, Virtus Pro, they really had the number when it comes to Team Spirit. They could have done it in game number 2. That one went either way. Game 3, though, definitely felt like the Team Spirit we thought would show up and kind of 2-0. So they finally found their way throughout this series. In this game 3, the greed did come back to bite them in the bum, Sheep.
Man, Spirit, I was very happy with how the early game went. They gave up the top tower, but the mid they kept up for so long, which I think was key in making sure Yatoro was just able to farm. They maintained like this 4K plus net worth lead for so much of it, where they're just getting all this ancient space, Tide's being able to play up on the lanes. I think him and Willow together were doing really good jobs of connecting with Invoker and making plays and getting little pickoffs. Like, I think the way they approached taking the mid tower on the enemy side was really clean and nice. Just these little pick off into just pressure, push them back, take the tower, very nice. Meteor Hammer, very useful. Just, yeah, the way that they enable themselves to begin to get that lead to be able to fight Leo was super lovely.
We didn't know if they were going to get those pickoffs, too. We were worried that maybe their lineup would have been too cooldown-centric, that they were waiting for these big ults, but Team Spirit knowing how to play around and not always having to rely on a Ravage or an overgrowth tree.
Yeah, I think the key thing here is they didn't need to use their ults like you just mentioned. The Tidehunter from laning phase, he takes the bot tower Meteor Hammer, he moves to mid. Meanwhile, Yatoro on his Sven, completely free farm. So now you have Tide and Sven just farming, doing everything. And for VP, the real question is, when where they're going to make a good move, right? Like Keeper Light, he didn't have anyone to play with. Wraith King was farming a Radiance. Your Spectre was also farming a Radiance. You then had the double, and like everything just felt a little bit disjointed from VP, where they didn't have that aggression. But I think it's also down to Spirit drafting quite defensively. Spectre never saw a hero and went, I want to kill him. Like at no point was it, wow, I want to jump the Sven, I want to jump the Tide. It was quite an uncomfortable game for VP to try and play out.
I like how they found this Tide as an answer to the Spectre, which prevented like everything from happening, you know, aggressively on the side of VP. And he just like, he demolished the lane. He was like top net for the whole game. He was taking the whole map out of the Virtus Pro, and you know, they had no answers to the Tidehunter. I mean, but Yatoro, you give this guy space, he's gonna give it back to you, and he's gonna carry the game super hard. Like at some point it was like just Yatoro just jumping around, like, you know, you only see him starting the moves, starting the fights, and doing the actual work.
Yeah, I've never seen someone use space so efficiently as Yatoro. Big props to him, but the standout, especially when it comes to KDA, Impact and Teamfight, Lol here. He got Invoker mid. We've seen Invoker in that pose before, but of course, traditionally, it's a mid laner. And on someone like Lol going 10 for 12, this item build as well, getting Octarine refresher for himself. Invoker was just always up, always able to be aggressive and active again, Chief.
I liked it. I liked his Vessel and being able to play with the team, being able to scale later. He was doing everything he needed to. I thought it was just weird for me seeing like him running around being like the guy with the Vessel and doing stuff, whereas on the other team you had Spectre with an urn, you had Keeper of Light with a Vessel. Like, it felt like a lot of wasted net worth on their side, whereas they were much more efficient.
2 Radiance?
I think 2 Radiance is not actually that bad.
We've seen it work, right? We saw in the seeding best of 3s, 9 Pandas ran the 2 Radiants. Like, they were able to make it work for themselves, so it's not completely out of the question of it working.
I had more of an issue with the Ags on Spectre. I think it was super unnecessary. I think the Radiance was fine.
Why the Ags then, do you feel, was the sort of breakdown of his momentum of that net worth not really being used?
Mostly because the way the fights played out, I saw Yatoro just keep kind of going in and out of the fights. Like, he would poke, kill, maybe get like Wraith King's first life, then be be able to disengage and stuff. And it felt like, I don't know, if Spectre got,
Skadi?
didn't even get a Skadi. Yeah, if he'd had like a Skadi, I think it would have made it so much harder for Sven. You saw the impact of the Satanic pickup on him and how he could just keep going back to full health and constantly life-stealing.
I agree. They also one item they were lacking is a Silver Age on the Brave King. I think they needed that as well to be able to stop the tide somehow.
Well, when it comes to Yutaro, right, there's a few things that were lacking on Virtus Pro, but the item build for this Sven, it was very stock standard, but the way he's able to execute T is just above. You talked about that Satanic, it's obviously impactful, but people have picked that up before on Sven. That's nothing groundbreaking, but the way in which they played the team fights, T.
Yeah, I think the main thing is they know when to farm and to fight, and also to kind of contribute the carry into the engagement, because like some teams they'll go, you know what, let's go and fight while Sven's farming, but they have that nice balance where Yutoro's like, guys, just wait 2 minutes and I'll come to the fight and we'll win the fight, rather than you lose and then we have to wait again and then sync everything back up. So I think Spirit, when they hit their stride, when they're not punished in laning phase, they just know exactly when to leave their side of the map, cross the river, get in a fight, reset again. And that's why I am surprised that VP, from a Bristleback game 1 to a Centaur to a Wraith King, it's like a slippery slope of how not to pressure an enemy carry. So I feel like VP probably missed a beat in adaptation throughout the series.
Well, we've loved the progress that Team Spirit has had so far on road to the international. Even in this series, you know, that game 1 you talked about, Virtus Pro looked fantastic, but ultimately the win was for Team Spirit. So we have Pyrion down with one of the winners now.
Yeah, thanks, Nat. I'm here with Miposhka. First of all, congratulations on your win. You must be delighted.
Thank you, thank you. What was the question?
I was just checking in with you, making sure you're okay. Game 1, it felt like this Bristleback was out of control. Were you kind of like, oh, blimey, we're in for a tough series here?
To be honest, I think our draft was not that bad, and we could play much better than we played, but we died too many times, like some random deaths in game, and that's why game became much harder. But we still had some options to kill that Bristleback in late game and other things, but we did some mistakes, and also opponents, they were really good in first game, actually in full series. That's, it shows in our next games, I guess. So.
But this is a team you know very well, right?
I guess right now they're kind of different team. It's not the team which we play against in DPC. They definitely much better than previous our series.
So that was the first game that you actually lost so far on the road to the international. Were you worried at that point, or were you just confident, like, we'll figure this out?
I mean, I guess a bit worried, but I think it doesn't matter. Like, anyway, everyone wants just to win tournament. I don't think someone putting some goal to win some tournaments without losers. I think it's not really matters. That's why we have best of 3 matches.
Okay, well, congratulations. We look forward to seeing more for you in the tournament. And back to you, Nat, and the panel.
Thank you so much, Pyrion, as well as Miposhka. There's some valuable information. You know, we've talked about this head-to-head. Virtus Pro not really being able to stand up to the likes of Team Spirit in DPC, but even Miposhka thinks that this team is a completely different one. The road to the international, Virtus Pro is completely different. Forget everything that they were earlier in the year, because this is a new roster, and they should be walking away with their heads held high. But what is a key takeaway for you, Rezo, that you want Virtus Pro walking out of here with?
I mean, I think they deserve kind of like to be in the top 6 at least for this tournament, from what I've seen they play and how they feel the meta and how they understand the heroes. The only thing I would suggest them, I actually don't know they need to change that much. I think that the other opponents are gonna be like way weaker for them than the Team Spirit as well.
Look, they might be in the lower bracket, but they can still do that run. We're still looking at our upper bracket matchups, though, and it's time that we start looking towards our second series. The first team that we want to focus on is Team Liquid, so let's have a little bit of a dive into that roster.
I think this year for Liquid has been honestly really good. it's been a really good year. But there's like a slight caveat in that we got second place in almost every tournament that we played. But apart from that, I mean, we've been playing well. We've been getting to grand finals in almost every event that we played, all the TPC marriages. So super happy with that.
Liquid again found themselves in the grand finals at Riyadh, but ultimately settled for another second place finish. Reflecting on Zai's journey that began with a third place at his first TI, he's perpetually been on the cusp of greatness and has etched his name as one of the most accomplished players yet to grasp the pinnacle of Dota 2 success.
That's a little bit corny, but I think probably one of the best things I learned from Optic was how to deal with like losing. Optic came into Dota with like a ton of momentum behind them and a ton of like enthusiasm, trying to break into the scene and stuff, and they signed what at the time was meant to be kind of like a stacked squad, you know, we were gonna make waves and stuff in the NA scene, and things like really didn't click for a pretty long time. Losing is like, it's awful, it sucks, and that's just the way it is. Like you have to be able to deal with it as well, otherwise every group and every team is just gonna implode if you don't have people that can manage like having success and also not having success. These days I don't feel the pressure to win TI as much as I used to. I mean, obviously, like I'm not considering like of course I would really like to win a TI, but I also know that investing all my energy and all my heart into trying to win a TI is like, it leads to heartbreak as well. There's been years where I've been really close and it's just like, it's just the worst. But we've also had a really good year, and we've been successful, and we're gonna go to TI and hopefully we'll win. But I'm also like gotta be proud of what we've accomplished, pretty much no matter what.
A heartbreaking loss last TI for them, coming third there, but you know, they upped the ante, second place at every international land for themselves here in 2023, and the story is this Liquid Talon matchup. This is what they were looking like in group stages, but Liquid having their number 10.
Yeah, and also on top of that, when you look at the group stage games, Liquid, win or lose, they're ruthless. They're out in like 36 minutes. Their average game times are the quickest of anyone, whilst Talon, they're incredibly slow. Like, the games they're winning, they draw them out a little bit longer. The games they're losing, they find this miraculous comeback, right? So this is a real test of like one of the fastest teams we have so far at this Road to International versus one of the slowest teams that we have. So a lot of work for Talon to try and kind of set the pace in this game.
Yeah, that might be the only time we see first against Liquid's name. I am just joking. This team is heavy favorites. I say it because I do know some of those players. But Team Liquid looking fantastic. The story between these two teams is that every time Talon are this close, their dreams get crushed by Team Liquid. All right, their matchup.
That's not true. 23 Savage crushed their dreams once.
That's true, yeah. He has to click the Ancient and control his hero, but he decided not to.
Okay, all right. We're taking internal shots for Talon over here.
I'm just saying, that was probably their win.
I'm just saying, every time they've been in upper bracket, they get knocked down by Liquid, and then they get knocked out by Liquid.
Okay.
That's the pattern, the trajectory. When it happened, Lima and Riyadh were the two times that these guys have faced off in international lands.
But now they learn a valuable lesson. Play till the very end, you know? So now they're stronger. I mean, I want to talk about Zai mentalities, actually. Like, he's very stable throughout all of his years. He's been on top, like, every time, but yet, like, to be a champion, a real champion of the, you know, TI. And I wonder, like, why is that? Because, like, he's so chill, so he doesn't have that energy to, like, give it all out? Because he's afraid of losing? Or, like, why do you think is... that happens?
I mean, he's a champion of something, champion of the people. So maybe he's just
champion. You reckon he's the people's? Oh, Reza. Stop it.
No, I think obviously Dota's such a complicated game where, like, even if you're at the top of your game, you need the other 4 people in your roster plus coach to also click at the right time, right?
But it was different rosters.
Yeah, no, that's the point there. It's like Zai's always been on the hunt to find that perfect click, and I think Liquid is probably the best shot he's ever had. And maybe this TI is the best shot after years of second places, no curses set throughout the year. Like,
he's also been taking a leading role, right, in this team. So he can be the driving force for the team to actually like accomplish what he wants to accomplish.
Mentality is a very big thing about it. Do you have any insights very quickly, Sheep, about the mentality for these two teams?
No.
Oh, okay, all right. Well, You're going to say no, right? And that's because you're wanting this series to start. You don't want us to hold up anymore. So let's get to it. Let's start this series. Let's welcome our very first team in this second best of 3 out onto the stage. This is our SEA region representatives. This team has come so close, so many third places for themselves. They have fought hard. They are up here in the upper bracket, but the reward for being in upper bracket is to come up against Team Liquid. So let's also bring them out. To the upper bracket. They're used to playing in front of a crowd. They're used to success in many different ways, and I'm very excited to see how they're going to go up against Talon yet again on the international stage. Will they be crushing the dream of Talon, crushing the dreams of SEA? Will history repeat itself, or will it be rewritten today, Sheep?
Oh my god, I think it can go either way. I mean, they're both so, every time they come together, they are so evenly matched. And people like to meme on Southeast Asia and how they play Dota, but like every single time I hear all these pros, coaches, people in Dota talk about Talon, they just say how underrated they are and how absolutely phenomenal they are to play against. And I think it really shows. Talking about, you know, leadership and all this stuff, I think that's something that Talon lacked in previous years, and this year we see with the addition of like Ollie coming in, like he brings a lot of experience from when he's playing in China for 4 years, like getting that extra region, you know, insight. You also have Jabs playing as a true captain for the team, which it's so important. Jabs is a player who, when he's talked about it, he wasn't really ready to be a leader, but he kind of had to, just because of the nature of how the players are in C and having to fill that space. And you know, he works with Sunbi. They talk about their relationship and how they didn't always used to like be on the same page and stuff. And since then, they've grown so much together and then are now really leading the team.
And that's been the hunt for like any SEA team recently, and it's also why the series will be bittersweet, because you have Talon who are finally finding that form for the region, trying to make a run, and then you have like a Western Europe favorite in Liquid. So whoever does lose to go to low bracket, there's going to be some part which is it's just an awkward series. I feel like you don't want to see these two teams play against, because you always just expect them to want to do well.
This matchup was bound to happen, but obviously occurring in the first upper bracket round is a massive one for themselves. Looking more towards Talon, how much does that resonate with you of needing this clear leadership and the fact that Jabs coming in, obviously a long-standing Fnatic member after that team dissolved, joining Talon, really brought in the leadership, really brought that direction that they might have been missing when they didn't do so well in TI11 last year?
I mean, I'm not really familiar of like his style of leadership. I'm sure he's done a lot there, but I want to mention like the one player that stands out for me, like especially on this tournament, which is Q. Like his task has been phenomenal to me, and like what he's been doing as a position for this team, like, you know, considering 23 Savage and Mikola are like really good skilled players or whatever, like this is already like we know all of that, but Q has been performing super well in this tournament. I'm really excited to see what he's gonna bring for this series.
How do you feel that Q compares to Boxy, right? Because Boxy was underappreciated for so long as well. This year, he really came into his own form. We talk about how he feels that he's able to play every hero under the sun, that drafting for him is probably one of the easiest things. Do you see Q as maybe just a little bit under Boxy, or also fulfilling the same sort of role that he also can play almost any hero? And I
think they both had a really big impact on these teams. Yeah, and I think Boxy is pretty complimented, yes, that's the word I was looking for. Yeah, because he's been performing very well, and like he's been the one who's making like a lot of aggression for Team Liquid, and he's been playing a lot of heroes as well. Like his Furion was outstanding as well on this tournament. So Boxy is the really guy to look up to.
Both pose fours that have a massive impact. But how exactly would you describe Liquid's playstyle? Is it easy to describe them?
I think they're just hitting really nice combos so far. Like if I was trying to like super generalize it, like when you see some of their games, they have like Kunkka, Shadowbeam, Invoker, and they're going for an Exalt Invoker where they're comboing Disruption into Torrent into Sunstrike. And then you have like Ancient Apparition with Spirit Breaker, with Earth Spirit. Like they're finding just really powerful combos that break their opponent. And then it's like, okay, so whilst you're recovering, we play such high quality like macro play that by the time that you even try to catch up, we've already taken to be ready for that, because I don't know, something's going to be hitting them early in this game for sure.
I mean, that's also something that Liquid pride themselves on and have talked about. It's the flexibility they have as a team. It's hard for us to say they play this specific adapt very often. I can look at just as many games where they have sort of played a bit more defensively and turtled up until their timings, bought Midases, and then hit, you know, a later moment, as well as seeing them absolutely demolish a game, snowballing like 15 minutes, boxies roaming left and right. There's absolutely so much pressure that the enemy can't breathe, right? They are just so adaptable. They see how the enemy is and they work around it.
To me, Team Liquid looks like water, like real water that can adapt to anything that their opponents has, and that's why they come up like on top every single tournament, because they can adapt so quickly and they be innovative and creative in the game as well, outside and in draft as well.
I was trying not to say fluid, but you hit the puns instead of me.
Reza did it for you.
Yeah.
I like that you are talking about like in games they're able to adapt to that, right? And that's what we ultimately want to talk about. But the fact that outside of it as well, they're just like, okay, this is just another thing that we have to take in our stride. We just have to have that perseverance. We have to push through it. Whereas Talon, you already mentioned it once, Sheep, SEA is such a underrepresented region, a region that a lot of people look at and kind of yawn. They're not really super excited for the Dota that they might play. But this year alone, Talon have been that big SEA representative. So when it comes to growth, even though they are having that slower game time, where else do you see a lot of growth for this region and for this team?
At least for this team, I think that they have just gotten a lot more cohesive, and usually you see like the throws is what you expect from like Southeast Asia.
Yeah, they're up 23 gold, they're pushing high ground, you're like, oh, anyway, time to lose the game.
Yeah, and it's like, they still are like that in some games, right? But most of all, like I would say they're more consistently just doing well, performing, and that comes from all the reasons we said before in terms of like leadership. It also comes from like Q being more comfortable, having more Thai players on the team this year, which helps a lot, especially when he's playing melee heroes like Tusk and Tiny that really love to rotate and do a lot for his team. Being able to really efficiently communicate, I'm sure, is like massive for him. I think 23 Savage is just, I mean, I think you see Yotaro even that mentioned that all 5 players on that team are like near the top of their role. Like they're just so good at what they do. Like 23 Savage, when he gets his comfort heroes like his Morphling, it's just sheesh, bro.
Like, I love watching like Makoto when the game goes past like 45 minutes. Like me and Rezo were watching one of these games, and when he's playing Invoker against Gaming Gladiators, and he's like TPing into their Ancient whilst there's a Roshan fight. They have no idea if there's TPs up or down, but he's pressuring the tier 4s instead of going to the Roshan fight, forcing Gaming to think 2 ways, and like these are the small things that you can do for your team that can like bring you that combat potential, that can get those like 50-60 minute games over the line. And just having that level of just like understanding in the heat of the moment, a lot of these teams that struggle on the international stage, their key players, their star players, don't make those moves. So just seeing Makoto make that play against Gaming of all the teams, it was like, damn, this team's a team to like not mess around with, because yeah, it was so incredible to see.
I wanted to mention that too, because like all their games go pretty late. They kind of like become a kings of late game because they know exactly what to do like on the specific roles, and they're so confident doing that as well. And probably because Japs is not like so demanding as a captain, it allows them to have this freedom to make their own decisions in the later parts of the game, and you know, make these games like very colorful, very beautiful.
I mean, didn't Slax gank them after one of their wins? And I was like, so what are you talking about?
He did that to every team.
True, but this one, that's a good point. But when he asked, he was like, how are you communicating? And it's like, we weren't. We were just quiet. We were in the zone. It's like, damn, you're making all these plays without even speaking. That is just a level of synergy that takes some teams months, years to get to.
I mean, they've been together all year, Talon, right? So they've been able to have that growth together. They're able to make these players shine that you guys are pointing out. Makoto, massive growth for himself, the communication being a big aspect for it. Q as well. But at Gaming Gladiators, let's talk just briefly a little bit more to you about it. When you look at that series, it went all 3 games, Talon being the big upset to come into upper bracket. Your key takeaway that you think Liquid should have been looking at, just don't take it late?
Yeah, try and close out the game in a reasonable fashion, but also if you think that your draft can't scale perfectly, like even when Talon's drafts, even if they don't look like they scale, they find ways to make them just be explosive in the late game. Like other teams, if their heroes fall off at say 30, 35, they're going to play like that as well. But Talon has that little bit of spark to them where it's like, okay, damn, you're taking your Bristle back to like 70 minutes, even though it's been like, there's silver edges in the game, there's breaks, there's healing mitigation, everything in play, but they're still like bringing it to that later point. So yeah, just have a lot of respect in this series.
The lobby is almost ready. We still have a little bit more time. Is there any other thoughts about this matchup generally before we look towards the draft, before we go very hero specific on this 15?
No, it's just to ban the Tusker. Don't let the Q get that. I mean, he was a beast. Like, he was playing like 12-0-13 on like 25 minutes or something. He was owning the whole map. I was looking at him. So yeah, I would think about that for sure.
Q is just a connoisseur of melee pos fours is the problem. It's like you ban, sure you ban Tusk, now he has Tiny, and I think I was really happy to see him actually playing at this tournament because I thought the hero had fallen out of favor. I mean, it had for like most of the year towards the end, but now he's bringing it back. He's played like, what, 3 games of it so far? I think he's doing quite well on it. And then you take that out, now he has like an Earth Spirit still available, which they could pick potentially as a flex. You have like, I think he's played Shaker as well. Like, he's going to get something, and they all kind of have a similar-ish playstyle where he's going to make it work. And I think Liquid just needs to give him that.
Well, look, it's time to get started. We want to see this draft happen. So first of all, we have to introduce the series. We're talking about these opposed 4 melee heroes. We're going to see how many of them get banned out, how many of them get through, and how we're making it work in this meta. I'm not going to lie, I really thought it was a ranged post 4 meta. That's what we were predominantly going to be seeing. And you're right, Sheik, it was an absolute treat to see Tiny get picked up.
I suppose it's like per team, right? Because other teams are going to be prioritizing like the Skywrath mages and stuff, the Willows, that stuff like Boxy's been playing. Those Nature's Prophet's still obviously like a contested hero between both these teams. So I think whilst Q might prefer the melee heroes, I think range is still absolutely viable.
I mean, it all depends on the playstyle of the team and whoever takes the leadership role in terms of like making movements, right? And I think for Talon, Q is the one guy who's like setting up the early game movements, and that's why he needs to have a hero who's initiating. It's kind of like he's kind of like we had Zayds in Team Secret. He was like playing this Nyx type of hero, Tiny, not Tiny, but you know, he's the initiator and he needs to fulfill that role. So he can't really afford to play like Phoenix or Ancient Apparition or like Grimstroke that much.
With the draft on the screen, the bans coming out, and so far it feels very stable meta. Nothing too niche here that dictates what the teams might be more inclined to pick up for themselves. Invoker, Bristle, Phoenix, Dazzle, Spirit Breaker banned out. One more ban for each. Chaos Knight.
There
yes. Maybe Dawnbreaker is gonna be banned. I think it's like their top heroes to go to. Invoker and Bristleback were picking up by Talon a lot before.
Teams have been banning out the Tree, the TA. They're also kind of in play as well. So there's quite a lot of options for Talon. It's not as if they've been starved entering this first draft. But
no. Also, just for reference, Liquid won the coin toss and they took first pick.
Yeah, a lot of teams actually favoring the first pick in the Team Spirit versus Pro. Whenever they had the choice, it was first pick too. So the way of the drafting order changing up for themselves, it feels that everyone now getting accustomed to it realize how impactful and all the potential of this first pick.
Yeah, I think it's nice when you first pick because you only have to ban 3 times. You pick a statement hero, you force your opponent to obviously pick, and then they only have 1 ban to adjust, and you get to close out the second phase. Yeah. So your opponent needs to react to your first pick, ban perfectly with 1 ban, and then draft open enough that you're not getting fully countered by the closing phase. So I think first pick, logically, it's a pretty difficult thing to try and draft into.
Yeah, and towards the first pick, you can only answer with 1 pick, one
yep.
Right? So.
And what will it be? Into the Primal Beast.
To go hard for a counter, something that as a support can not necessarily deal with Primal, right? But
that's the old school one. Yeah. Kunka. Sure. They can both buy Blade on Hearts. So just send the beefy boys to the corner of the map, they do their thing.
That's the name of the game, bro.
And then go be honest elsewhere.
That's the name of the game.
Sounds like that's your voice line for next year, mate.
Well, nothing too interesting in these openers, but like you said, T, an importance on these bans. Liquid, they only have 1, and this Conqueror is so open. We've seen it played in offlane, we've seen it played in mid, but what did Talon like to put to us?
For the Kunkka, they liked to play it.
They've only played it
off lane. Yeah, so they,
Oh, okay, so the team that's only on lane.
But judging by last series, I mean, they clearly have much more to show on all these teams, and they've had a break since we last saw them play, so the pubs could be there. I'm not like locking it in any which way. Liquid have shown the Primal played offlane and mid so far, which is
Nih, misalkan Acer masuk nih, ntar kan masuk Gaming, Acer lawan Gaming.
I'd love to see another Nature's Prophet unboxing, to be honest.
Yeah, the other thing as well is I'd like to see Talon, for example, go for Enchantress. Like when they open up the next phase, they pick up just some nice casual Enchantress. It secures the lane against some Primal offlane. You have the slow to deal with his trample. You scale as well, and especially when you have heroes like Kunkka, you do want your supports to scale as well. So when he has Axe Shard, they're pumping out damage during the chaos of whatever fight Kunkka provides. You don't want your supports being like, no, you have an opportunity to slaughter that fight.
I also really love the Kunkka response to Primal because it forces your item build a little bit more. Like it seems so hard to buy like your Axe before BKB, for example, because you just want to be able to move and you really want to be able to use like your ult, which is just impossible into Kunkka. There's so many stuns.
I think it's still better to go for the Axe though, especially if you have Park already.
Yeah.
I don't think you need more in terms of like BKB to move around. Like you can just press your E and just like hands off case already.
Ancient Apparition was going to be that one ban from Team Liquid. Sorry, one of the bans, not even an AA. So they didn't want to take it out, even though that's a very common hero for both of them. Liquid could have picked it up. Talon obviously having played it too, which leaves still one very busted support in the pool.
I don't really like Tree into Primal Beast just because he can find you like super easy in the trees already.
It's also like there's a lot of times I see Primal, even with Leech Seed, still do enough damage just to rip through you. But in regards to lane, maybe if Talon are thinking of some like Muerta or something themselves, then Tree secures that lane for a range carry, just to body the death. But we'll see what their angle is here.
I mean, maybe they're just trying to secure like their carry idea. You play these team fights into Tree Kunkka. It's like you have to have so many ways to deal with like the Kunkka Axe and all that stun. You also have to have a way to dispel the tree, or like in going into late game it gets harder and harder. So playing as a carry into carry, it's very difficult, especially when 23 Savage is your win condition. You want to set him up.
I mean, it's true. Just think about that, right? Kunkka gets these Ags, it almost makes you go BKB. You pop it, and then all of a sudden Tree puts out his ult. It's just like, this BKB, you're still not going to get away. You're not going to get to run away. You're not going to get to do anything in a team fight. Yeah. That is a very deadly combo there. And then Dark Willow going to be that, most likely post 4, picked up for Team Liquid. Boxy getting his hero early. Not the Nature's Prophet you want in Rezo.
Not the Nature's Prophet. I mean, Nature's Prophet not that good here, to be honest. Because your Primal Beast breaks your trees and the tree is walking from your trees.
Synergy just not there.
One option Liquid has, they've done it before. I don't know if they pick it now, but like they've done Silencer, and it's like, I don't like talking about this hero too much, but when you have Kunkka, a tree, and you already have Primal who's very quick to initiate, it could synergize with the, we're in the fight, you can't take our fight now, but they go and themselves. Also, super, on the flip side, just this support duo, they can break the map alone. Like Eng plus a creep plus a Willow, they're going to run around, poke everything, fight everything, and if you get the troll, you'll be able to actually kill off towers into the tree and protector as well. So yeah, Liquid, they're wanting to play that high pace that we expect from them, being the fastest average game time of any team so far in the tournament.
So far so good, I would say. I love their support duo. I love their offlane already.
What don't you love?
I don't like this train pick, to be honest.
There we go.
Yeah. I think they should have taken Edge themselves.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Well, they have picked now, so it is going to be something that you think will put that tree over. What does their post 4 have to do to fill in the gaps that Tree might not be able to do?
Initiate.
Yeah.
Initiate and that's a lot.
Tree does initiate with his shard, but it's a little bit more methodical. You need to set up the map correctly, you need to make sure you're not under vision. But then having that 4, that's a little bit more traditional. I blink, stun, fight begins, and then Tree can like scurry his way in. It does simplify the game a little bit. But
Tiny Tusk.
Do you think there's room for Morphling here for Talon early, or do you think it's too early? Just because they have no real hard lockdown right now?
Sure, I think it's easily an option.
Wow. Good job, Alex.
It's 23 Savage. It's 23 Savage. If you don't, you could just say Morphling.
We literally open this and you're just like, 23 Savage, Morphling, pack it up, series is done, link it on.
It's like a 75% chance it shows up. You can just say it whenever you feel like it.
He wants to play Morphling every game.
Exactly.
I was gonna say, you say that, he's played 9 different heroes out of his 10 games so far. I'm gonna assume Morphling was banned now, but you know, man's his branch now, trying to pick up some new heroes for himself.
Yeah.
So like for Talon right now, I see them looking at Liquid's aggression and going, okay, if you're going to run at us, you're going to run as like a bundle. So now we can have Tree behind you, skipping a wave. Lich Prophet can skip a wave. And Morphling, once he gets a couple items, in theory shouldn't die to the first 3 heroes. The next 2 picks on Liquid need to kill off these, like, to kill off this Morphling. Because right now they don't have that very clean way to stop the Morphling from getting, what, 2-3 items and just being unkillable.
Do you think Primal deals with Morph in the laning phase? Do you want to see it shifted to mid now, or are you still hoping it goes in that off lane, still goes the very tanky build, the stereotypical Blade Melhan?
I think it's totally fine for Primal to go in the offlane and just, you know, play behind the tower and skip waves and just be farming. But he's not gonna push Morphling out of lane.
Let's just be Naga at the dark side. I was like, for Liquid, they could have responded with like some Naga to like fight their map play with your own map play style hero.
I was thinking about PL or Naga.
Sure, okay. Instead they go for a Darkseid, which
I don't like this pick. Do you like it?
No, you have to explain why you don't like it. You can't say that, Rezo.
I don't like it because it already gives Morphling a free lane.
Yep.
It's not punishing him. This is the first reason. Second reason, he doesn't have support to play with the shells. Like, so he's kind of on his own. And I don't really see a big reason for the wall either, because Morphling doesn't really care about the wall. He just waveform out.
It feels like a pick for the mid game and not for the how they get to the mid game stuff. Like if they could put all their heroes at 20 minutes straight away, they're like, okay, this is perfect. You know, we've got Darkseid punching a Morphling, we've got the Primal Beast soaking up all the early game, but to get there, I kind of agree with Rezo. Like this lane probably isn't going to be that great. Like a Tree Morphling lane, that's really formidable to deal with. They might just have to skip wave and just kind of trade Darkseid free farm for more free farm, and normally you lean probably Morph.
Yeah, but I think they can easily connect to kill this Darkseid who's skipping waves, because Tree is gonna set up, and you know, there's TP from Furion as well all the time, and Morphling is just gonna come and waveform it.
Oh, and they ban out the Naga, so I kind of would have preferred the Naga in that position instead of Darkseid. I feel like that conceptually deals with how Talon want to bring out the game longer. You also can buy Skadi, you can buy Orchid, so you have different points of pressuring the Morphling.
I agree.
So I think potentially Liquid missed a beat here by going
I have a
Darkseid.
question. What do you think of Willow carry? Like if you put the primal with the Darkseid off lane, potentially.
Willow carry.
Have you seen the pulse?
Maybe mid. Okay.
I've seen
Shearer's been doing it from LGD. That's where she's kind of referencing.
Kemarin kan sampai final 5, ini baru sampai final 5
It's, I don't know, I just saw it coming up more. You get this Midas, when you get your Axe, it's doing so much damage. I don't know how much I like it. I think like Conquer with Axe makes it a little harder because you can't just sit there in Realm and hit, but...
I prefer it in games where your opponent cores can't reposition and also be very active in the fights. Like in this lineup here, Kunkka can stun you, AoE when you're in Realm, the Morphling can just waveform away from your Realm duration and then reinitiate after. So I think it would...
Steal you.
Yeah, true. So I think it'd just be crap. I think it'd be a bit awkward.
Huh?
Nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Not a big fan.
I think I'm not a fan, like when I put it in my head in theory, but I would...
The option is there as well.
If the option was there and we could put like the Primal with the Darkseid, that makes that lane stronger, makes...
Alright, Spectre is a good pick.
Is this going to be a
Tercacat
Spectre
deh, orang
that
masih
goes Radiance,
masih pakai
or are you
Spectre
going to
sih
see
ini.
maybe the Diffusal build? Because
Juga belajar
Diffusal,
dari
Skadi, Basher, like these type of items are very potent against Morphling.
dari
But-
VP anjing.
Yeah.
2 kali Spectre 2 kali kalah tadi.
But then you trade off like low farm speed. So it's like if they get a lot of kills, then the kills can supplement the lack of farm because no Radiance. But I'd like to see a different variation on the build potentially, just because of your Morph matchup.
I think Blade Mill Radiance is just too good of a build right now.
Well, what's going to round out Talon's draft right now? You know, this Kunkka, where they've mostly played it in offlane. You were saying so they're looking for their mid matchup now, going against that Primal. There is still flexing Kunkka, but...
I think it's Puck, right?
Yeah, okay.
Puck has a freeze game of his life against... Like,
no stuns.
There's so little stuns.
What? Commit, I think.
They decided to go for the Tide. They were inspired by Collapse Tide last game.
And the same logic is going to apply here, right? Spectre can't pressure the Tide. Tide can go Meteor.
Bagus sih, Matt. Drive-nya.
And also Darkseid never rotates into a Tide. So this
Spectre
should be
physical,
an
ini.
Tide Hunter unless Primal plus Willow plus Ench all come in at the same time with
Nah, ini
another
setara nih,
ball
Matt.
to then kill him off.
Talon
So, yeah, a
Liquid.
lot of early game pressure coming out from this last pick Tide Hunter.
It's a wild lineup.
Beda
for
mas
Liquid. I
Spirit
just like
Talon,
having
anjing.
so little lockdown and just
Itu dari mati,
relying on
anjing.
overwhelming Talon with damage. Like we're just gonna go on you with like a Skadi, Primal Charge, and
Allah.
roll
Kita lihat.
and hope that we can just like burst you down all the rest of your team.
Kalau dia
Seems
bisa
so hard
ngalahin
when they're so
dikit,
defensive with damage reduction on Talon.
Talon GG
And then the
juga
ability
sih.
to buy like auras and stuff on top potentially.
Do you think that Liquid could still match this potentially
Dia lihat
sort
Master
of
kalah
active
sih sama
a
Liquid.
spec can be, right? Kiritich played it very active
Kalahnya juga kalah
just
tipis,
moments
kalah
ago.
kalah.
So could we see Liquid also try and match this temper and be just as you know oppressive when it comes to this map, trying to cut Talon off of any
They have
space?
a very aggressive lineup, and I like that. But I think their laning is weak, so they can lose like 2 to 3 lanes.
double down
It's
dia,
gonna be really tough.
And no comeback mechanic from a lost lane.
Ah,
for the
free,
side of
dengan
Liquid?
match cuma PM 2 kali ya.
Not so much. They only have like vacuum wall, but there's no like follow up really.
It's going to be a long game. That's
Gue
what
dia
I'm
setahun
saying.
nggak PM,
Like,
itu udah
more
kelihatan
things
kan
ahead.
setahun nggak
He's gonna
PM
walk
itu
up high ground,
tandanya
and then
apa?
he's going to get
Mager,
Darkseid punched into some Spectre on top of him,
Gimana
die once,
lu?
game lasts longer. So, yeah, I think it's going to be like a 53-minute game.
Yeah, I think I prefer Talon's lineup. I just think it looks simpler. I think it's easier. I think 23 is playing super hard comfort, and they have heroes that support it to be able to do what it wants to do in the game.
Well, look, I've loved listening to your opinions on the draft. I've loved listening to your beautiful voices, but we have 2 more beautiful voices that we have to listen to. It's Cap and SBG.
PM 2 kali.
The story of this series, there have been many chapters going throughout the year, but the culmination comes here at TI. Will it be a story, Avery, of revenge for Talon, or will it be a story of continued playoff dominance for Team Liquid?
I mean, they're the last of the region, right? The last remaining up here from that Western Europe dominance that we've seen all year. Talon, they're a team that's shown no fear. Every time it feels like their back's against the wall, they go to a game. They make it very close. Some would say they bring people out of their seats, Cap, and so it's a question of close it out and get there this time. Yeah, against a team that has been your kryptonite for so many damn series. We're going to see it here, and this is a big series for that upper bracket, especially when you're going up against Team Spirit in the next round. You have to come out strong. You have to show some dominance so you can have a lot of momentum going into that next round as well. It's going to determine a lot of the pathways going deeper in this tournament right here. These are 2 of the teams that people probably had in their top 6 at least.
Yes, especially considering their performances throughout the year. You're expecting both of these teams to do very well at TI, but again, those expectations always seem to get turned on their head when it comes to the international. It has a way, the pressure cooker of just being able to break certain teams and players
Jadi
down.
sekarang midnya Secret siapa yang
Got
mid?
it all figured out. The opening of this series, though, game 1, is there anything specific that you want to look at? Because I know personally, I'm already looking at 23
TNC nggak sih?
If Talon won momentum, particularly throughout this entire event, but in this series specifically, I need the quintessential 23 Savage hero to pop off.
And this is a hero they brought out in Game 3 versus Gaming, and there's a reason why, right? As we were talking, every time his team has their backs against the wall, the 23 Savage Morphling is something they go back to. It's a comfort pick. He is probably the best Morphling in the world at this point.
He is his most prolific hero.
Good, best Morphling in the world.
Hero in professional matches. He's everywhere. Nisha actually using the early Q for Team Liquid.
Anda apa ini? Dia ngapain dari situ? Ngeliat apa ada 3 orang? Musuhnya jalan aja nggak nyeruduk.
Particularly with the primal beast that they up the value on because the speed is just so important to them. They want to take over the map fast. They want to take over it early.
Aslinya menang Kunkka sih ya.
Especially a team like Talon
Kalau
that
midnya.
is known for going to those C late games. You do not want to play against this team going past.
Armor ngaruh nggak sih Matt ke splash Kunkka?
I don't care who you are. I don't care what
Armor ngaruh nggak sih ke splash Kunkka? Apa itu damage up here?
So if you're Liquid, this is another type of game. You have Enchantress, you have Primal Beast, you have a little bit of a dark
Skill
combo
2.
you can throw on top of each of this game, and you have
Flash
the
itu
new haunt
physical.
in terms of That Spectre
Iya,
chewing up
kedua.
every one of those engagements 60
Oh, magical.
seconds. off the
Kalau beli
shadow
pipe nggak berasa
step.
ya?
That's where I wanted
Flash
to
ya?
start on, because you're talking about a fast lineup. You know, normally people think of Spectre
Kunka,
traditionally this
kunka.
hero. Oh, it's the ultimate late game hero. Oh, it's super slow. Yada yada yada. But
Udah mau
now
mati nih
Shadow
anjing.
Step every 60 seconds.
Sakit
Like,
banget
this
skill ya.
is
Pasti menang lah kalau
of carries. He just gets involved all the time.
I mean, I'm pretty sure this hero's win rate going in today was like 80% over 10 games or something. So
Eh,
we're seeing
mati
this
anjing.
Spectre go later in the draft and just decimate games. I
Bener.
think people have to
Tapi Nisa
realize
berani bet dah. Darah
it's one of those
segitu.
heroes that it's stuck in your brain for a long time. Spectre, slow, late game. Nah, this is
Dia
a hero that
pasti
plays a
ngitungin
lot
stress.
faster now, particularly with these Urn or Blade Mail builds. And it's something that could suit Liquid really well if they try
Udah
and
kayak
play
gitu ya,
here.
kita kira-kira
The
ya.
downside for them, I think, in this
Kira-kira ya.
particular game,
Mati gua sama X
talked about
tadi.
is these side lanes should be very good.
Kirain
for Talon.
cukup darah
You
gua.
have Furion versus the Ench, which is not
Ya,
as bad
dihitung,
a
anjing.
matchup as it used to be because, of course, you're not playing off Treants. And you have this Treant Morphling lane, which is just a powerhouse of a lane, especially for a Darkseer that doesn't have a melee for to combo with.
Oh, Nisha playing the margins here. He went down to below 10 health against that final hit from Makoto. He's going
Mundur,
to still
Cok.
play for it. Furion's
the
going to come in,
fuck?
and
Oh,
he's going to be in a
ini.
bit of trouble here. Nisha is going to be
Lah,
slapped
lah,
down as the creeps were underneath his tower. This is all due to the fact that first
Gak tau
blood,
tuh,
Q,
udah pasti kalah bet
he
ini
gave
lawan
up the
Kunka
first
mah.
blood, but it went to Mickey, and he also snatched away a bounty rune in the process.
banget
So
splash
the
anjing.
fact that Nisha just hasn't
Merah,
been able to
merah,
get
merah.
that regeneration from his
Kecuali lawan
bottle
Timber atau
results in
Odin.
Makoto effectively winning this part of the lane.
He's lucky he didn't lose Courier off that as well. That was a bottle delivery almost straight into the hands of the Furion here. And this is the thing that Liquid have to think about, where this Furion goes in the early game. We're talking about the speed that he come out with. If there's one king of speed in this tournament so far, it has been Nature. This hero is almost unfightable in the first 5 to 6 minutes, particularly on these rune fights, and particularly in those mid lane ganks where you just can't react to it with the same sort of support committal. So it's like Nisha's gonna have to think about even more now, the fact that he's behind almost a 3/4 of a level here in a Kunkka matchup that can easily set up on him. Something that Talon are going to try and exploit here, especially for Q, who wants to get a fast Urn up, get the levels rolling. You get an Urn on this Furion plus the blood grenades. The kill threat on the map just goes up exponentially. He's looking straight back towards mid.
Ah, Nisa mati lagi tuh. Ah,
Nisha has been holding
kita
off the
kebantai banget
onslaughts
anjing.
entire time. Another reason why he's struggling in this
Mati
lane,
tuh.
he can't use that ability, otherwise Q's going to come in and
Mati.
punish him, and he
Oh,
almost
bisa
gets him
anjing.
there with the torrent. Not quite, he's going to try and bottle up, but it looks like he's just going to be chased down. Not receiving any help, no TPs coming in from the Liquid side. They are just leaving Nisha hanging him out to dry here.
Nice.
Slow and painful.
Yeah.
I guess the one saving grace is you don't have the Urn on
Kita
Furion yet.
bantai anjing.
Hey, no charges.
That is true, yeah. But at the same time, okay, the Furion left lane, surely it means you're punishing the solo offlaner.
Yeah.
No. Caps is totally fine.
Get back to you on that one.
Ollie, gonna be in some trouble here. Vacuum doesn't actually grab Ollie, grabs 23 instead. That's fine. They'll run down the Train Protector anyway because Insania, instead of trying to put pressure on the Tidehunter, they leave in a 1v1. They say, okay, it's better for us to try and have an impact in this bottom lane instead.
And it's a smart heads-up play. You do not want to linger in the early game with Enchantress, particularly if
Udah
you're
mulai
playing
kedinginan.
Sandpoint. Well, you have to make the action happen somewhere. This bottom lane's probably going to be the best place to do it. It just feels awkward because it's a Morphling. It's one of the
Jadi
ones
melek.
that all carries. Yeah, I don't see 23 getting kicked out of this lane short term, especially with a Treant who Ollie can go back into the living armor points here. I mean, we're talking about slowing the game down. That is what Treant does to a T. So as long
Lihatnya
as
gimana?
Talon can hold this safe
28
side,
langsung
okay with
buka
it,
anjing.
and it means Insania has to pick his
Primal
marks
cuma 11
very
anjing.
wisely in this early game. Where does he pressure? Who does he try and gank? And which of these lanes do you try and sway? Not easy when you're looking against two very tanky heroes in the Tide and the Kunkka that are pretty much full HP because they're not getting harassed. And a Morphling that's hard to kick out of the lane entirely.
Kalah
Tough
kedinalan.
Enchantress early game, honestly. This is where you really wanted that mid lane to go better if you're Liquid, because yeah, it just opens up your plays with this Primal Beast damage. Otherwise, it feels like you're lacking it a little bit.
Ini juga Spectre ketemu Tide anjing.
Ini kayak tadi dong.
Dava udah susah banget anjing.
I mean, these are three different Brick Wall heroes that just stand in lane and are not
Ah,
that
mati
easy to
lagi
kick,
ya.
not that easy to kick out a lane. And if your mid lane continues to lose like it's going to, once again, Q
Aduh.
snags in that final hit to be able to finish him off. They're going to get the kill on Q in return.
Murah anjing.
Stuck underneath the tower, no problem for these two support. But the trade-off is so favorable for Talon.
Q's really happy about that. XP, earn charges, another death
Then.
Nisha.
Mickey is going to be run down.
Aduh,
Well,
mati
snuck his
anjing.
way in through the portal and showed up behind Mickey. Minkey will TP out of there, though.
He doesn't. I mean,
Ini
these heroes
jump-nya
are not
bikin
close to
Meteor.
full
Oh,
score.
bener.
Like,
Meteor Hammer.
you are a long way away from the 6 on Spectre, and you're particularly a long way away for the 6 on Nisha.
Alah, Solo ini kalah di mana-mana anjing.
The early stages of level 5, hoping for a 6-minute rune. And he'll get some saving grace here as a shield rune of all runes on the
Maybe
highest
that's
strength
exactly
in the
the
game.
rune he needs, because he can use some more HP against these ganks.
Definitely helps. But we're seeing the difference here, right? I mean, Ollie goes top briefly, it kicks Spectre out entirely. Whereas 23 is just still living the light bottom, collecting Lotus. This is some tower pressure where the catapults got kept alive. No hammer up yet for Jabs. It's not getting pushed too fast. But it's going to force Insania back here, and it's not an aggressive play for the Enchantress. So it's probably going to come down to this mid game in terms of how much Zai can get done. Zai has just been free farming on this Darkseer. He has not been touched at all. That is the very good news for Liquid, and this is a very powerful hero for their lineup in terms of activating Nisha. Okay, maybe Nisha's behind in terms of network. Talon committed a lot for him by basically dual laning mid. Upside is Zai's had a free game, and if we've seen one player from Liquid carry a lot of these mid games into the late game, it's going to be Zai.
So even if he's a bit under level, doesn't have the same kind of items, you give it an Ion Shell, you give him some extra movement speed, and he's still going to be kind of the same rampaging force, no matter what, right?
And maybe supports. When you look at the damage from Talon going into that mid game, that's where these Kunkka Tidehunter type lineups fall flat sometimes.
Sure.
Like, are you actually killing heroes on Liquid side through a pipe, through a Grease? It's going to be a question to answer here. And that's where the Morphling is supposed to do it, but the Morphling might take longer to get there. We'll see how much Zai can propel his team using this early lead that he's accrued. How much these supports can continue to get done in a relatively quiet early game, all things considered.
Leader Hammer is inevitably going to take this lane. And Talon, I mean, this is what they're working with here. An early laning phase, like not quite net worth lead, but it feels like they've got more momentum combined with the fact that they're getting better pressure on the towers. And they're also the team that holds their towers the best out of anybody in this tournament.
Didn't even have to put living armor points into it yet either. Another rune, Nisha's way, however. The luck continues to flow. See if he can use this one. I mean, this is another really good Primal Beast rune. He has gotten his pick. Double damage with an Ion Shell surge.
23 here. A certain amount of burst damage. Pops out, double damage, hits him with a stun, grabs him immediately, but he's already morphed into strength. It's too late.
I mean, you have to force him off here. You cannot let 23 sit down here against a double damage Surge Primal.
Lama banget Morphling ya, bro.
Aduh. Just hit his level 6, is gonna pop up, and nobody from Talon rotates over. They leave 23 alone on an island saying, okay, we're taking this top lane. We're doing some good farming, babe. Sorry, 23.
That's a good pickup for Liquid.
Nah, ini
Nice that Minkey gets involved as well.
dapat Enchantress.
Quick little poke for Insania, no level 6 yet.
Heal only level 1, and no ultimate does not stop that damage. So 4-4, Talon eking out a slight lead thanks in part to that top tower that they've already taken. Makoto already getting some swipes in here in mid as well.
This is going to be a lot about these tower trades, and if you can use the space. Jabs, he's going to try and give Talon a lead. Just put this hammer to use. There's not a lot that stops us unless you're willing to combine the Birds and the Darkseer and the Primal. Liquid, they're thinking about it actually. Yeah, they're just going to bring side mid. They do not want to give up another tier 1.
Karena mati tadi Matt, sekarang belum mati.
So much space for Makoto to work.
Kalau nggak mati mah di atas Spectre itu.
It's a tough fight though. There's a lot of HP to chunk through. Oh, this is going to be a rough one.
Trying to kill a Tidehunter under the towers with the Ravaging grab, and he couldn't get it off. Oh, just no love there from the Kraken Shell, just not dispelling him at the right time. Got chained between disables, unable to get off the Ravage.
Kenapa udah madu-madu santai, Matt? Tadi aja Liquid kebantu di awal-awal santai bray. Ini cuma landing phase aja.
Iya, tetap aja. Landing phase itu masalah kebersihan diri ya.
That's a lot of surprise damage he was not expecting.
It is a pretty crazy large amount, like Ion Shell plus the Bedlam.
Still has level 1 Kraken Shell. It's not the tankiest, but 1500 HP. Well, Jab's not expecting it. Liquid will continue to combine their heroes here.
Tuh kan, Morphling di atas Spectre aja.
A lot of heroes and a couple ultimates
Spectre tuh
to
bisa
bring
farming
down
ya.
Jabs. At some point, isn't it just kind of like, okay, yeah, they did that, but like, don't you just go right back to it? Like, I'm gonna take that tower eventually.
You just don't have support ults. I think it's the one thing hurting Talon, taking a straight up tower push that's going to result in a 5-on-5, because you know Liquid are going to take that fight. It's not like they have to commit huge spells for it.
Sure.
You're missing Overgrowth, you are missing the Nature's Wrath. Now you have your Fury on 6, you're still looking for the levels on Ollie.
Jabs is going to be spotted here. Nisha.
Ketahuan cok.
Power
Fight.
an opening.
They've really given these power rooms
Can he
away.
get 23? Burst him down. It's done.
Gila langsung mati bet anjing.
Comes out of the trees and now he's trying to help 23, but he's only going to be a victim right next to him. Surprise from Liquid. Nisha making these power rooms
Slow, masih ada Mikoto.
everything right now.
And they get the wrap
Anjay.
on top of everything to get that ult for free.
And Mickey thought this phase, we killed 2 heroes, it means I can stick around and farm some more. No.
Nah, ini ngapain cok? What the hell? What the fuck Nisa doing bro?
Pop out of those trees, they're going to quickly grab
Anjing
the
bisa ngapain
overgrowth,
tai?
Torn try and chain these disabled to finish
Dia nggak jelas
Monster,
anjing Nisa.
Zai now showing up with a wall.
Ini ngapain lagi Zai?
Good by itself. But maybe with a little helping hand here from Boxy, they can get something. The man will put onto the darks here to help bring down Makoto. The damage is just enough. Make a kill for Boxy, but Zai will pay the price for it.
Jangan di blok.
Take him out.
Mati
The heals
anjing.
from Insania not delivering in
X-Mark.
time. Good TP away from Boxy though. He will keep his kill streak intact. Very important because he's the one
Ya,
getting
standar lah, Waro.
0-1 for Boxy.
untung
He
ada
just
gila
seems to
ya.
be getting all the last hits on these.
I mean, honestly, a weird fight for both teams in an area where
Wih,
the
has
objective
to.
isn't even there.
Lari, Bang.
Started out great for Liquid, but ended up the best for, I guess, Q here, who really just reaps all the reward on this Furion. Full Vessel already done.
Yeah.
Still has a charge left in the bank, level 8. Nature's Prophet is cruising into a position where he's going to become a potential 4th core in this game.
Yeah, his stats are going to be insane because he's getting the levels.
Yeah.
Nature's Prophet is 9.9 stats per level, right? So insane. Spirit Vessel, if he gets a Blade Mail, like he TPs in, he's not a good target to actually turn around and hit.
I mean, that's the interesting part. He's considering Blade, right?
Yeah.
Not a conventional second item support Furion item. See if it pays off. I mean, there is some uncontrollable damage on the side of Liquid, but it's also not guaranteed to go on him. Outside of if Mickey wants to commit his ult onto Q for a decent portion of this game, which is traditionally what you want to do in this matchup.
What would be some other options? Because I noticed Jabs is not going for, I thought it was this, because Jabs is going for like a pipe build, right? Tons of magic damage going on. But he's not thinking about that. Right now he's thinking about Shard and Blink Dagger. He wants to get that initiation online.
I almost think something more aggressive damage-wise.
Yeah.
I don't want to say the Orca because I don't think it's a great Orca game, but something in that line because
Like the Solar Crest build?
yeah, you have so much utility. And I mean, Blade Mail is an aggressive option. It could definitely pay out here. I think it's a very interesting choice. It's also a decent damage item on this hero that has very good right-clicking capability. I mean, you look at this talent lineup, it's going to be Tide, Kunkka, and Treant providing a lot of sustain, which is where I go back to Zai on the flip side. Like, he's going for this Greaves pipe build. That's going to be a really important timing for Liquid. You need to take good fights around Zai's timings in this game to accelerate you into those objectives, particularly for Spectre, so you don't fall too far behind in terms of, I mean, we're going back to some good old Aura gaming, right?
Yeah, I was going to say TI-11, I think we would be pretty clearly favoring Liquid because we're going to get some team fights and one side is going to have auras,
Well,
the other will not.
Whoever built Raid Pack.
Yeah, well, with no Wraith Pack, Pipe Greaves is the next best thing.
Yeah, what's the Raid Pack to this tournament?
Farming doang nih bray.
Figure that out.
Yeah,
Or
farming
Blade Mail.
salah, war salah.
Yeah, that actually.
Saya farming aja lah yang penting menang.
Good old heart. Well, I think Talon are pretty content with just chilling out. They're farming away. I think they're happy. Liquid, they need to, as you say, hit that pipe timing. But at that point, you got to start hitting the game really hard, right? Because you said Liquid is the team that needs to play this fast.
I think they prefer to play it fast, and I think with the start, yeah, I mean, they scale fine. Like, the Primal's going to break this Tide in the late game. You have a lot of burst options on the Morphling with the Bedlam Darkseer going in with a punch, or potentially double illusions with a wall. I just think it's like, it's talent. Every time I feel like the game goes 70 minutes, you have to think about how this team plays those late game fights.
Yes.
And
Playstyle-wise,
with the
Liquid always looks better faster, and Talon always look better later in the game.
But I don't think it's necessarily a draft limitation.
Sure, sure.
Enchantress can also scale really hard in this game, and Insania he's going down that path. Early Dragon Lance for the Enchantress, looking to get into that Hurricane Pike, and I mean, it's a great Enchantress game in terms of being a 4th core. There's not a lot that really bursts him down on Talon's side outside of 23 committing on Insania in a fight, which is not something he necessarily wants to do first. You know, he wants to steal better spells than what Enchantress has to offer and find a better target. So Insania could bring up a lot of the damage powerhouse for Liquid going into
Ya elah.
Q, now Now they are going to TP in for this one. Talon is saying this is a fight that we can still take. Makoto is going to be able to grab Boxy.
Ya satu sama lah ya.
Trying to stop him. Stops the fear very nicely with the X pull back, and Boxy will die
Support
for that. Q for
support.
Boxy, trade off of fours, but Boxy was the one with that mega kill streak, so that was a kill worth a lot for Talon.
I mean, you're talking about Talon being happy with the pace, but I do feel like Liquid are just getting more out of the map right now, particularly with the fact that Mickey went back for this Midas, and he's joining all these kills every 60 seconds. Liquid are happy to trade these kills out if it means Mickey gets more XP, more earn charges, he gets to go back to the jungle, not getting ganked because Talon are not making a play of their own, which should be pretty obvious on this map with the extra lane shove you have between Darkseer, Enchantress, and the Primal. And the second they split up, you just go straight back in. And now Talon has to react again. Yeah, they already used some of their TPs to come down to this bottom lane. They're making the same kind of reinforcements, but maybe 23 is all you need. Shows up, turns in the Primal Beast, and brings down Nisha. Chasing after Insani now, who's now in no man's land, goes for a desperate TP. Growth is there to stop him. Liquid overextending themselves, thinking they had an opportunity with Makoto being unable to join the fight, but it's quite the opposite. 23 is more than willing to take that engagement. That's why this Morphling works so well for Talon. 23 is always happy to join these fights, even with early defensive builds like the Lincolns. Doesn't make a damn difference. He's going to contribute with the spell steal, and that's a fight where you don't have Spectre who can join that dive for the extra burst damage. Shadow Step just coming off cooldown there for Mickey, so it's a carry differential here. I like the concept from Liquid though, right? If you can split this Talon lineup on the map, abuse them with the lane shove advantage you have right now, and get some big core pickoffs, that's going to put you in a nice position. Because this is a lineup that wants the ball.
TD coming in from Q to help out here. This is not an easy kill. In fact, Mickey is going to be able to make the even the odds. 2-2. Zai trying to get away with the surge while Mickey wants to finish off Q. And now Nisha is going to join in on this party, making a 3-on-2. Makoto, he pops a blade mail. He's pretty Easy receiving any help though. Doesn't look like
Nanti nggak ada yang bantuin. Oh, ada
deliver more numbers. Makoto is forced to use the BKB. The first one of the game, so down to 8-second duration now.
Not the first BKB he wanted, especially being level 13 already. What he'll have to use here is Blade Mail on Blade Mail on Blade Mail. Maybe that's the new raid pack, honestly. Just buy Blade Mail on everybody.
I mean, I'm sure you're pretty happy with the item build of this game. Only one Midas. I know you're grumbling about it.
I was making so many Midas. That was not me. That was Fog. I like.
Oh yeah, you're right. I think it was actually Fog.
I'm fine with the Midas meta. I think this item's great. I think it's better on supports than cores almost.
Yeah.
Which is the one people complain about.
So what do you think about this game where it's only Mickey building it? Where in games in the past we've seen like 8 different Hannah Midases.
I mean, it's a good point. You know this game's gonna go late.
That is, yeah. I mean, Talon, I understand it's like, guys, we don't want to get too greedy. Liquid might try and run us over. But I feel like from Liquid's side, Boxy and Insani, I feel like one of them could probably consider that item to be like, I'm going to scale up, boys.
Normally, I do really like the Midas on Dark Willow. I actually think it's one of the better ones in the game if you can get there.
Yep.
But I think they wanted more aggressive fight setup with the early Yules on Boxy and let Insania scale on the Enchantress, which I think is a fine route. And Ench doesn't necessarily need the Midas to scale that hard. You can just farm it up with the creeps. But yeah, now that you bring it up, suspicious lack of Midas is here. It's like both teams are trying to actually play Dota, which that only gets you so far at TI, you know?
Sure, you gotta abuse some mechanics somewhere.
I mean, TI doesn't come down to who plays better Dota. It comes down to who abuses more cheese heroes and, you know, buys more Midases. Everybody knows this.
10-10 here as we approach the 20-minute marker. Team Liquid, very small lead, 1K, pretty much nothing. They do hold a bit more of the map, and they do have, I guess, the Midas advantage, the 1-0.
He's gonna walk into Nisha and casually vote him.
Now Nisha,
ngapain coba?
he's going for that blade mail hard build. The magic damage could control, but the overgrowth, it could not get there in time. Ollie, of course, canceled it, knowing it wasn't going to be there, so that's fine. They still have that objective. That's why they're trying to smoke up and catch more. They seem to be pretty confident about taking a fight right now.
No vote to take this fight, however.
They just burst down the tree, protected, but at the same time, great ravage. 23 shows up. Right the Primal Beast was like, they couldn't actually stop it. Shells gets jabs out of there, but he's blocked in by trees. Q was trying to make his own escape, but it's denied by Boxy. But they don't care about Q. They want the big watermelon. They're going to try and burst him into pieces here, gobble him up, and Nisha will take him down.
Nisha just gets a free fight fight off of a weird initiation by Talon, just jamming the Morphling into the river. They get stuck in a wall. Sprout's not helping at all. That's the exact type of fight Liquid want. And
Baru menit
like you were saying,
20.
Talon smoking up into them with no bow. You know that Nisha has Arcane Rune because you saw it on that gank. That's just not a fight you want to take, especially when I feel like you were missing an aura item. We were talking about the utility coming out from Talon. You're going into a Greaves Pipe Darkseer at 20 minutes. This is an insanely farmed Darkseer on side. He is the top net worth in this fight. You don't have a single aura item on Talon's side yet. Jabs went for the shard, so you get an anchor here, but I mean, Liquid are happy to sit there and hold their ground.
Yeah, Anchor's not going to do much when Liquid is.
Yeah, I mean, congrats. He's leashed. He's happy to be leashed. That's where he wants to be. It's just, there's not enough firepower in the 5-on-5 here. Talon underestimating maybe how farm Zai is in this game. Yeah, he is. 210 CS
Kayak tahunya busuk banget.
plus a philosopher.
Kayak tahunya busuk loh.
And this is definitely the fight that kind of breaks open the game now, because we win that fight, okay, you get the little bit of net worth weight if you're Team Liquid, but probably the bigger prize is they were just able to take Roshan with that, so now they have a second life on the Primal Beast, and he has a heart. So this guy is hard to bring down. Nisha's just going to be running at you, and Talon, well, they're going to have to do something to be able to...
They need the next set of items here, right? Some form of control or an aura to help 23 in that fight, or at least the next Morphling item.
I feel like you're in dodge mode if you're Talon, right?
A little bit. I mean, that was the big timing for Zai to get Nisha back into a dominant position and also get that objective acceleration that they can't get without the Darkseer winning in that team.
Yeah.
So now you have an Aegis for 4 minutes. You play really aggressive here, and the big thing about Spectre with these types of lineups, you put the Aegis on somebody else, it's not
Tahu kalau nggak apa-apa lu nggak berak
they can start the fight,
Ya
they
mau
can
kayak
take all
berak
the
aja gua.
spells, you just come in and clean it up if you're Mickey, and you're going to be really happy farming the dead portions of the map while Nisha looks for the open.
Yeah, you can take a lot safer farm as Spectre, right? Because you have this global ability to join in fights, and as you say, you don't have to be there at the start.
Tinggal di atas tuh Matt, kalau dimati anjing.
Be the janitor.
Kenapa?
Everybody
Mau
knows
tinggal di atas
Janitor's
tuh
most
networknya.
Yeah, absolutely.
Tadi mati padahal.
10 to 13, 4,000 net worth lead now for Team Liquid. We'll see what Talon's response is to losing that last fight and the Aegis that they're now matched up against. I don't really see any big items coming in for them just yet. As you said, they need the next round, but they're not coming in anytime soon. Makoto, he's going to be found here. BKB should be able to just walk it off, but Liquid, you know, they're like, okay, we took BKB, is now on cooldown. That just gives them more momentum, more courage to be able to take any fight they can, any pick-off that they see, like Q here in the top lane. Zai, he'll throw down the wall just to slow him down, see if the TP comes in. The back is going to stop that TP, and now Boxy's here to be able to ensure there's follow-up disables.
Man, look, it's starting to take over this map right now. Talon are just in stall mode, but the longer you stall this, the more you also fall behind on the support scaling. As you have a Treant, and Treant, he does a lot for you in the early game. He wins you your lane, he controls a lot of the early flow. Sometimes you fall behind on farm on this hero, and you have two supports on Liquid side, in the Dark Willow and the Enchantress, that are going to pump out a lot of damage here. Yeah. So every time Ollie doesn't get to join any of these fights, feels a little bad for Talon. Liquid just getting objective after objective with this Aegis. Another 2 minutes still left on the clock here, looking towards BKBs.
What do you think about the new Ags on Morphling?
I mean, I think it can be good. I think it's interesting that he's going to third, because a lot of those games that we watched 23 play, he doesn't opt for the early Ags.
Yeah.
He's just going the right-click carry build.
Yeah, like, is it... I was thinking about it, I was like, is that good versus Spectre? I don't think so.
Not really. I mean, he just wants more spell action in the game, I guess, but it's not a... It's honestly an Ags that can sometimes be very hard to use in the fights, depending on how they develop in terms of initiations.
Yeah. I feel like it would almost make more sense if Mickey went like a Radiance round, you know?
Yeah, maybe.
But he's got the Manta Diffusal Blade, very single target focus. It's going to be tough for some of these supports, particularly Q. Might have the roughest time here. 23 uses the waveform here to try and farm this hard camp. Could be in trouble. Run over by Nisha. Try to get him with the fear. He does manage to get off the Shadow Ruff. That'll protect him for a serious amount of time. Pops Manta, waveforms away. Great morph there from 23 that keeps him alive and might even be able to get a return kill here. Boxy self-fuels to dispel some of this. Nisha comes charging right in, trying to protect his supports as best as possible, and Jabs may even be trouble. He just does not seem to be tanky enough anymore to deal with the Primal Beast.
And this is before the late game break comes out. If you're Jabs, you are not feeling too good about your frontline capabilities in this game. just getting dragged through these zone control spells that are not your friend.
And that axe could be coming soon. Nisha has both the BKB and the Aghanim Scepter queued up. We'll see which one he actually opts for.
I could see either, honestly. You have enough auras to back up this Primal. I don't know if you need the early BKB rush, but it just gives you a free fight as well.
Yeah.
The only control that you have versus these BKBs in your talent is the overgrowth.
Yeah, if you never want to die again, to make sure that happens, then you buy this BKB as soon as the Aegis expires, and it feels like potentially Nisha doesn't die, at least for another like 20, 30 minutes.
It's also good for Torrent Storm.
Yes.
If you think the Ags on Makoto is going to come out in the near future, then BKB is your item of choice here.
And he probably should know that. We've got the point booster in his backpack, so he's got to know.
I mean, what else is Makoto going?
Yeah. Nobody really goes anything else. Nobody's doing right-click damage Kunkka anymore. All about this control.
There was a Radiance Kunkka patch.
Oh, really? Was there? Must have missed that one.
Don't worry, Thompson was doing this. He has you covered.
Of course.
I think you have to get something done with the Morphling Ags here. Your Aegis expired, so you're hitting a window where you can take those 5-on-5 fights again. You got your pipe up on jabs. Haven't really been able to use it. I mean, maybe if you're Talon, you feel like you need Torrent Storm plus the Morphling Ags here, just for the extra damage. But I feel like by then the BKBs, if Liquid want them, are gonna be done.
Yeah. So this is like a small window where you can get like a little bit of a win, even out the net worth a little bit more.
Maybe not a full 5-on-5, but a core kill or a pick off or something, because Q is giving you really deep vision on the map right now. He has an observer on the right side of the map. He has another one here on Dire Triangle. Like, these are wards that you get placed deep so you can get core pickoffs with them. So somebody has to be setting up for it in Talon. Otherwise, they just go to waste. And you have the gem on Nisha. So at some point, eventually, there's a high chance they get dewarded or Liquid just move through the area.
I is the person without a BKB who's very often alone. Mickey immediately tries to join him, and they say, okay, let's take Mickey instead. The wall goes out trying to help him out. Mickey does do a good job of realitying, trying to get away, but he is just getting deeper in there. 23, though, getting knocked around by Zai, and now Nisha is going to hop in into the mosh pit. He goes, and the pure damage slices down 23 so effectively.
Just can't get anything going in the fights. Liquid playing the map way too well and not giving an even footing to Talon. Continue to struggle here to push in this late game. 10k gold lead almost for Liquid. That Aegis did a lot for them.
And
now you're gonna
see the Ags do very much for the Morphling? I didn't really see it.
I don't even think you did anything with it.
Troublesome for Talon.
And another freebie.
I mean, this is the part that is disgusting about Spectre now, because 60 seconds level 1, but 40 seconds level 3 every fight.
Every hero you find on the map is a kill for Mickey. 2-1 and 12. Not been pressured at all this game and is going to get to a very fast Scotty here, and that's going to make 23's life even more difficult in these fights. Like, he can deal some damage, but not if he can't stick on anybody because he's stuck on a wall, getting hit by his own illusion, then gets hit by a Scotty. This gem is also going to dissuade Ollie from, ragging this game out as well.
Yeah, that's a rough one too, because that's the one hero that I don't think you can ever pick off. Not with the BKB now online on Nisha.
Beast right now. Somehow it is still Zai at the top, just continuing to rack up the CS here.
Ngerok rambut
Well,
goblok.
like we're gonna be
Makin late game makin menang dia.
pushing soon.
Next
Right, probably next Roshan. Do you feel like Talon, is this wait for the high ground push with Aegis, or do you feel like you contest the Roshan?
We've seen Talon play this high ground defense.
11%
If this game goes another 30 minutes,
You're not. It's
gonna get weird.
Late game.
It's just, can you hold the high ground? I guess if you're Liquid, maybe your high ground isn't amazing, right? Spectre is not the best hero just sitting there and hitting the building, so you're pretty much just forcing the fight into Talon's
Kun
base.
kayak jadi di bawah sih, mati mulu ya.
Which isn't, it's honestly not that scary because Talon's lineup is pretty ult dependent. So if you go on the Tide Hunter, he ravages and buys back. Do you really care too much? Feels like you're either winning or losing that fight, even into the buybacks. I feel like you can just force the high ground with an Aegis, particularly maybe on the Primal. Give it to Nisha again, and let him just start the fight. There's not a lot to dissuade you.
But if Talon turtle effectively enough,
well,
who is hitting that building through living armor?
You can always turtle effectively. Turtle into game 2. You can turtle into the lower bracket. I mean, turtling only gets you so far.
But the shell is so protective.
Yeah, sitting high ground
Keras bray, santai aja.
On the jabs, jump away. Team Liquid poking at Talon, getting a reaction out of them, and not following through. You say, okay, that's good enough.
I mean, honestly, that is one of the reasons I think Talon have consistently gone back to the
Astagfirullah.
You're talking about stalling games. Displacement is one of the best ways to stall games, and those two heroes have oftentimes won them these late game scenarios. That's where their high ground defense, we're looking at it in this game, right? It's just around the ults. I guess your displacement is, you know, this tidal wave.
Yeah, Makoto's going to have to provide that for them, but it's not nearly as good.
You know, just get a refresher and just triple tidal wave them into your fountain.
Yeah, with the title storm going on, yeah, no problem. The second row shot is up, by the way. Team Liquid are doing it. Talon are not contesting it. Sure, they're well aware this is going on. They even get the scan out there. But as you can see, they had zero idea of, like, we just can't take this fight. That's fine. Let them try and break us on the high ground. And,
well, do give the Aegis to Mickey.
Yeah. So
they're going to opt to let him probably siege it up. Or I guess you could still just jump in with Mickey as well. I mean, either is a pretty decent choice here. The Spectre Aegis is probably just too tempting because, I mean, double the HP with Dispersion is pretty nasty here.
I mean, that is a note, right? They do not have a way to be able to break this Spectre. So this much HP and a second life, you can't sit there and hit that tower for a very long time.
Which is another reason I think this hero's had a tremendous win rate at this tournament. If you get Spectre later in the draft, when you can see a lot of the cores committed, like who's buying Silver Edge on Talon's side? Who's really dealing with Spectre in terms of the man fight?
Bagus. Bisa ketahuan sih? Wadet ya.
He's out there. I mean, him and NQ are going to be out there deep on the map, trying to get vision, trying to cut some waves, do these sorts of things. Eventually, they're going to be found underneath some sort of sentry ward, maybe run a Nisha with that gem.
Wah.
Zai's going to poke 23, and 23 does not want any of that. Looking for his own BKB, so.
Sakit nih.
Want that smoke. I guess all that's left for Liquid at this point, I feel like the only thing they're really waiting on is Aghanims on the Primal Beast, right?
That's the big one. Yeah, Nisha initiate maybe just 100-0 jabs here. Who did pick up an Ags of his own on the Tidehunter, so we're talking about the high ground defense. It's starting to add up a little bit here for Talon. All right, you have this long-range Gush, you have the Torn Storm.
Itu tower hancur sih
It's going to be literally wave after wave of Gush and tidal waves blasting out from Talon.
better be ready. I mean, you also have this Furion Ags that you picked up. So if you drag Liquid deep in your base, they all get rooted under a Torn Storm. It's potentially pretty devastating.
It's just, it's a fight that you're going to have to play it slow.
Yes, because you can't just commit it into the BKBs here. Yeah. It's all about getting these BKBs out early for both teams, honestly. And another pick off.
RP itu tuh. Counter sama Spectre juga bisa lupus-lupus.
Man fight. But stall.
Alright, there's the axe on the Primal Beast.
Bukan lah
Like that
NP.
is the last big item of note for Team Liquid that is required for their high ground. Obviously, they're going to be continuing to scale up, but...
Well, until the Enchantress Moonshard, of course.
Right, of course.
That's the big ghost signal. Hey, there.
Santai baru round 1 anjing. Tadi Spirit udah kalah nih round 1-nya.
Not going to have fun with that.
No. I mean, somebody's not going to have fun. Which usually on this team, it's Jabs, you know? I mean,
it's true, yeah.
If someone's not going to have fun, okay, Jabs, you go tank it up. The life of the CEO.
Perih.
Here it comes. Time to put it to the test here.
Gimana anjing? Allah.
Talon survived through these folks. They got the BKB out of Makoto.
That's already so valuable.
Yeah, and Liquid didn't even take that much damage. They're going to keep... I mean, even from just Nisha and Insania, they're doing all right. They got a clip out of them. Got a BKB.
But you got to remember, there's no blink on the Tidehunter right now. Jabs opted for this stand your ground build. There's no real initiation power. Like, there's no surprise wrap around with a blink ravage lead into Morphling waveform in. It has to just kind of be walk up and start going on somebody. I don't know who. Take your pick.
I mean,
2 lives Dispersion Spectre.
It just keeps up happening faster and faster. With Mickey being a part of all these kills, the Butterfly's done, but he's going to have that Disperser pretty quickly soon. I don't know.
I'm just looking for full Octarine. He's maintaining the pace.
Yeah, now Boxy's going to do the same, right? So it's the Perma Shadow Realm.
Yep. Everything's just scaling here for Liquid. I mean, they are very familiar with Talon. They probably know. Let's just play to scale anyway. I mean.
Yeah, Talon might love playing late game, and it's going to get weird, but if you have like a 50,000 net worth lead on Team Liquid,
surely
gold can buy you out of any scenario, surely.
That's absolutely true.
And that's why Q's out on the map. That's why Ollie's out there constantly. They may be getting picked off sometimes, but somebody's got to be out there finding farms somewhere. They can't just all be sitting in their base forever, otherwise you're just going to fall too far behind in net worth.
That's the old Furion Cliff Farm. You remember that?
Basically, yeah.
It's back. Only took a couple of years.
And he's going to be going for the Silver Edge. That's going to be a long time coming.
Yeah, I guess that's your Silver Edge builder.
Moxie goes for the Wisdom Rune, and he might just notice that his Ancients are being taken. Immediately. Oh, gotta get out of here.
TP dia, Met.
Alright, well, a wasted ult here. Victory for Q. Though I will say he has not gotten many of these Wisdom Ring steals, which is something you want to see with the hero, right? Because otherwise you do fall behind in XP.
What? Ada yang di ulti nih.
That's one of the big differences in this game. You look at the experience on Talon supports compared to Liquids right now. They're both 4 levels behind. Yeah, that is what map control does. And that is why scaling supports are so nice in this meta. Because if you just choke the enemy out, you're getting all these Wisdom Runes, and you're farming all these camps. I mean, you just get to a point where you have 5 cores.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of times when I'm looking at lineups, yeah, like, okay, hard to carry, that's one note. But it's not even necessarily about the other cores. A lot of times it's about how well does that 4 position scale, or both support scale. And in this case, Team Liquid, they're going to be very content and confident enough, in fact, that they don't have to use the second Aegis. Maybe the high ground push comes with the 3rd Aegis, or the 4th. We could be in for a very long farming session here, Avery.
Yeah, you're telling me a Talon game is gonna go
Ini jomplangnya dari
definitely well prepared to this moment. Yeah.
Never would have seen it coming. Finally, they smoke. As Talon decide enough is enough. They will not wait for 23's MKB.
Mickey immediately jumps onto Jabs just like all the times before.
They don't want to go on him though.
Nah.
Yeah, it
Dia
is
udah smoke, kenapa mereka nggak berani?
They're trying to get Liquid to overextend, perhaps, and Nisha, he'll oblige, jumping right in there. But again, another target they simply don't want to go for.
Trying to bait them in deep for this Ravage. I mean, Jabs, they see.
Oh, he tries to go for the Ravage, but it's not good enough. And now the shots, the rainbow shots out for the Enchantress raining in.
Selamat. Gak selamat ini, Met. Gak selamat, Met. Aduh, Rungkat dry, bro.
Losing 2 on the side of Talon. They took about 5 steps outside of their base. And it immediately goes all wrong. This is why they were so hesitant to do so.
Ada bebek.
Back on Jabs, no Ravage even to be had it. Should be multiple lanes here for Liquid. Heroes are way too tanky.
Tadi talonnya mereka yang nge-smoke, mereka yang takut aja, nggak aneh. Alah, ini nggak ada BKB lagi Mikoto. Mati. Buat apa ini Morpling? Udah lah, suruh pulang aja lah, suruh pulang. Udah lah, suruh pulang aja lah.
Tier 4s and it doesn't matter.
Satu langkah.
Yeah, at this rate, the way they keep on
Early game lagi. Keren aja.
I mean, this Shadow Realm it does do some work here if 23 can get a full round off.
Yeah, there's obvious tags answer for the Morphling.
Woi, babek, bro. Masih ada Raven. Raven untuk mati lagi.
Bagus, rata.
This could be the killing blow as they grab that Kunkka, slam him down, but it looks like maybe they're running out a little bit. Nisha still, he held on to his BKB out in there. Meanwhile, the buildings are dying on the side of Talon. They can't exchange buildings like this. A full lane of barracks just for a BKB.
Anjay. Ngapain tuh? Dia ngapain, Met? Di baju anjing. Tuh, fuck.
23 knows he needed something there, and he just gets met with the stone wall. That is this Liquid lineup. They have every answer. There's just no room to operate. Yeah, that is a very convincing game.
Satu langkah
Liquid here is
menuju
the fastest game for them, but very methodical, right? I feel like if you look at this game as a whole, it's
Gue
just
tinggal berak langsung kalah anjing.
Sai with an incredibly free laning phase
Tadi
on a Dark
menang
Seer.
anjing.
He doesn't have the greatest combos to play off of, but it almost doesn't matter. The
Mikoto
Grease pipe timing
sama
is
Morphling
way
di
too
atas
strong.
anjing.
There's not enough damage to go through it. You mess
Menang
up one or
lane
two of those
doang,
fights,
anjir.
and suddenly you're stuck on a map where
Menang
you can't
lane
take
juga
the final
kena
five,
hero.
and you're getting picked off by Spectre. What's your game plan?
Buat game harus
Stall
kuat
high
tuh, udah
running
Morphling anjing mereka.
Well, didn't work out.
No, it didn't. The Morphling
Oh, udah.
and that Aghanim Scepter, we saw, he was going to try and turn into the Dark Willow, try and put some damage out that way.
Udah sektor dia.
To the Primal
Udah
Beast,
sektor udah
get some
kaya anjing
great
mas gue balik.
mechanics going against the Spectre, but
Sektor
it
tuh
just
udah
one
udah
time he turned into the
teman
Dark Willow,
bisa
and
fight
this
enak,
time he
enak
turned
fight
into the
enak.
Primal Beast at the end there. It just really wasn't working out for them.
It's just
down.
Not 23 Savage Morphling game we're used to seeing.
No,
1-5.
absolutely not.
Pretty much get shut
Nah,
down. He
nggak,
finds the
gue
network,
masih
but
lebih
no
suka
real
Hon
team
anjing.
fight impact past, I think, the first fight around the tier 1. Congrats, it's not what Morphling's supposed to do, so Liquid prepared for Talon here. They get this Primal Beast, which I think should be the hero going into game 2. You're thinking about a lot, because for both these teams, Primal has decided a lot of their openers, a lot of the tempo, and how much damage you have in those early game fights.
Yeah. Well, it's definitely going to be hurting Talon's confidence going into this. I mean, on such an important hero for them, like the Morphling for 23 Savage, a hero that he's like literally 66% win rate when it comes to these professional matches. Game 1 against Liquid, a team who has had their number for much of the playoffs. It's going to be a little bit rough, but we'll see how they bounce back after all. They are a veteran team. They've been around the block a few times. They've been in a lot of these top 3 finishes, and we'll see if they can bounce back going into game 2. Maybe our panel has some ideas of how they're going to do that.
We can definitely talk about it, share some ideas, but it's heartbreaking for Talon. It's obviously only game number 1 in this best of 3 series, but they've been here before. Liquid coming in stronger. We didn't favor their draft here. We thought Talon were going to have it. We liked the synergy. We liked what they had on paper, but at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how clean those papers are. If you can't execute the way...
Bad that it cost Chief Technical Officer Paddy Lowe his job. Nothing went right with what is unquestionably the worst ever Williams F1 car. Manufacturing and build delays meant it missed the first 2 days of testing. When it did hit the track, it was ill handling and gradually shook itself to pieces thanks to some questionable build quality. As for the legality, its curved wing mirror...
Oh alah. Dicabut sama Nisa nih. Kenapa ya? Tapi ngebuang Zaya sama Nisa padahal bagus nih. Dan itu juga bagus.
Dan pemutaran di latar belakang. Jadi, kamu bisa menonton video sambil membaca, menelusuri, belanja, YouTube Premium. Lebih dari sekedar...
Aduh, mau cobain makanan kamu, kaki saya asam urat lagi nih, Jo. Kenapa kok gini?
Karena durasi sih, karena waktu dan tempat belum pernah nyoba, jadi nyari.
Alasan waktu durasi.
Balik-balik gila.
Pekerjaan bakery owner.
Untung aja nggak kali 3.
Alasan saya kenapa saya ikut MasterChef, karena saya ingin menunjukkan bahwa walaupun orang tua saya lulusan SD, tapi bisa tampil di TV dan bisa jadi peserta MasterChef. Hari itu aku mau bikin pensir chicken, terus aku pakai sama kasih mashed potato, terus sedikit saute vegetable sama sausnya dikasih creamy mushroom. Karena ini makan favorit aku, jadi aku pasti yakin mereka tuh suka banget gitu ya. Dan ini benar-benar spesial. Pokoknya juri harus pilih saya karena dengan skill yang saya punya, saya akan bisa membuat MasterChef season ini akan lebih menarik dari season sebelumnya.
Silakan masuk.
Halo, Chef.
Oke, namanya siapa?
Halo Sep semuanya, saya Johardi, biasa dipanggil Jo. Saya wira swasta dan saya memiliki bakery, namanya Bakery Toko Roti.
Umur?
Umur 33 tahun.
Nama panjangnya siapa?
Johardi.
Panjang.
Johardi aja Sep.
Satu nama?
Satu nama, Johardi.
Seriusan?
Iya.
Di akta
Sep.
lahir Johardi?
Johardi. Johardi Tok. Ada lagi tambahan.
Asli mana?
Asli Kota Tangerang.
Kota Tangerang?
Iya.
Bapak ibu dari situ?
Betul.
Oke.
Silakan.
Oke.
Lanjut.
Mulai. Masak.
Belajar masak dari mana?
Sebelumnya sekolah, Sep. Sekolah kulineri di Jakarta Selatan, Tanah Kusir. Sekolah tinggi, hampir 4 tahun, ngambil diploma 4. Dari pengalaman dulu, ada salah satu restoran di Jakarta Selatan. Tapi nggak lama, saya 2012 sampai 2015.
Terus kamu udah berapa kali nih mau ikut MasterChef?
Season sebelumnya, season 10 saya nyobain, Chef. Tapi nggak beruntung dan akhirnya ada kesempatan lagi, jadi saya coba dan ternyata memang keberuntungan saya di season ini.
Tinggal 3 menit ya?
Iya, Chef.
Jadi sekarang lebih ke pastry, apa? Bakery?
Bakery, Chef.
Toko roti?
Yes, betul, Chef.
Roti apa nih? Roti...
Roti-roti manis aja, Chef. Kayak buat ibu-ibu rumah tangga, kayak buat roti-roti harian.
Roti jadul?
Yes, betul, Chef. Jadi saya mempertahankan teksturnya, dia agak tekstur berat tapi lembut.
Terus kenapa nggak bikin itu aja, bro?
Wah, saya belum berani, Chef. Karena
Gimana,
bakery itu saya
Ibu,
hanya untuk kebutuhan bisnis.
Ibu,
Aslinya saya memang nggak terlalu mendalami bakery.
Terus yang kerjain siapa?
Barang siapa
Ada
yang
tim di
menyerupai
sana, ada
laki-laki seperti
Jadi kamu
perempuan.
membohongi mata pencarian
Igun.
kamu?
Oh, enggak, Chef.
Iyalah.
Postingan yang gue kirim.
Enggak.
Oh.
Dan perempuan
Lebih
yang
passion
menyerupai
di
seperti
cuisine, tapi
laki-laki.
karena bikin duitnya bakery, ya udah bakery aja
Nah,
deh,
itu,
ya
Chef.
kan?
Kebutuhan bisnis aja.
Tapi yang mantap yang ini ya.
Pilih ikut
Yang
MasterChef
nendang kentang.
instead of serius di industri? Kenapa nggak mau kerja yang benar, work your way up, jadi punya posisi
Lu tahu
tinggi
pasti.
di
Lu
restoran yang
tunjukin pasti
bagus?
tahu.
Kenapa
Soalnya
MasterChef?
lo like, Pak.
Balik lagi sih, saya mau orang tua karena orang tua pengen banget. Jadi
Ditendang-tendang
pengen
sama
banget
orang
anak itu
berotot
jadi
anjing.
orang lah gitu, jadi sesuatu.
Lah emang kalau kamu kerja keras terus jadi posisi eksekutif chef di satu grup F&B besar gitu,
Wah, kayaknya
kurang banget.
Gue nonton ini nggak ngapar ya.
Ya kan itu gunanya belajar.
Kamu belum
Karena orang tua pengen banget saya benar-benar punya usaha, tapi dari modal sendiri dan akhirnya ya saya coba ngumpulin duit dan bukalah bakery itu.
Ayo 30 detik. 10, 9,
Random
8, 7, 6, 5,
Jadi kocak tuh lagunya.
3, 2, 1, stop. Udah, semuanya di piring. Yakin?
Pasti didar. Bukan stick sus. Goblok aja sumpah. Goblok banget ya. Yang random yang berotot.
Pengen masuk TV.
Kenapa sih?
Orang tua untuk TV.
Terus?
Karena saya tuh dulu dari keluarga yang kekurangan yang dimana papa mama cuma lulusan SD, tapi mereka komitmen
Ekspresi mukanya kaget beneran aja.
jadi mereka mensponsori siapapun mau S2 silakan.
Takut gue anjing
Tapi
gue.
kayak di situ kayak selama 33 tahun ini saya belum pernah ngebahagiain mereka yang bener-bener bahagia, jadi kayak mungkin momen ini buat kesempatan saya buat coba.
Sesimpel itu aja.
Sempet yang dari season 10 mau ikut?
Iya, season 10, makanya nggak pernah bilang. Ya coba aja dengan jalan sendiri.
Tolol
Mau
anjing.
ikut tapi atau udah audisi?
Udah audisi, Chef.
Nggak masuk?
Nggak masuk, nggak beruntung.
Emang maunya skin off?
Iya.
Lu tau gak yang ini?
Karena dapat dari ayam segitu dan memang buat ngejar ini sih chef warnanya.
Ngejar warna?
Ya, karena saya skin saya takut untuk nggak dapat warna.
Lah, justru ngincer warna sama crispy dari skin.
Memang dapatnya seperti itu, chef, saya dapat di kemarin pas belanja.
Iya, ini emang bener dapet warna dan crispy. Kalau daging skinless sampai crispy apa namanya?
Kering. Dry. Wah, gimana itu?
Aduh, gimana? Ini seharusnya duck breast yang diginiin, dia chicken breast. Ayo. Ini ngabisin butter berapa banyak?
Satu blok aja nggak nyampe. Saya cuma ngambil 25 gram.
Capek anjing. Aduh.
Aduh, mau cobain makanan kamu, kaki saya asam urat lagi nih, Jo. Kenapa kok gini?
Karena durasi sih, Sep. Karena waktu dan tempat belum pernah nyoba, jadi nyari.
Alasan waktu durasi.
Yang penting semua oke.
Anjing, mesti gue bayangin yang tadi anjing. Bolo.
Oke, Johardi. Presentasinya bagus, komposisinya bagus, the amount of mashed potato dengan porsi dari ayam, saus, vegetable, ada the parmesan chips. Terlihat dari presentasinya sendiri, kamu sudah ada training lah, atau sudah ada pengalaman di restoran. Dengan presentasi dan eksekusi seperti itu, saya akan menaruh standar saya semuanya harus sempurna. Di sini orang itu masak pancit chicken, kulitnya dikip gunanya untuk melindungi dagingnya supaya nggak kering. Di sini saya nggak tahu kenapa kamu harus take off skinnya dan kamu paksain dapat color yang udah pasti bagian permukaan luar dari chicken breast kamu yang telanjang itu jadinya kering. Kamu bisa lihat saya nggak makan, saya potong bagian kerasnya, saya makan bagian dalamnya aja. 2, vegetables. Kamu ada baby zucchini, ada snap peas, ada carrot. Tiga-tiganya overcooked. Itu sudah lembek selembeknya. Sauce is okay, tapi hati-hati dengan truffle oil. Ketika dipakai secara berlebihan, flavor dari semuanya itu jadinya truffle aja. Itu sweetness dari carrot, crispy dari zucchini, rasa bau aroma ayamnya itu semuanya pasti akan tertutup dengan truffle oil.
Semua yang kurang dari hidangan kamu itu sudah disebutkan oleh Chef Renata. Purely saya setuju sekali.
Main ngeplak aja
Jadi malah saya bisa menambahkan yang
random.
bagus.
Iya kayaknya sih.
Contoh, chicken breast memang alangkah baiknya dia pakai kulit. Dan kalau kamu trim sampingnya, biasanya itu untuk memperlihatkan tingkat kematangan yang baik. Tapi di sini kan chicken ya, tidak bisa seperti itu. Apalagi tidak ada kulitnya, so it's just like a seonggok daging yang hampir kering. Ya.
Dalamnya nggak kering ya?
Ya, tapi it's just not, kurang pop up, kurang menonjol. Apalagi dengan piring kamu yang warnanya seperti itu. Dan mushroom sauce yang warnanya juga serupa. 3 komponen besar warnanya serupa. Di sini mushroom sauce-nya justru mushroomnya bisa lebih ditingkatkan lagi dari flavornya. Mungkin harus ada yang kamu blend dengan baik. Ya. Karena you're cooking chicken. Selain seasoning, flavornya tuh tidak ada lagi yang bisa ditonjolkan. Because it's just a chicken and mushroom sauce. Vegetables is a vegetables. Mashed potato is a mashed potato. Ya. Jadi kamu harus hati-hati di situ. Mashed potato is fine. other than that, ya kita lihat nasib kamu ini gimana.
Mungkin tadi kamu bilang waktu ya, vegetable slightly soft, tapi everything's done nice except the potato nice and creamy, smooth, presentation okay, piring bisa dipilih lagi. But, ya silakan maju ke depan. Yo.
I want you. Kedinginan sih kan.
Ngilu saat makan dingin seperti ini, gigimu mungkin kehilangan lapisan mineral penyebab ngilu pada gigi sensitif. Sensitif Mineral Expert by Pepsodent. Bantu perbaiki 100% area gigi sensitif untuk meredakan ngilu. Sensitif Mineral Expert by Pepsodent.
Oke, saya bingung sama pilihan hidangan kamu, kenapa masak kayak ini. You need to understand ketika memilih hidangan, standar yang akan ditaruh untuk menilai hidangan tersebut adalah based on hidangan tersebut kalau sempurna. Ada orang datang bawa gado-gado, kalau sempurna, sayurannya enak, matangnya bagus, saus kacangnya enak, semuanya benar, dia masuk ke kategori sempurna. Kamu bawa makanan yang ini mungkin
standard, actually.
tapi lumayan advanced cooking, you know.
Yes.
Makanan seperti ini kamu harus execute dengan sempurna baru dia jadi. Gitu. Jadi kalau dari saya simple, kamu ada 4 kondimen kan? 5. Mashed potato, parmesan, chicken, sauce, vegetable. Parmesan, mashed potato, good. Ayam, vegetable, sauce. Belum sampai standar. Dari saya harus no.
Sangat setuju, saya tidak habis pikir kenapa kamu mau masak ini.
Masa dingin sih gue bisa aja.
Tidak ada, untuk sekali berkamu ini tidak ada challenge-nya masak seperti ini. Ya. Maka dari itu ekspektasi kami ini harusnya perfect. Or a bit less than perfect.
Anjing pakaiannya
Kedepannya bisa saya ini.
Kedepannya, apakah ada depan buat kamu?
Ya semoga
Kan pertanyaannya itu.
Ada kesempatan masih saya coba lagi. Ada kesempatan saya kasih yang terbaik.
Ya kalau ada kesempatan kami 2 no atau 3 no, ya kamu kesempatannya Master Chef 12. Ya, ini deh. Saya sangat forgiving sebenarnya orang. Kalau audisi itu saya ngerti kalian-kalian ini mungkin grogi.
Overthinking ya?
Overthinking, grogi, sehingga eksekusinya tidak sesuai yang biasa kalian bisa capai.
Yes, sir.
Tuh, kata-kata saya sangat baik. Ini hidangan, apakah saya bisa makan? Saya bisa makan, saya bisa habisin. Tapi apakah saya mau bayar? No. Saya nggak mau bayar hidangan. Kita kembali lagi. Banyak beberapa dari kontestan yang hidangannya kurang dari kamu, saya masih beri yes karena saya melihat ada faktor lain.
Yes, sir.
So this time dari saya yes.
Thank you, sir.
Ya. Akan tetapi semoga kamu learn from your mistake.
Yes.
This is a really bad decision kamu masak ini.
Thank you, sir.
Dari saya pun juga ya, saya tahu you can do better. Kebetulan saya sudah banyak memberikan kesempatan ke orang-orang, kesempatan saya habis.
Saya lagi baik hari ini.
Iya, jadi kamu harus cari kesempatan dari juri yang lain.
You're putting me in a hard
Ini
position.
broadcaster anjing.
Hah?
Analisis.
Kalau dibilang
Anjing dapat BB dia, Met. Wah, iki.
kedepannya lebih baik atau apa? I think you can.
BB
Bisa.
terus konternya
I know.
Viper.
Udah gini, kita change.
Alah tadi Viper juga bonyok anjing lawan BB.
Dia masuk.
Ya.
Tim
Kalah lagi
challenge.
kalah.
Nggak usah babi bu, captain.
Ya.
Oke.
Ah, sama.
Begitu salah, pulang.
Siap.
Saya yang
Ah.
pulang.
Deal.
Bisa apa ya?
Thank you, thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Lepas tuh ya, bro.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, thank you. Thank you.
Dipakai.
Thank you, sir.
Dipakai.
Pakai. bahan omongan ini. Waduh.
Kamu bikin ayam bakar bumbu rujak aja lebih enak dari itu. Lebih ada punch-nya.
Nggak masalah sih bikin ini. Saya
Ya,
suka
harus
kok hidangannya.
bagus.
Kalau sempurna.
Jo.
Ya, Sep.
Lot of expectation ya. Ya, don't mess it up. Oke. Good luck.
Thank you semua, thank you. Yes, apron putih. Walaupun dari beberapa komen Chef Renata, Chef Juna bahwa ada makanan yang overcooked, tapi nggak apa-apa. Kedepannya bakal lebih baik lagi.
See you, Jo.
See you, Chef. Thank you semua.
Buat counter Void versus Void. LC bisa sih buat gue. LC Void. LC Void apa lagi ya? X bisa.
ES dulu. ES mid kayaknya nih. Mid bisa, support bisa. Enggak, Void sih Liquid nih. Faceless. Cuman nggak tahu sih ada ES. Atau tight lagi. Astaga statistiknya.
Allah. Kalau langsung spirit. Mid.
Apa ya? Tight Hunter sih kata gue.
Akse sih paling.
Tight Hunter kalau nggak bener LC.
Ya sih Akse. What?
Kok lu mana ya?
Main Magic.
Enggak lah, Luna fisikal harusnya. Antisipasi hero bayangan kali.
But then you like poke it, so you can start top for like 3 minutes. All right, Zai, you're doing good, boss. See ya. Twin gate, boom. Suddenly you're trialing from let's say like minute 3 to 10. So I think with this opening, it does scream protect your side lanes, because if Zai is on that perfectly independent style hero, it could be quite tough to deal with.
And that still hits the axe that you guys were talking about that you think can help deal with Bristle.
I think for Liquid, if they're doing that route, they pick the mid here and then go later, but they go for a Dawnbreaker. Not so independent, but
I mean, they can put this Dawnbreaker with the AA on top, and then Tusk and Luna have really strong lanes.
Yeah.
I love the Dawnbreaker because I was trying to think of how they're meant to take their team fights into Talon. I think it's hard to pick team fight into their team fight that already exists, because the egg is such a good like disjoint of like, what's the point? You don't want to commit your spells onto us because we're already protecting it. Dawnbreaker is just anti-team fight. And I do want to see one more hero on Liquid, because Dawnbreaker likes to play away from her team. I want to see one hero that can help form sort of a line to protect Luna's triangle. I want to see Luna being able to just farm up all of her timings, and right now I think it's hard for like Tusk and AA to do that alone. they have like set up here, like they want Talon to come onto them so they can use Dawn ult. They want someone to stun so AA can ult. I think they need a hero that achieves that for them.
Such a classic matchup, right? You pick Terrorblade to get the reflection of the Luna, then Luna obviously can get Manta to get rid of it, but just like, it's just so nice to see these two cores battle up against each other. But for Talon, not only do they have the Bristle pressure, they then have like the Terrorblade who can then set the objective pressure, the Roshan pressure, and this is going to be a Luna game where I think you might fall off quite awkwardly going into the late game, but this is where I think whatever Nisha plays from mid, that's going to need to really bring the draft together to punish them.
That's a lot on both mid laners.
It really depends on how much aggression Liquid can put on the TB and their overall lineup. But I think like they have a good potential with a Nisha hero just like completely run them over. Look at he's smiling.
They're doing some weird suggestions right now. Like he's played so far, he's played some Quap, some Windrunner, some Sniper.
Who's this, sorry?
So Nisha, he's played Quap, Windrunner, Sniper. These are the weirder heroes. They banned out Invoker themselves, which could have been quite nice to throw more buffs onto him. Mid-Ogre, no, I'm joking. Not happening.
Mid-Ogre?
Yeah.
I mean, they need an active hero.
Yeah, they do.
What does the mid hero really need? Is it looking for, you know, objective pushing, burst damage, tankier build?
Just initiation.
Just
Some melee
initiation.
guy that can initiate, yes.
Hmm.
I think this is what they need right now.
No one buys pipe on Talon. If this was VP, they would have picked maybe an old school Zeus, but don't initiate, just hope to kill.
They're taking a lot of time for Talon thinking about this last ban, what really could bring all of Liquid's draft together.
So many
They
good
could do
mid
like a
laners are
Storm
banned.
Spirit potentially. You get like your zip in into Dawn ult, followed up with AA ult.
Storm is actually pretty good. I like your suggestion. Yeah, they have nothing against it. I don't know how alive that hero is right now.
I don't know. I think Talon have played it actually.
Yep. They played it a couple of times yet.
We're going to see it very soon. They don't have much time left.
Oh,
It is
they go for the
Zeus.
yoink.
There you go.
Nice. I mean, this hero is, I'm not going to say criminally underrated, but underrated to the point where I think enough people have experienced Zeus buying Phylactery and then just non-stop just poking you at like 15 minutes or so. Now imagine you have to deal with Bristle with a Vanguard Axe, a Zeus with a Phylactery, and then you have 23 Savage behind going, don't worry boys, I have a Skadi in like 20 minutes, hold tight, you know, like this is a very obnoxious draft to deal with.
It is.
But what is
You
that
to go
timing?
to high ground, but at the same time, like they're so passive. Like who's on their team is gonna make moves? It's only Shaker with Blink Dagger, and it's gonna happen like very late in the game because there's no early game going on for them. I don't really see the way that they're gonna.
They
make any
exist, right? They just kind of
They
like they're just on the
farm.
map. Yeah,
They
just
just
there.
farm. Yeah, but Liquid, they're not gonna let them farm. They're gonna kill them.
That's what I want to see. I want to see like Dawn, Tusk, and a mid hero going around, taking pickoffs, taking fights. I think Talon is so way too passive, and Luna should actually just be able to farm for free. And then when she has like her BKB, so on, they can just Manta, they can just fight and ball and take towers.
Storm is so good here.
I want to
against
see
Zeus.
Storm real bad. Yeah.
Good work. Stormspirit is going to be that last pickup. So you guys, Sheep, you got one of the heroes that you favor, so now is it just Liquid all the way through?
I see the ideas in their lineup that are just easy to execute against Talon's heroes. I mean, they have to play so... I don't know, it's weird. They're just vulnerable. They don't really have many stuff to protect them. All they can really do is just say egg and like, please leave us alone.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all about just hitting each item timing needs to try and make a statement in the game. Of course, you pick up this Storm, it'll always find the Zeus, it'll find the entry to the fight, but I think for Talon at least, if they do want to be passive and just exist on the map, Luna always falls off in games. Like you can get to that awkward point. So if Talon just want to play some like hour-long game to win it, then sure, they can just hold the high ground forever.
Oh, Talon want to do that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I like how their heroes scale.
They just need to play it, like if they make mistakes with these heroes, this game will just look so one-sided. But if they play it like nicely, calmly, and just keep thinking about where the creep waves are, then they can really punish and annoy Liquid and just drag this one out.
Is there more strengths in the side lanes this time around, Reza? Do you think it's going to be a little bit more balanced when we do shift towards that mid game?
Yeah, I think Liquid has better lanes this time around. I mean, unless they're gonna fuck up real bad going on the high ground.
Just say how it is.
I don't think this is a game for Talon.
All right, so you don't think we'll be sitting here congratulating Talon? They have this uphill battle for themselves to do. They have a lot on the line for the game number 2. And so we're going to see if they're able to do it. If they're able to break this curse, if they're able to rewrite history and to guide us through it, it's Cap and SBG.
Well, it seems like they are the underdogs, but Southeast Asia has been there before. In fact, most of the time it feels like they are the underdogs, and they've managed to get an upset 1 or 2 throughout TI history. There's some pretty well-known matches there, so maybe Talon can finally get a win over Liquid in the playoffs. Avery, are you a believer?
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't believe.
The thing is, I like start to believe in Talon once it gets deep enough in. Once that game starts to progress and I can kind of see it coming together, I'll start to believe. But damn, these games always just look so hard for them off the bat, right? And this is another game where, again, I kind of agree with the assessment here that it's a very slow lineup. It's very clunky. You have the Bristle to provide you some early fighting capability, but outside of that, I mean, you're just trying to scale, right? You have Phoenix, Zeus, Shaker, Terrorblade. It's all about the late game team fights here. You're going to be a powerhouse if you get there. At the same time, Liquid, they have a lot to combat that team fight with displacement with the Tuskar, and if you give them a first blood again,
the second first blood of the series going to Liquid once again. And we heard from our panel, they feel like Liquid's actually going to be thriving in this laning phase. You give them a first blood like this. This is not the way Talon want to be starting things off.
And to Luna, this is a hero that uses early gold tremendously well. Yeah. This is also a game where I feel like Liquid are going to pseudo tri-lane. Like, this is a really old school Luna tri-lane strat, right? With the Tuskar, especially AA. This is a very classic Luna tri-lane. A lot of early firepower, pretty much a guaranteed kill on anybody if they decide to put Boxy into that lane at any point in the early game. And you can pretty much leave a Dawn alone against a Terrorblade if the meta's down.
Yeah, one of the trends of this tournament, I feel like, is we are using those portals more and more and more to gank the side lanes and make these sort of, as you said, pseudo-tri-lane sort of situations where you're just constantly moving with one of your heroes.
So I think a lot of this game might come down to how much Boxy gets done in the early game for Liquid and how much Q can kind of counteract that and get his timing later on, but it's definitely going to be later. And they're going to block the offlane here for Jabs to try and get this double melee lane, something in the early game. And also against that Tusk roaming threat, right? You don't know where Boxy's going to start. You have to be prepared for this. And Mickey's going to have first blood gold here as well. So any advantage you can get for Jabs, propel him into a faster Vanguard, get the ancient stacks going, and then fight around Makoto. That's your game plan if you're Talon. And if you're Liquid, get Boxy into gank potential, get runes for Nisha, and then start combining this Dawn ult off of the Storm Spear jumps, and you're just going to be slaying Makoto on the map.
Now, Bristleback is the second most played hero of this tournament, just one behind the Muerta right now. 33 games of Bristleback. And while he's close to 50% win rate, I feel like this hero has been super dominant when, you know, like things go well in the laning phase. This hero just seems to pop off after that.
He's like Darkseer, right? If the first 3 to 4 levels doesn't get punished too hard, he kind of just runs away with it. And then you have to be able to deal with it. And I mean, we've seen teams be able to do that. There's definitely some counters to this hero. Break helps, anti-healing helps, and of course Liquid have their Ancient Apparition that they've pretty much gone to every time it's available. This is a hero Insania is just going to play the whole tournament, it seems like, until someone bans it out or stops him.
Yeah, with all the hearts going around and all these strength heroes, you got to get some percentage-based damage somewhere in here.
So I think Liquid have a lineup that can deal with Bristle in those good game fights. I mean, Tuskar's like an old-school meat counter as well. You know, he's a butcher. Tag team him up and chop him down.
Sure. You combine that with somebody like the Luna. I wonder if the Glaive interaction with the Shard actually works with tag team. That would be pretty interesting.
That's true. Still, it's also a Dawn Tusk lane. This is a lane we saw Shopify run a lot.
Yeah.
To success, or limited success, I guess. But the lane itself looked great. And that's lane that could just pop 23 out of nowhere in this laning phase. He has to be careful, but so far this lane is going really well for Talon as Ollie is just dominating the double melee up here with the Fire Spirit.
Yeah, double melee heroes that rely on being able to hit you so that attack speed is even more potent, and they're going up against carry that has the highest armor in the game. So
it's tough.
Yeah, they might be able to pull out a kill somewhere, but
probably not up here. This lane's just going too well for Talon. Yeah. It's going to kill the kill threat that Liquid wanted to exist up here, which again points towards, is Boxy going to roam? Is he going to look towards the mid or these runes on a cheeky Zeus kill? Probably not with the leap, unless it's on cooldown from Nisha Harass. So this bottom lane, Talon need to coordinate where Boxy goes and when he tries to rotate. That's going to free up a lot of more farm for 23. And maybe he can control the map a bit more versus Zai than what happened in that first game with the Morphling versus the Darkseer. Zai definitely got the better of that matchup on the map.
So we're covering the side lanes, but let's talk about the mid lane matchup, because these are two heroes that neither one of these teams have really been running a whole lot. I mean, it's been 3 months since we saw a Stormsphere pick up for Team Liquid, and on the other side, 6 months since Talon drafted a Zeus. Where did these heroes come from?
It's a very interesting, well, I mean, Zeus, it speaks for itself. That hero's just good. I don't need to say anything there. I mean, the Storm, though, the interesting about Storm in this game is you don't have the mana generator.
Okay.
The patch where we saw Storm was the Coddle Storm, the Pugna Storm.
Pugna,
Liquid have nothing to pump him up other than the Donald, and, you know, the Luna Aura is also nice on pretty much anything, but that's not really a Storm combo. So that's why I feel like the power runes for Nisha are really important here. And it's something that I feel like Liquid should prioritize, because you really want the power runes in the counterpick matchup for Storm when he wants to have the extra resources on his own to jump the enemy mid hero. Zeus is not that squishy of a mid. This is not your old man Zeus. It's a young man Zeus. He has leap, he has more mobility. He's tankier. His hero can be deceptively hard to bring down.
And he builds a Phylactery, which I know you love.
Of course. I mean, Phylactery is just it's the best item in the game.
Feels pretty good right now, and there are a couple of these heroes that really can get bursted.
The most funny. I won't put it that way. I mean, this is a great Phylactery Zeus game because it'll help him tank up and it'll kite out some of these heroes. So the Storm jumping him is not as deadly. You can start to kite out the fight against Luna and the Dawnbreaker.
Yeah, I was about to say, Luna needs to be able to get, you know, kind of close to some of these fights to hit people, and Zeus can play that distance really.
I mean, I'd like to see it on Makoto, but we've also seen a lot of these Zeus's favor just going into the tankier, like the harder buildup in terms of damage output off of an Ags or Fresh or Kaya buildup. Sure. You know, there's not a lot of Zeus's going the man to lightning hands. I'll man up and be open about it. Now, is that correct? I don't know, but yeah.
Rotation from Q surprises Nisha. Really nicely planned out TP there. Q gets him right on the corner, blocks him out with a Fissure, which wasn't even needed. Just the burst damage being that close to the aftershock was good enough.
Crazy good kill by Q.
And Liquid gonna try and get a rebuttal here up at the top lane. 23 takes a lot of damage, but again, this hero is not so easy to bring down with some of that physical damage, which is what was left in the tank after they burned through 3 HP.
Boxy, living the highlight in real life here, barely gets away. I was gonna say Nisha, he had almost full wand and fairy fire, and he went early Falcon Blade. This is such a tanky Storm. So to get that chain stun perfectly there for Q is just incredibly heads up read. And it's a massive kill because suddenly Makoto has a faster ult, which could sway the side lanes here.
Right.
And it puts him in a better position to contest that 6-minute rune, which you gotta be thinking about if you're Talon.
Yeah, particularly if supports are, when they roam like this between the two lanes, if they don't successfully get kills, they tend to fall behind in experience, which just makes them even squishier and even easier to kill for that Thunder God's Wrath.
Instant bottle refill. So Nisha has massive resource advantage on Makoto here, but he's Arcane Bootsing up. I mean, this is a contest for sure, or at least you're going to get the 50-50, and DD top. Really nice news for Talon. That is a rune that Nisha really needed here.
Nisha's gonna fight for this one. Thunder God's Wrath bursts down the tusk, and looks like Insania's gonna be in trouble as well. They only need a couple more hits, and they will easily get back. Makoto walks away, hops away with the double kill.
Really big snag there. Makoto just living the dream start versus a counter pick. So what? He's 700 gold ahead of Nisha here. He's gonna be in a position where is Nisha gonna be able to find him in those woods or on the map anymore? And pretty good value out of the ult to push his support levels up as well. That was one of the issues for Talon last game. I mean, these lineups can be slow, but if you get support levels, they pick up a lot of pace, and nice Fissure cancel.
Oh, things are beginning to turn badly now. Now, he does have a lot of stick charges and a Lotus, but against this many heroes, they rotated so much on the side of Liquid into mid that Mickey has no help, and there was even 23 coming through the portal to make sure the Luna's gonna die, and maybe they'll put some pressure on the tower too.
And it's another huge kill on the map, because that Luna's level 6. Mickey was well ahead of XP here on jabs and just living the life off that first blood. And
oh, nice play by 23 using the illusion, denying away that Wisdom Rune. I mean, just 2 minutes ago, Liquid was in a pretty damn good spot. The Storm Spirit and Luna were top of the network chart, but this play in mid, now the play in bottom, things are turning quite dramatically to the favor of Talon.
Talon showing up in game 2 in this early game, especially the supports. And suddenly this lineup is not going to feel nearly as slow, right? Because you have 2 level 5 supports versus Liquid's level 3. And Boxy's start has just been very slow, right? Yep. He hasn't found that kill bottom too often. He's 0-1-1. Not a lot of stacking either. Downside of the Tuskar here, he can't set anything up for the Luna. So Mickey doesn't have a lot to fall back on. There's no Ancient XP. And then you get that Wisdom Rune denied. It's like the cherry on top here. You have a lot more breathing room in this game for Talon to get these supports to their ults.
Ollie.
And play around Makoto, who's
giving Nisha absolutely nothing for free.
Yeah, who's hunting who in this game?
They're going to jump on Makoto here, but the slowdown attack speed plus a beautiful Fissure. They do have the Dawnbreaker, though, and that's going to be the extra bit of help that they need to be able to burst down Makoto. Nisha commits. Can he finish him? They do. Zai managed to bring him down, but Nisha's going to have to give up his life for that one, and Jabs is on cleanup right now. 2 kills already. Look to chase after Zai, but Mickey does manage to, like, dissuade Talon from keeping that aggression going.
I think Talon are still very happy with this, right? You get another kill on Storm at a good time, which is 8 minutes. Arcane Rune top, another rune Nisha would have died for, perhaps literally, as it'll probably go into the Zeus's pocket here, and you didn't even need the Zeus ult for it. You got Dawn ult off the map as well. A lot of small things going Talon's way here. And I also like this Max Fissure build from Q. If you look at this type of lineup, you throw this Max Fissure into a hero, you bolt them with Zeus, throw a Zeus ult, Phoenix dives in, it's a massive amount of poke damage that can force Nisha into an awkward position.
You can see one reason they wanted that kill on Makoto so badly is TP was still on cooldown. Yep. So he actually TP'd out, got into that fight, died, so he had to actually walk out to lane, which means he wasn't there for the power rune ultimately.
A little sad, but still very happy with the start he's been given here.
You got double bounty rune sitting there for Makoto when he needs a fill up at a right time.
This is going to be a tough wall to break right now if you're Liquid. Your biggest priority is getting your supports involved. And it has to be through the Storm Spirit. There's just no way around it. Your lineup doesn't have much else to function until Mickey's ready to join those fights, and it's... I mean, it's a Mask of Madness Luna. He wants to be hitting jungle, he wants to be hitting stacks right now. He does not have Eclipse points, he does not have beam points, so Mickey joining these fights is not on the table. It's going to have to be some cheeky support kills probably, while you try and stall out some of these lanes. That's going to be decent space.
Every game that I've seen a Bristleback have this kind of start, I feel like he's always walking away with a win. But we're going to get a quick listen in on Team Liquid, see how they're feeling about this game.
My game is going to be really slow.
Do you believe in that?
I'm not sure if I do.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm convinced there. I mean, I do believe his game's going to be very slow. I agree on that part.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Something about bringing some positivity and confidence when you need it most.
Yeah, with the laning not something I ever thrived in. I commend these players who do. They are catching up a little bit, right?
Yeah, they're fine.
You have level 5.5 on Insania now. Slowly closing in on the ult. And of course, Talon, I mean, they're going to play like their methodical game, right? It's not that they're going to just jam the levels into you on your side of the map, especially into Dawn ult where the counter initiation is a way Liquid can come back. So you're not on some crazy clock here for Liquid. It's just, that was not the start you were hoping for. And you're still looking for some action here. Only 3 kills in 11 minutes.
Jabs. He's been playing so forward in this lane. Dude, they're going to bring 4 heroes to bring him down. Team Liquid, they really wanted to get this punish on Jabs, and they do get it. It cost them quite a lot, though, in some ways.
But you have to make these kind of moves to get Boxy in the game, right? Otherwise, this Tusk is just sitting level 4 forever. He's way too important to your lineup.
Sure.
And extra levels to boot. Zai gets involved, puts the Blade Mail to use. It's going to be really nice in these fights versus the Zeus and the bristle damage.
Their other global ability is now online. Insania's got the Ice Blast finally ready to go. So the Storm can jump in. If you get the right timing there on the Ice Blast to follow it up, it looks like he's going to be sending a shot across the map, but Nisha's already left.
And Nisha wanted no part of that jump. Oh, will hit the cover. What's up?
Got a raindrop on it. He immediately tips the cup. Got him. Got your raindrop.
That's value in the bank right there. He did go the Kaya build, by the way. So,
okay.
Phylactery enjoyers. Very sad right now.
Meanwhile, Mickey, he's got his Mask Madness building up to the Yasha, the full farming build. I'm very curious. I was looking at all these Luna builds recently, and I noticed there was a lot of people experimenting in these pubs with the Shard early, but as time went on, I felt like they were getting it later and later. What do you feel about the Luna Shard?
I mean,
Is it any good, or?
I think it is very good. Yeah, it's just you want to get it when you get into that fight and it has max value, which is it gets better with more survivability items. I think somewhere around that 3rd to 4th item, I think it is a sweet spot.
Yeah.
I think Yatoro has been getting it a little earlier than a lot of these other players. I think Western Europe tends to get it a little later, but I think as long as you pick it up somewhere, it's good. I feel like you can get it pretty early. I think the Shard just has pretty good value. It doesn't cost too much. And I mean, Mickey's eyeing it up here. You can just go Mask into the Yasha, into like Manta Shard timing, and just go skirmish. Not out of the question here, especially if maybe he feels like the game is very slow and Talon are going to take a fight into you. You don't want to lose that. You don't want to lose more map control. It's an option to just bump up the survivability here for the Luna.
Yeah, and it does speed up your farm a little bit. Probably maybe not as much as completing Manta obviously would, but Jabs.
I will say that the aggressive component of the Luna Shard in this game is not amazing in the early game. Maybe in the late game, like, if you can get on top of the Bristle and you hit him with it, but Terrorblade is not going to be on top of you. He's going to reflect you, hit you far. Zeus is nowhere close to you. The Phoenix Shaker are nowhere close, right? So it's pretty much only for survivability. I feel like it's not that great early in this game for Mickey. I think you just go better survivability items. Like, you really want Butterfly or Satanic or some sort of timing like this to fight into the TV Zeus.
It looks like he's gone through that same thought process as his build has changed, but he's going to be caught. Q revealing himself with a Blink Dagger. Jabs, he'll die at the same time. So the teams were making moves on both sides. A 4-man gank kills the Bristleback and kills the Luna. Nisha will sneak away Wisdom Rune before the rotation can come from Talon.
I mean, that is a weird position for Mickey to be in alone, right?
Yeah.
Just walk up mid lane, you get Echo Slam. Maybe not expecting the Blink to be this fast, but it was Brown Boots rushed by Q.
Quick Thunder and the burst damage. It comes in. They collect pretty quickly on that one, but 23 is committed heavily to be able to finish up this tower. Might pay the ultimate price for it as Boxy gets him down. Tag team, that's pretty easy. Boxy's gonna be left behind though as the punch finally comes through, but double kill for Makoto. Was that worth it for 23 to stick around like that?
I mean, no, but it feels good for his team. Does not feel good for him.
Yeah.
So both carries giving something up here. Kind of an interesting exchange. I mean, it depends if you believe like Zeus is this true carry like he used to be. I kind of feel like the hero doesn't function like that. I think he's a great 1.5 to 2, but he's not a true 1.
Yeah.
In that sense, I don't think you want to necessarily sacrifice yourself for Makoto here, who's already having a tremendous game. I think the TV death is going to cost Talon a bit here, but it is great for Q. And if we've seen Talon do anything, it's off the back of their 4, right? When Q has a good game and he's rolling, everything just starts to flow for this team.
Yeah.
And this fast blink has paid off very swiftly here.
Yeah, because he was thinking about getting the arcane boots at some point in time. I remember very early on, he had the 900 gold. I was like, yep, is he going to go for it? But he went for the fast blink, got a kill. Now, he can maybe help Ollie. No. And it's just enough burst. And this is the combo we should be seeing a lot from Liquid right here. Storms here in Ancient Apparition helps out a lot to be able to land that Ice Blast.
You even have Max Snowball throwing some more magic damage on the amp. Max Vortex is going to do some work here, and they're still looking.
Can they control him enough? Easily. Burst him down. Jabs. Dawnbreaker coming in for an extra stun. The extra bit of burst damage required as well. 2 down as successful moves from Liquid begin to ramp up.
All those support levels they were lacking come in, and now they're just straight up ahead with level 9s. Liquid finding the opening here. Big pickup's going to give them a lot of momentum and pushing towards a pretty decent mid-game timing on these 3 cores if you can get to some early BKBs, which is what they're eyeing. Because there's, again, very limited control on the side of Talon to deal with that double, triple BKB timing playing the Luna objectives game. What happens if Liquid just decide to start forcing Roshan in buildings with some spell immunity? Not a lot to throw into it, right? Jabs just needs to be strong enough that he can frontline and waste the duration. And so far, Jabs is the one continuing to get punished.
Yeah, he's plummeted down the network chart. He is
4 deaths will do that.
Far behind everybody else.
Yeah, he's not had a huge amount of ancient stacks because the supports have been active around mid for Talon, prioritizing Makoto. His lane was pretty rough. I mean, Mickey had first blood and it's a Luna lane. And he's just the one getting hunted right now.
Yeah, this is going to be the second time he's going to be ganked around his tier 1 tower bottom lane. And the TPs will come far too late to get the punish.
Liquid have identified the weak point in Talon right now. It is Jabs, and they are continuing to exploit it. A 5th death for the Bristleback. Just no front line in sight. He still doesn't have that Ags. It's going to shift more weight to Q and Makoto to find the pickoff.
There goes Wrath. Is going to reveal the two supports. They quickly go for the toss kill, see if they can burst him before the snowball. Not quite good enough. That's going to delay this kill just a tad bit. As a result, Insania will be able to go home free.
And he does have a blink on Boxy. So as rough as the first 10 minutes were, the next 7 or so were pretty damn good. And that's going to give you your initiation power here, as we saw with that blink reveal. Something else that can just make Jabs' game a lot harder. When the Tusk can start on you with the Dawn follow-up like we saw in that triangle, all of a sudden there's just nowhere to go because you can hold the snowball, you can hold the shards. Guarantee that the Dawn ult lands, and then you're just stuck in tag team Starbreaker. I mean, not a lot of heroes survive that.
Manta Lucian's going to be pushing down all these lanes. He also just picked up the shard. Jab's going to be caught here, pulled back in. Again, the double global ultimate putting to use every single time they're thinking about this bristleback kill. They are just not letting this hero get off the ground, not letting him get to this Aghanim Scepter.
6th death in 18 minutes here. He is still level 10. He is just falling so damn far behind on XP. I mean, Insania's level 10. Like, this is an ancient farming hero that's the same level as your enemy 5. And something has gone wrong here. It has gone wrong very quickly for Jabs. He just doesn't have much space. 23 soaking it all up. He needs to, which means someone needs to show on the lane. And the second you show, if you're not tanky enough to survive this double global burst, you're just gone.
See a lot of drawings on the map. Team Liquid seem to circle around that mid area. They want to keep playing in Talon's face, I assume. And Talon saying, we got to push out that bottom lane. We got to be able to play the whole part of the map because they do. I mean, this game's going a little too fast right now, right? They want to slow it down, get to their round of items that they need to get.
That very early game went well for Talon, but they weren't able to translate it into anything. And now you're just kind of stuck with these, you know, sluggish heroes on the map. You're getting out map presence in terms of the global ability from the Dawn and the AA. And Storm just has free jumps because there's really only one hero Storm cares about, and Q can't be everywhere. And now you can start to accelerate the objective taking with the Luna lineup that can ball. You don't have that big aura presence like the Darkseer, but you have tag team. You do have nighttime for the Lunar Blessing here.
Yeah, they know about the Roshan, but they also know Insania was isolated in the bottom lane. Talon feeling like they can't get to that top lane fast enough, I guess. But at the same time, Liquid did abandon doing that.
Worried about the damage they were taking.
It is going to swap over to the other side, which may make things a little bit more awkward for Liquid, as Talon are holding that bottom area of the map pretty well. Got a couple of wards around it too.
I mean, I guess if you're Talon, every minute that Jab isn't getting killed, you're probably happy.
Yeah, he's averaging a death once every 3 minutes.
Yeah,
so
the game's progressing better for you.
If he can get past the 21-minute mark without a death, I think that's improvement.
He still doesn't have his Ags, man. The thing about Ags unless hero is, okay, you can use it to farm, but you really want to use it to slay.
Yeah.
It's a fighting item. The earlier you get it, the better. Maybe you can wait for your second, but that's what his hero's supposed to strike. It's just going to be catch-up duty for Jabs.
And maybe because he's being targeted so much, he also did the build to where he's maxing out on the Bristleback passive, where we've seen, obviously the build lately has been only one level of the Bristleback, so you take more damage, therefore you put back more quills.
He has gone for the 4 points here, which, you know, I guess signifies he has been decimated.
Yeah, he knows he's going to be targeted. He knows he has to play the front line for his Terrorblade and his Zeus. So, I mean, it's not like the supports are going to be able to do for it in this game. They're reactionary heroes, right? They want to be able to sit in the back line too. So,
and his job is just to stall as long as possible, potentially stall the BKBs. That's just not going to be an option because the single target burst damage for Liquid is absolutely insane at this point. You have Deso picked up from Zai. You have the Storm jumping in with 3 levels in tag team and 4 levels of Lunar Blessing. That single target physical is just disgusting. And you have an AA blast to throw on top of it, so no healing. There is no save in this Talon lineup. Something to consider as we go late game. I mean, I guess there's Sunder.
Yeah.
And there's Sunray with, like, you know, Ags Phoenix ultra late game, but I consider that extremely situational, especially with Ollie's net worth here. So basically, Sunray doesn't do anything for you. It's only the Sunder. Is 23 willing to sacrifice his HP for another core? If he has Aegis, maybe. Without Aegis, pretty spooky. So that single target jump for Liquid's pretty damn reliable. And even the blink on Insania to guarantee that fast Ice Blast. Saw KitTrack doing this in Western Europe, so he's going to take a trick out of his fellow comrade's sleeve and put it to good use here.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. I liked it when Kitrak did it. I mean, it makes sense. This ability is hard to land, so anything that makes it easier. I mean, it's the one thing you have to get. You have to successfully land this in a team fight. It's like your only job as Ancient Apparition, or at least your most important job.
The only downside I can think of is, I mean, you are playing against Zeus.
Yeah, well.
You know, you get your AA blink canceled.
That's a sentence that I never thought I would be saying in a TI
I had to
cast,
think about it. You know, what happens when that Ancient Apparition blink gets canceled and he misthrows the ult?
Oh no.
Radiant are scanning.
Well, that just means it's all the more important for Team Liquid to be set into tempo, getting the initiation, and they're going to get some information here. Talon inside the pit, 3 of them caught in this Ice Blast, but it's only Nisha who's nearby. They go for the Zeus. They found an opening here. Boxy scouted out Makoto alone, and Talon, with the rest of them low like that, no way they can complete the Roshan. May have to give it up to Liquid, with Makoto being dead.
Looking for Nisha, I mean, he's got to be careful. You do have Snowball save. It doesn't always bail you out versus Earthshaker, though, and Zai got trapped.
Oh, sneaks right past the Fissure there. It looked like he was not going to be able to make it out, but it seems like there was just enough room. They popped the smoke because, after all, they used their Metamorphosis on the TB. They do not want to give this Aegis
half
up.
duration. This is a Scotty meta timing for 23. You let Liquid go here, you are conceding Roshan.
And Q was looking for an opening somewhere here. Looks like with the Fissure, they might be able to finish off Insania without committing much.
Couldn't get the blink off. Sometimes you gotta pay the price. They still can't Rosh.
Look,
that's the problem.
They're setting up for Makoto again. They've got this lane ward, and they're saying he's gonna walk back down the lane. They really want to be able to kill the Zeus first, because with meta down, then, I mean, there's just not much damage left in the fight.
But Zai also just wants to kill this mid tower. Conceding the Roshan without the AA blast. You said no meta, though.
I mean, it felt like, from my perspective, Liquid don't necessarily need the Ice Blast to take this fight.
I don't think they do, especially when they had their BKB timing. You have BKB on Nisha, you have BKB on Mickey here. This is normally when I think you'd be looking to force the fight.
Well, a great win for Talon then is taking an Aegis into the hands of 23 Savage.
And now that Sunder save it could come into play, right? You have a lot of single target focus, so if you can save one of your other cores and use the Aegis that way, it's not a bad way to turn the fight.
And 23 is known to be pretty sacrificial with those Sunders.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah. They'll put it to use. 4,000 net worth lead still for Team Liquid after the Roshan taken for Talon. Even kill score, though, 12-12 as we approach the 25-minute mark. Gotta watch out for that Aghanim Scepter, though. Boxy slowed down to a crawl by this. And with the Sunray damage, they'll instantly get the damage on him as he comes out of the snowball. No way for him to blink.
And this is where that long-range poke becomes that much more deadlier. With the Nimbus, you just throw down on top of that Fissure, Sunray, Nimbus, into even some Terrorblade Illusions hitting you. Honestly, it adds up pretty fast.
Yeah.
That's how Talon want to start these fights. Liquid just need to not give them that opening. They're probably going to wait out this Aegis period, honestly. I don't think you want to take the full fight into the Terrorblade right now with 2 lives.
Nisha spotted, not by any heroes with stuns, though. And he's got a haste rune, so even the slow from the Bristleback is no problem for Nisha. Oh, they're going to find Insania still. They actually have this really deep ward by the TP point of the outpost, so they knew where he was at.
Triple BKB timing for Liquid, not going to get put to use instantly here. They're going to have to wait a bit to find their mark. Maybe not too sad about it, though, with how far Jab still is behind. And of course, like, BKBs versus Zeus are always just, it's as good as you get, right? Hero does not do anything to carry the fight during the duration. So you have a decent window here, and only 3 minutes left on the Aegis here for 23. So you're going to get a tier 2 off it, you're going to get some catch-up farm for your other cores. Can you get more? Can you find an initiation on the map right now if you're Talon? Because you really wanted to, and instead it's Boxy almost Makoto.
Oh, Makoto. Somehow, Ships in the Night just passing right on past Boxy, who, again, they are hunting Makoto when they get the opportunity, but now it's Boxy who has been spotted by Makoto instead, and likely going to be dying inside of this Nimbus field. That puts Makoto up to level 15 now, so the experience going back the way of Talon a bit more. 4K becomes 2K gold lead for Liquid.
And to some degree, if you're Talon, you kind of have to be happy going late game, right? With the draft you set up for yourself. I don't think it's that one-sided in terms of draft, but Yeah, I mean, it is Talon. It is a Shaker Phoenix lineup.
Yeah, they got some big team fight. They got some good scaling, and it's just their MO. It's what they feel comfortable with. We're going to go a Shadowblade build up. So this is pretty interesting with the Storm Spirit initiation. As you said, Talon wants to be able to play the distance game. We were talking about game one and playstyles when it comes to Team Liquid being the speed and Talon being this brick wall that they try and just stop all your momentum and push it late. In this game, it seems like it's going to be a game of initiation and distance.
And I think Liquid are fine with that because they have the Storm. So you just jump in with Storm. If you ever get to an Ags and you get this AoE Vortex with a BKB Storm going in, there's no real counterplay. If you ever catch 2 or 3, you're just going to gobble them up with the Dawnbreaker coming in. With all the minus armor, Zai's building especially, it's not amazing versus the Terrorblade, but it shreds everybody else here. Deso into AC for the Dawnbreaker. Tag team over all of it. I mean, you're going to disappear. And 23 decides a minute left on this Aegis is enough to go high ground. This is an aggressive high ground.
I like this. I mean, honestly, keep Team Liquid honest. They're trying to push down your tier 2. You've already taken the tier 2. Let's put some damage onto that tier 3. Nisha sticks around, finishes off finally, but guess what? Your tier 3 is now dead.
How much do you want to push this? How much do you want to try and set up on the other
really
side?
Giving this up?
Yeah, this is a lot of space Liquid's giving them.
They're finally going to start coming back, but maybe it's a bit too late for this range barracks to survive.
Free racks for 23.
And he's still halfway through his meta.
Oh, Mickey's just going in with Silverhead.
Trying to get a little bit of scouting, but Q, who they wanted, managed to get the TP away. They do have the Dawnbreaker ultimate. They all managed to hop out of it, so no chance there. 23 is beating back Mickey. Nisha goes for the kill onto Q, diving with his BKB. Actually, the last second of the stun, not quite good enough. Still, though, Talon are retreating successfully, even if it is a 1 for 2. They don't get caught too much here. They've walked away with a kill on the carry.
Look at the ward. Boxy sees everything right now.
It's the punch up in the air, quickly burst down Ollie. With Zai coming through, a beautiful hit from the stun and getting good damage in, but the BKB just came in for 22. Savage got stunned up though. He's gonna be maybe losing his first life. He pops it now. BKB trying to commit to the kill on Zai, and he barely gets it, but there it is. The life goes down, Zai's gonna walk away. Now he doesn't have a BKB on his second life. This is bad for 23, bad for Talon. If they could have gotten away, but Team Liquid will not let them escape.
Boxy just plays the long game and reaps all the reward here. That initiation from Liquid went terribly with the Dawn ult missing, the initial Storm jump not yielding too much, and Mickey dies pretty much solo to some Fire Spirit, Sunray, and 23, and then somehow you get that long fight going. Boxy and Zai just cleaning house here. Also, just that TPB BKB from 23. It didn't pan out in terms of timings in this fight, right? Yeah. Like your meta's wearing out, then you have to play the second half of this fight, and the second you get clumped like this, anytime you clump versus Liquid, it's gonna be a world of pain. The shards, the snowball, the Starbreaker, the vortexes from A getting thrown down on top of all of it. I think he kills Zai there if he doesn't TP. So I think 23 did himself a little bit of a disservice.
Yeah.
They did get the range racks, they did get a tier 3. Honestly, I think it's more than I expected them to get for free with that Aegis. But just a really strange fight. And yeah, Mickey not happy about the fact that, you know, he doesn't get to clean any of it up because of course the janitors always win.
Died first thing in the fight. So he's not going to be feeling great, but everybody else on Team Liquid pretty happy with that engagement. I mean, would you, like you said, the tier 3, it was more than I expected, but at the same time, I feel like Team Liquid also got more back than I would have expected.
Yeah, that fight went better for them than it looked at the start. It looked terrible at the start. But that shows you the power of their scale. That's why I don't think this game is even one-sided for Talon in the ultra late. The way Zai is itemized, the amount of work that Boxy can do in these fights with the snowball save versus the Shaker, if he can ever displace it, finding the Zeus. If you find Makoto at the start of these fights, it just opens up so much of the damage differential for Liquid.
Yeah.
And Hex for Nisha means your single target initiation is that much more reliable.
I think if Zai had not if he had gone for more of a utility, you know, team fight item sort of build, I think Liquid would be pretty concerned. But yeah, because he went the Deso route and is scaling so nicely, no problem here with a 7,000 net worth lead, now 8.
I mean, it's just all about jumping Talon and killing them. Because there's a decent argument in this game, you're playing versus Zeus, that you want aura items, you want a pipe, you want a Greaves, you want glimmers. That's a route a lot of teams will take. Here, Liquid just opting for raw aggression, right? We're gonna jump you, we are going to find you. And the second that happens with the Storm and the Tusk, Zai is guaranteed to be in there off the ult. and you might just one-shot. That's what they're aiming for here. So if you're Talon, you also need some more kiting in this game.
Yeah, and then, I think he was pretty aware of that. He was getting charged at in that last team fight. We've got Eontis being built up by Makoto. He knows he is probably the #1 priority.
If you survive the BKB jump from Liquid, you can turn it around, and you have your supports alive. That looks okay for you,
Nisha again, just diving in deep because it allows the Dawnbreaker to get the positioning, and once again, they kill first. This time around, the Supernova is going to go down, but Team Liquid are being able to disengage away from it. They can't let Zai get away. No way that he gets out of this for free. So they'll kill him, trading 1 for 1. Ultimately, I mean, you traded a 4 position for a 3. Surely that's fine for Talon.
Yeah, you're okay with that if you're Talon. Liquid is not expecting everybody to be there. They had a pretty good jungle ward that saw some of Talon, but not everything. And Zai will pay the price.
And it's an awkward timing, especially for Liquid. With this long death timer on the side of Zai, Roshan's coming up in 12 seconds. We'll see what Team Liquid feels about when their Terrorblade died. Mickey in that last team fight. Successful fight, but maybe not for Mickey. Let's see how they feel.
TP stun. Your Sky. Yeah, it's 5 seconds, 5 seconds, 5 seconds.
I'm just punching.
3 seconds, 2 seconds, 2 seconds. Hit. Go.
Oh, I can't. We just come again. Fuck.
It's all good, all good, all good. It would have been cool though.
It would have been cool.
Yeah, it would have been cool. It would have been cool if they could have waited out the Aegis, but they had no problem killing Terrorblade a second time.
See, that's some good PMA comps right there, you know.
I like that Zai, you know, the veteran voice comes in, guys. Everything's all cool. You know, I can feel the calming presence from him, but they should be concerned because Zai is not there right now to be able to help them with this Roshan fight, which Talon is currently taking. If they could get themselves another Aegis, I feel like this just kind of guarantees the game to go late, which we know Talon would prefer very likely.
Can I just say that type of team environment, you would never see that on a North American team. It's a very different type of situation. So, I mean, maybe there's a reason they've been very successful all year, you know?
Yeah, wait, somebody would shut the hell up.
Yeah, maybe. Where's our carry, guys? That would have been the comment for sure. Boxy leading the charge off the smoke.
He's going to break some smokes, and that gives an opportunity for the jump in from Nisha, but they popped their BKB on Jazz. They didn't quite finish up the initiation onto the Earthshaker. Maybe they do get him. Pull him back in. Once again, Dawnbreaker comes in, finish off the job. Zai goes for the kill, and he'll bring down Q. They can't do anything about these BKBs. They're trying to draw it out, but Ollie's going to join him. In the afterlife, just too much burst damage. Now they pursue. Without the supports there, they're feeling okay about this, but they've lost Boxy. Perhaps too aggressive.
That was a little deep.
Liquid could have just been very content taking Roshan, and maybe they still will.
Yeah, but they lost their tag team.
Yeah, that helps speed it up
also
quite a bit.
switching sides. Makoto grabs an Arcane Rune, and Talon are TPing top. Their supports are up in 20 seconds. It's going to be Dire side Roshan.
Oh, they're going to run into each other. They can actually get a free kill onto Insania. This would make the numbers go fully in the favor of Talon.
Insania just too fast for himself. He got here way ahead of time.
Yeah, guys, where are you at?
I mean, it's disconnected right now for Liquid. Can't get to the side of the map. They have no tier 1, no tier 2 on that side because that was the lane that Talon pushed in earlier with the Aegis. So it pays off here.
Oh yeah, that's right. I mean, I guess the range barracks did have a big impact.
Yeah, it mattered a bit as that lane got swung in. And now all of a sudden, Talon, they get away from a BKB fight that caught both supports into a position where you just force Roshan here. You know you have around 15 to 20 seconds, no BKBs, but it's not that fast either. I mean, how good do you think your pit fight really is if Liquid decide to jump on top of you? Because your initiation does not exist. So if you're Talon, you can't just smoke into Liquid and start the fight on your terms. It's near impossible.
I will say one thing about these corner fights, though, it does make it really hard to jump the very crucial supports. Like this Phoenix can just literally sit in the corner and have a good supernova around the pit.
But Liquid have had enough damage to kill these supports. Even with the kiting, the Glimmers, the Force Staffs, the Sunrays. It's just been finding it. It does make you concerned though, right? Because this BKB goes down a second every time, and now you're on 6-second BKB.
Yeah.
Is that enough time for you to kill these supports as they start to tank up? And that'll be a full MKB done for 23. He opted just for the full damage and the full pierce first Mickey here.
This
Make it
could
like
go
as hard as possible.
Very right for them or very poorly.
This is
no buyback, playing for the Roshan fight all in.
Because you could have gone a survivability item here if you're 23. You could have gone something like Satanic even into the A blast. It's not really been hitting you.
But they got it. Oh, Jeff picked up the Aegis. 23, is he going to have that extra life? Is he going to be fine though? Mickey in there with a BKB, but he Satanic. Oh, wait, Mickey! He managed to push through both of those heroes, 1 versus 2, and the rest of Talon are crumpling to the initiation of the Storms here. Makoto's going to try and get away, but remember, this was an all-in. They took away the Aegis. That means 23 can't join in this fight. They buy back, but for what? The supports will not have cores join them in this second part of the fight, and they're just going to be hunted down now. Diebacks on the side of Talon. Oh no, Talon, what have you done?
That A blast did some serious work, right? Because you had a cheese on the bristle. The Aegis and cheese didn't go to the Terrorblade. He sunders, but it's not a great sunder here, and Mickey just stands his ground. That Satanic comes in extremely clutch. BKB Butterfly Satanic shard timing for Luna is no joke in this meta, and that shows us exactly why.
Are they gonna go for
outfights a Terrorblade, bristle head up.
You could see Mickey was pushing forward there.
Yeah, I mean,
he wanted to hit tier 4s.
You know there's no meta.
Yeah, he just picked up that MKB. You could probably guess at least no meta, but maybe no buyback.
That is not a man fight that 23 expected to lose. He picks up this MKB to win that. He said it goes horribly wrong. You just might get mega here. 7 seconds on the Terrorblade. No shaker for 20. This is the power of Luna. You break these tier 3s, it opens up everything.
They might have to throw some bodies in there. It's not looking great. Jabs, he just has to do something about this. Mickey's going to take Megas, otherwise he gets the BK gets out. He's fine.
Everything and more as Mickey makes up for that team fight earlier and clears through the entirety of Talon's base off of 1 bad fight for 23. And what did you get for it? You got a cheese. A cheese on Jabs, who can't use it because he's getting A blast. Very rough spot now.
If you're Talon, you were in for the long haul before. Well, that's the only option now. Mega's at 38 minutes. You're just going to have to push this game as late as humanly possible. See this fight. Great Ice Blast. Mickey just going down so low every single time. As you said, 23 bought that MKB to beat out the Butterfly, but it was the Satanic that proved to be the superior.
And Liquid jumping the backline here too. The supports just can't really help that man fight at all. I mean, you can output some damage into that BKB Luna there, and you might just win that. But the disruption of the backline, forcing buybacks out from these supports, they can't do anything. And I'm pretty sure that's what Nisha's saying. Like, Q can't play any of these fights. There's no really big eggs that have swayed the advantage. It's just nothing to help the man fight versus Mickey here. And
no great Echo Slams, no great Supernovas, right? And it's not necessarily their fault. It's just Nisha totally inhibiting their game.
I mean, because how do you prevent it? How do you prevent the Storm going on your backline in this game? You have no jump of your own. The only way you prevent it is really forcing an objective, and your front line stands there, and you are able to hide your supports super far back or smoke them.
Yeah. Get a quick peek into Liquid's comms there after a team fight that was huge for them.
My team is so good! I fucking ran fight 2 of them and I killed both. Michael Boo, baby! Nothing! Oh, Boo, boy!
Oh, you can tell from that atmosphere, they definitely feel like this game is done, and they might be right. Mega Creeps puts them in a massive advantage, but they still have to be able to close it out.
I mean, you know your team's feeling good when the comms are just like, yo, did you see me in that fight, guys? Yo, did you see me in that fight, guys? Everybody wants
my damage?
Glory. It's not about what went wrong or what we have to do. It's just, look at how great that was from you. And it was everything.
He's going in Aghanim Scepter. All right.
Why not?
You want some additional scaling? Get your Ancient Apparition to start delivering some
I mean, honestly,
auto attack damage like an Enchantress.
It is pretty effective damage versus Terrorblade.
Yeah, that.
In the late game when he doesn't have long BKB duration. You'll just kill him if you're alive. It is a pretty big factor here. Everybody on Liquid just scaling. I mean, that's part of the meta, right? You just want as many cores as you can effectively get with some utility to back it up.
And something Liquid understands they have to do against Talons.
Maybe just makes the game more comfortable too, right? Yeah. They've been in a lot of these games with Talon where it goes ultra late and something weird happens and then Talon can turn it. If you just build up this extra insurance, it seals the deal.
You've also been in a couple positions. Megas on a TA.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
Liquid, no stranger to a Megas game, and they'll find, lo and behold,
first down of Jabs. He's been a target for Liquid this entire game. These constant pickoffs. And they only need one pickoff to really open up the door to hitting these tier 4s. Particularly scary against the Luna. Gets these bouncing glaives. Getting the chainsaw a little bit. BKB immediately has to be used by 23, but he cannot hold anybody in place. BKB meta and a buyback from Jabs. Liquid just got away with so much there.
Instant disengage. They knew exactly what they wanted. And at some point, I feel like if you're Talon, you have to just go in and echo slam somebody. I mean, it's not the greatest thing. You're probably going to get canceled, but maybe it allows 23 to kill the Luna or something as a follow-up. It gives you a better egg, because every fight has been the Storm jumping you. And at some point, that paradigm has to shift. Especially if Liquid are able to do what they just did there, where they poke out a meta and retreat, and then, oh great, now you're going to have meta on cooldown for a while. Mega Creep is going to push the base in.
Talon, they try and smoke out with the remaining seconds of that meta, try and catch Team Liquid slipping, but they're ice cold right now. Playing the top side of the map, not going to be caught, just letting the Mega Creeps give them the information that they need, forcing Talon back to base again.
They're going to jump here. No meta for 70. You're not afraid of anything happening.
Jabs used his buyback earlier.
I mean, number 10 for him would be a death sentence here.
BK gets close, pops the break. He gets up the BKB, though. This time around, the Fisher is really nice. He has on to 2. They're going to turn around, try and deal with the Supernova. Mickey's hitting it. He's able to get it while they've also finished off the Terror Blade. No Thunder opportunity. They pop the cheese on Jabs, but without a Terror Blade, there's really nothing left for Talon. They're going to call it here. GG. Team Liquid continuing to have Talon's number in playoff series. Get yet another victory.
And that was one of the more dominant ones of the year, really. Like, this game, too, especially, it looked a little shaky in some of those fights for Mickey, but looking at these net worths, the way Liquid are playing the map, they are just getting so much more out of these periods. And there's just no momentum being built up from Talon in this series. It felt very slow, very clunky, and you got to feel for the supports in this game, too, right? Nisha just had their number the entire time. Zai guaranteed to get on that back line the second he finds anybody. You're just playing all these fights 3v4, 3v5. And if you can't win the man fight with your Terror Blade in the 3v4, 3v5 situations, there's not much to fall back on here.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, looking back at this graph, even at the times that Talon, okay, they got their Roshan fight, okay, good for them, they get an Aegis, okay, they took a tier 2 to tier 3. It just, they were never actually able to get a sizable net worth lead.
No, they're never leading
always
game.
even. Yeah.
Which tells me Liquid, they're just playing the map better, and a lot of that was hunting Jabs.
Yeah.
Like, what did Jabs have to do in this game other than just sit there and take the pain?
It was pretty much 23 Savage and Makoto against the world because the two supports couldn't play the game because of Nisha, and the rest of the Team Liquid made sure that Jabs couldn't do anything either, so.
That's the downside sometimes of these static heroes. Like Zeus, he can play aggressive. You get like really fast Phylactery, Kai or something, and you're running into them and taking these fights, and you have a lot more stuns to play off of. Shaker, he can kind of do that with the poke game, but it's not as reliable lockdown-wise in the early game. Nisha just gets to run away with it, despite Makoto having a stronger early game with the support rotations. Like, the concepts from Talon were good in the first 10 minutes. It just doesn't translate into anything here.
Well, moving forward, I mean, Team Liquid, they definitely built, they've been doing pretty well this entire season.
Yeah, I mean, they got a lot of seconds.
Yeah, they did. And they did pretty well in this group stage. Now they get into the playoffs there. 2-0 against Talon. That has got to be feeling pretty good, but next opponent's going to be rough one. Team Liquid, they're going to have to be thinking about that. Our panel is definitely going to be breaking that down. Liquid's road ahead as well as Talon's road to the lower bracket.
We can talk more about this 2-0 that Liquid were able to secure for themselves, a dominant fashion. Hearts are definitely broken in SEA for Talon. It's not over yet. They do have that lower bracket to run through, but to see that history repeat themselves again, you can see 23 Savage definitely wearing his heart on his sleeve for this one. So heart goes out to him, but it was still a great display. There's still a road ahead of them, but Team Liquid were just better on the day here, securing themselves top 6. They're going to be playing next weekend at the main stage, so a big congratulations to them. And in this game too, let's break down why the Bristle didn't have an impact like any other Bristleback we've seen so far.
They focused so much to stop him here, actually. Like, Nisha was they were just like, and the Tusk as well, they were just constantly focusing him just to not give him this Aghanim's timing. And I think he got like Aghanim's around like 20 minutes, which was like super late for Bristleback. And for some reason, Talon did not want to like protect the Bristol. They were focusing on the mid lane and trying to get the Zeus better game.
Yeah, and on top of that, I feel like, first of all, commendable start from Talon. I think how they gave Mikoto entry to the game on his Zeus, the support rotations, but then you could see just the discipline from Liquid, utilizing the Storm to keep finding the pickoffs. Dawn then Solar Guardian on top of that. There's so many elements to just, you're out of position, we're going to pick you up and kill you. And then the clutch play from Mickey at the very end, using the shard, okay, let's say it's clutch play, he pressed the glaives, but still, the glaives with the damage reduction outside the rush pit, kind of 2v1ing the other cores, killing them off, like that could have again been a moment where Talon, kill Luna. Oh wait, the game's in their favor. But Emeke consistently has these moments where he just pops off and just 1v2s the enemy cores.
I love the Storm Dawnbreaker combination.
Yeah.
I think it's one of the strongest one in the game actually. It's so easy to play. We used to do it in the Team Secret as well on the TI. It was so easy. As soon as we got this combination, I felt like the game was pretty easy for us.
Yeah, there was so Talon had that one timing where they're like, okay, we're going to go high ground with this Aegis on TB, we're going to force it, and they did, and they got the range racks. But then as they're going back, it's like, it didn't even matter that they messed up their combination. Like, Storm zipped in, I think they didn't manage to catch the Phoenix. Also, this was ridiculous. I can't believe
okay, why does he not die?
Because Scotty doesn't pierce BKBA, so he's just able to Satanic and just completely heal.
I mean, I was surprised that Luna can mid-fight 2 cores right like that.
Yeah, the shard is insane.
It's super dumb. But sorry, I just them pushing that high ground, them being able to go on the back lines and the Storm, like they kill off like the Earthshaker, they kill off the Zeus, and then it's easy for all the heroes to kind of come together and then focus down the TV. They're just so susceptible to this jump. I don't know how they're meant to play fights, and they don't really.
Well, that was the tough thing. We heard Cap kind of talking about, Earthshaker needed to be able to do the initiation, needed to be able to jump into it, but every time he was in a position to want to try and engage, be that initiation for Talon, Storm Spirit straight onto you. The Dawnbreaker ult followed up, and it's just like, okay, now we have to be in defensive mode. We have to be reactive, and unfortunately, that does result in the 2-0 for Talon.
Yeah, it's like one team has a Shaker, and then the other team has the Dawn, the Storm, the Tusk, like multiple points of we can find and kill you. And then poor old, what's that, Q by himself, like, guys, I can do it by myself. It's a lot of pressure on one player, one hero, and like you can't expect a Shaker every time, especially when Shaker, he kind of wants to be part of the secondary fight where someone else does something, and then he's like, here's my slam, here's my fissure. He wants to drag the fight out a little bit. So yeah, Liquid just showcasing some good pace.
Yeah, they are, and we're going to get to hear from them with a quick 2-0. We're going to head down to Pyrion, who is joined by Blitz.
Yeah, thanks, Nat. I am here with Blitz. Blitz, my boy, can you believe we're at work right now, technically?
It's unreal, honestly. I feel I'm kind of just out of it right now. It's hard to describe the emotions that are going through my brain right now.
Well, we heard a little clip in the audio there from the teams. Mickey, you're so good from Insania. What is the mood like in the camp? Are you guys all just loving it?
Yeah, I mean, I think that a lot of Dota players hate life, and it's reflected in the things that they say and the way that they feel, but I think my team enjoys every win. And it's important that they appreciate these moments, because, you never really know when your last big match is, One day you're on top of the world, you're not, so for me it's important that the guys always have fun and recognize, this is such an opportunity.
Well, an opportunity indeed. That's you guys into the top 6. That means you're going to face Spirit. Are you excited for that matchup? It's going to be a pretty close one.
Yeah, I mean, I think that Spirit is probably the best team in the world, and I think we are as well. And if you aspire to be the best, then you have to play the best. And if you're afraid of bracket luck or anything like that, then you're a shit team. So, if Spirit's as good as they think they are, then they'll beat us, and maybe we'll meet them again. But if they're not, we'll smash and cruise our way to the top 3.
Nice. I think you guys have a lot of support here in the crowd. Can we get a cheer from the Liquid fans in the crowd here, if there are any, please? Well, best of luck in the next series. We can't wait to see more of you guys.
Shout out to my mom. She's in the audience. It's her first time watching us play. It's really exciting. Thank you.
Shout out to Blitz's mom. And back to you, Nat. Take it easy.
That was such a wholesome interview. Shout out to Blitz's mom from the panel here as well. I love to hear it. Blitz is very much about, this mentality for the team. You've got to be able to take everything in your stride. The wins, the losses for them. They got 3rd last year, securing top 6 again this year. I mean, it's kind of only ups for Liquid.
It's only up.
Only up. It's 3rd to 6. Until they get to 2nd.
Yeah, they're going to hit 2nd. If they get 1st, then it's up.
Okay.
They won't do that, though.
The only other concerning thing about what Blitz said is, we all hate life as Dota players. That's not true. There's so much to enjoy. The game's obviously very enjoyable. This panel has been very enjoyable. But about TI, the road to the international, one other thing that I do love and get enjoyment from is the short film contest. So let's have a bit of a look at that.
Every year, the short film contest gets better and better. I can't wait to see the remaining 7 videos we'll see this weekend. This is only the first 3 of 10 I will show to you. And of course, there's been a shift in the panel, ladies and gentlemen. Good afternoon. I'm here to take you through the second half of the day. My name's Shiver, but my panelists are the real stars of my show. Fear, good afternoon. How you doing?
Good, amazing to be here. TI is my favorite time of the year, so it is lovely to be back.
Yeah, Effie on the panel, and the main crowd being English. For you also very lovely experience.
Yeah, and it's my first TI in front of an audience, so the energy has been amazing so far, and I just can't wait to see how it's going to get even better as the games progress.
Yeah, the TI energy, I think that is something very magical, Lacoste.
Yeah, definitely is. This feels, you know, for our Dota community, this is like Christmas before Christmas, pretty much.
It really, really is. And speaking of Christmas, I want to talk about our upcoming series, because we've had amazing series here in the upper bracket here of the Road to the International. And I want to talk about our upcoming series, LGD Gaming versus 9 Pandas. And to basically showcase this series, we really, really wanted to just dive straight in and talk about the mid matchup, because I feel, Effie, this mid matchup is the story of this game, of the series.
Well, I mean, when you look at 9 Pandas, you have to talk about Kiyotaka. He is their star player. He is their win condition. He is explosive in a way that we've seen before coming out of Nothing to Say from LGD. I mean, this version of Nothing to Say is more stable, has been around the block, is experienced, but back when he got scouted for a similar playstyle to Kiyotaka, for flashiness, for that Tinker performance, you know? So watching these two go up against each other is going to be really interesting, because it feels like old NTS versus the new EEU version of NTS.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And I think both the dynamic of these mids, it has something to do with their carry players as well. I think you'll see a lot of Ramsey's hero pool. He's playing but when he needs to do that for Kiyotaka, because he plays more Tinkers, as we mentioned before, and NTS is the opposite. He has to be more active on the map to make space for Shiro, so he can play some cooler heroes on the map. So it's very interesting how both of them are just kind of like adapting to the playstyles of the teams.
Yeah, and we have, of course, Kiyotaka here for his first international appearance, Road to the International, and for Nothing to Say, it's been his 3rd. So we have, I feel like we're kind of seeing Lacoste, maybe a glimpse into the future of Kiyotaka here.
Yeah, pretty much. I think when we talk about Eastern European Dota, the most improved players of the year, that's definitely Laurel and that's definitely Kiyotaka, because he's been popping off. Like this guy, they produce like so many great players. Kiyotaka definitely one of them. Like his playstyle is like very aggressive, just how you would expect it to be.
not what you would expect it to be. I think it is important to note that on the stage that we'll have the players here, 6 players will be here for their first time. Like even for LGD Gaming, of course, a staple name, but 3 of the players haven't shown their face yet at any international in the past. So this is big for them, especially considering there are not that many first-timers left here at the international. 17 first-timers, 6 are going to be on that stage. And when I say on that stage, they're not there quite yet. So we're going to get that done. We're going to get on stage. First up, 9 Pandas. Nine Pandas joining us on the stage. We got Ramses, Kiyotaka, Miero, Antares, Solo, and their coach DM. 3 first-timers and 2 absolute veterans in Ramses and Solo. We'll see if they can lead the boys to victory, but their opponents very strong as well. Let's welcome LGD Gaming. Shiro, nothing to say, Neo Planet, Y, and Xiao, but the cheers sphere, they're loud.
They are loud, and that's what we love to see at TI. We want to see the hype, we want to hear the crowd going loud for the teams that they're supporting, and we're getting it.
Dude, LGD fans are so passionate, and not just LGD, Chinese fans in general. I saw people downstairs walking around with huge Azure Ray banners, smiling these big smiles on their faces, and to have a dedicated fan base like this at a stage like TI is just going to make a team stronger.
Yeah, I mean, the fans need to go wild because this is the only time that China had only 2 teams at TI, so they need to be loud, and they're really stepping it up. And LGD, whenever you watch their games, they've been like consistently good, they've been consistently placed well at TI, and also like some of the games that they produce, they're always hype.
Yeah, and let's talk about the year that these 2 teams have had as well, because LGD Gaming, Lacoste, it was a rough year.
Well, it definitely was. I mean, the way it started for them, like, there were some big shoes to fill. You know, we're talking about Fate Beyond, Ame, Jinkyu. They needed to bring in new blood, and these are basically, you know, one of the best players in China for a good reason. Things were not working out. The DPC won. They played with Zhang Yu, Zeal later on. It seems like that they were lacking this versatility coming up from the offlane, because if you're playing for LGD Gaming, you need to be versatile. And when we speak about them, like, this is how Neo sneaked into the team, because Xiao 8, he's going to dictate the tempo, how the game's going to be played. He's going to be picking heroes. You better be ready to play those heroes when he picks it.
Yeah, but Neo really feels like he was that missing piece for LGD. The second he joined that team, and they looked so shaky trying in these offlaners, trying to find somebody who can play the way Faith Beyond did, it couldn't quite work for them, and they were consistently placing so low. But after Neo joined, they got 3rd place at the Dream League right after, and they got, I think, 5th and 6th later on, which isn't the kind of result you would want to see from them. But if you compare that 5th, 6th placement to the 9th and 12th they were getting before that, it just seems like they're on the up and up, and they looked incredible during group stages.
Yeah, they need to reach their final form.
Yeah, and I was going to say one last thing about LGD and why they've been so consistently good. I have to look at Xiao 8, and like every single LGD draft I look at, it's just so complete. It has everything. I don't think they've ever got outpicked in their life. Maybe they might play not so well sometimes, but their drafts always look so good, and that's why LGD is such a good team.
Yeah, and then on the flip side, we got 9 Pandas. They had a little bit of a rocky year as well, mostly also switching organizations. Of course, that comes with probably a little bit of stress for the players as well, I can only imagine. But this team, there's a couple of players there, Fear, coming out of seemingly nowhere.
They are. Honestly, one of them was Ramses for me because they came from Hellraisers.
from though.
Yeah, and then Ramses joined the team with Solo again. I didn't expect that, so that was like the biggest shock for me. But yeah, they definitely have some newer players as well on the squad, like Miro. He came up recently as well. I haven't seen too much of his performances. Everyone talks about the squad. Of course, Ramses and Solo come up, but Ramses definitely, or Miro definitely one of those players in Kiyotaka. Great additions to the team.
And Antares, of course, right? I feel like Antares, as a player in Nine Pandas, does so much for them by way of opening up the draft. I mean, this is one of the only teams that consistently opens Skywrath Mage. How often do we see that? Not often, but this Antares guy is just a specialty player. He was the person who brought techies into the meta. He was the one who ruined our pubs and competitive Dota for so long. And having a player like that from the position 4 that you can build around in your draft simplifies so much of it.
Yeah, when we talk about Nine Pandas, we have to mention that we have the oldest competing player ever, by the way, ever at any international throughout any of the years. Solo is 33 years old, which is the oldest player to have ever graced, in this case, the road to the international. But it is amazing. And on top of that, he is paired up with Kiyotaka Lacoste. It's the youngest player.
Exactly. I mean, we've seen throughout like Dota history that some of the most successful teams are always going to be like this mix of the new blood and the old guard. Like these puppies, these Kurokis, you know, they're going to be leading the team their own way. Solo is pretty much doing the same thing for a good reason. You know, there was a period of time where like the results were lacking after like VP disbanded, and then they started to pick it up again. You know, that he is one of the best captains in the world for a good reason.
Yeah, and he serves as a bit of a father figure to him, a mentor, which is something that you really need when you have all of this raw talent, but none of the discipline. And I think it's important to note that Solo believes so strongly in Kiyotaka as a player, because there was a content piece that was played during TI groups. And Solo said that I think in a few years, Kiyotaka will be the best mid player in the world, without a doubt. He has so much faith in him, so that's really great to see.
Yeah, and Solo, of course, together with Ramses, Fear, this is not the first time that they've been in an upper bracket against LGD.
I mean, it definitely has not. These two teams have lots of history going all the way back here, and it's always a great time to watch these two teams play as well. Ramses, he's still playing carry. A lot of players will switch to offlane. He had a small stint there, but he's still one of the best carries in the world. Solo's still playing 5. He's also doing really well there. They're playing against their counterparts as well, LGD. They've made more changes, I'd say, but still a very strong team. I mean, I guess Xiaowei is used to seeing these guys in competition.
Yeah, when we talk about the position 5s, I do want to have a little bit of a comparison between Solo. This is, by the way, his 4th international performance, and he's going up against Y, TI winner, of course, with Wings. And this is also his 4th attendance. And I want to talk a little bit about that because, of course, winning TI is the ultimate success, and Solo hasn't had that one yet. But how do we feel about the playstyle, Lacoste? Because these two players seem like a staple on the 5, both of them.
Pretty much. I mean, if we go a couple of months back when Solo, like when Blood Grenade was introduced into the game, he was the player that used Twin Gates the most and used the most Blood Grenades. Like this is like bloodthirsty team. They're gonna be like every single time it's off cooldown, they're gonna buy it and they're gonna make something happen with it. Because I would compare him like to some of the like greedier 5s as well, where they can also be like super aggressive early on. If he finds some farm on the map, he's gonna use it as much as possibly can. You know, you give him 200 gold, it feels like he has 500 gold.
Yeah, he's also the type of player to just get in your face all the time on Solo. I mean, Nine Pandas are one of the only teams that still prioritize Undying heavily in their draft, and they get Undying consistently banned out against them because while that hero still has its strengths, a lot of other support heroes have popped up. But if you've got Solo, you've got him on some ET punching you or an Undying decaying you and punching you in the face. He's just a very aggressive type of player that just focuses on securing farm for his carry.
How does that compare to Innocence or Why You Smile or Why? All the same person, by the way, just different names over the year.
Yeah, I mean, Solo is definitely way more teamfight oriented on all his heroes right now, where we saw Y just pull out a Chen already in this tournament, right? So he's got a much more diverse hero pool, and he has a lot of experience, and I think that's one of the strengths of LGD is like they have a lot more versatility on what they want to do. When it comes to Nine Pandas, they kind of like have their set roles, and I think they do have Kiyotaka, one of the newer players here, and they got to make whatever they play revolve around here, make sure he can play what he wants to play. And mid lane hasn't really been a lane where you can experiment too much around, but Nine Pandas have found a way to make it work.
Yeah, and you see that in the way they prioritize Kiyotaka in their draft. He is always their last pick unless they can secure one of the broken mid-heroes in that overall first pick. But in teams like Spirit, you often see that last pick being centered around the safe laner, the carry. But for 9Pandas, they're always trying to get some kind of gotcha Earthshaker, some gotcha hard counter like Alina to something that they maybe don't expect, and they rely on Kiyotaka to carry. So it's not just Ramses who's going to scale into the late game, it's almost always Kiyotaka who takes them there.
Yeah, and that always revolves around Ramses' hero pool too. He plays a lot of Alchemist, loves playing Sven, Faceless Void, those are his most picked heroes. They all have a stun. They all allow Kiyotaka to play a hero that doesn't have a stun, can run around the map and do the damage.
Yeah, and also they're one of the greediest teams out there, I would say, where like if we go back a couple of days that they played the double Radiance, Raid King, Alchemist, Radiance, want to get disassembled later on. We've also seen it today with the Raid King as well and Spectre in the same team, but it feels like that they know how to utilize the map. They're also in this greedy meta where offlaners are pretty much carries rather than being like the offlaners, and they are using that so well. Like they know how to farm. You better be careful with, you know, these potential Raid Kings coming out from the off lane, anything greedy, and it also does allow their position forward to also play slightly more greedy, because after all, you know, map is 40% bigger.
Can I make a little bit of an unfair comparison here? Because I want to talk about the coaches, and we know Zao8. We've seen a lot about Zao8, obviously, also in a true site where we got a lot of extra information. We know he's the dictator. He sits down, he drafts for the team. It's like, this is what you're gonna do, and this is how you're gonna play, and good luck, and see you after the game. On the other side, 9Pandas, they've picked up DM. This was really recent, and I was wondering, Fear, you've done the same with a team where you come in fairly last minute for a team as a coach. And I would imagine that creates a whole different dynamic than on the side of LGD Gaming.
Oh yeah, for sure. If you look at LGD, Zhao8 on the team, you build the team around Zhao8. Maybe, in fact, Zhao8 may even pick the players for his team, right? But DM, he played professionally. He has a lot of ideas in his head. He is very smart in his own regard, but he's coming to a team that was already well established, right? So you're going to sit back for a little bit at the beginning, kind of absorb, get a feel for the team, then give ideas and input your information here and there where you think there's like missing gaps in the strategy.
Yeah, and I think sometimes all a team needs for something to click, and we saw this with CY for Gaming Gladiators, is that they need someone that they can have that friendship and camaraderie with, where they can just talk to comfortably, who doesn't necessarily change too much about them, but hears them out and offers their own insights. And I think that's what DM is probably doing for 9Pandas, because their performance so far, like after the group stages, them winning versus Bedboom in the qualifications to the upper bracket was wild to me, because I didn't think that they were the caliber of team at this point that could beat Bedboom, but they proved us all wrong.
Well, I heard it was a little bit of a student beating the teacher scenario, Effie.
Yeah, so I learned recently that Kiyotaka actually learned mid from GPK. They would sit down on Discord and they would just talk about strategies all the time, like little things like itemizations, little map movements. They would always 1v1 each other. So it was very interesting to see, you know, the disciple
from GPK.
overthrow him.
Yeah, you know, that happens eventually. That is just the way it goes. I think if you are truly a teacher, all you can do if you're beaten is be proud. You know.
I mean, that game wasn't fair. It was pretty much 6 versus 5. It was 5 players plus Tormentor.
True. That is very true. I want to talk a bit about the group stage and the road that LGD Gaming has taken, because what we've seen so far is that a lot of the different regions have different play styles, and LGD did great in the groups. Let me just put that first. They came first, they did wonderful. Of course, the series after that, they 2-0'd as well to get into the upper bracket. During the groups, there was one team that they tied with, which was Virtus Pro, another Eastern European team. And I was wondering, Lacoste, how much do the Eastern European teams, in terms of play style, have in common? Will this be something that LGD will struggle with?
I would say not necessarily, but these Eastern European teams, they do have this aggressive style of Dota. They're going to run at you. They feel, you know, that you're bleeding. They're not going to stop. I mean, this particular game that they played, they had very active heroes. You know, this is Spectre we're talking about, the hero that has been buffed. And the Eastern European teams, they love to pick it up. Ulti went from 80 seconds to 60 seconds, and they're going to use that. A lot of the times you'll have like one vision hero. They're just going to provide vision for Spectre. And then Enabler, we saw Grimstroke. We saw Treant Protector as well. Like Grimstroke, I'm talking about the combo with the Inkswell, because he's following around Spectre every single time the ulti is up, you're going to jump them. So this playstyle that they have, like, I mean, both of these teams are like really aggressive. They come online extremely fast. So I would say that in terms of the playstyles, they're pretty similar, because LGD, they're not trying to take it to the late game. Average game time is around like 41, 42 minutes right now. And a lot of the time throughout the group stage, LGD managed to close the game between 20 and 30 minutes.
Yeah, and that's actually what I wanted to mention. On the other hand of what Lacoste just said, I think that teams like Batboom and Nine Panda and even Spirit, while they do play aggressively once they hit their timings, they have a tendency to prolong games for a very long time. I think throughout this entire competitive year, the highest match time averages were all Eastern European teams. I mean, even Nine Pandas, when they made their debut into the competitive world and surprised everybody this year at Berlin, they were taking their games to minute 60, minute 65, minute 70, playing for that super, super late game timing. So I think there are little exploits that a team like LGD, with all their wealth of experience, can do, especially around those first couple of Roshans. Very formation-heavy teams that know how to team fight and when to team fight can end the game before teams like Nine Pandas are comfortable.
And I think that's going to be very critical here too as well, because we've got 4 Eastern European teams here, and they're all so good, and they all play the late game.